How's it going, guys? Welcome. Happy week 15. I'm helping you make a huge comeback after losing Dak and MT, Cody. That's what I'm talking about, man. My morning has been fantastic, Johnny. I've been up since 4:30 this morning, finishing my research for the week, and I'm excited to share with you all the research I've done. Tannehill and Big Ben also options on waivers over Brady or Watson. Johnny, Tom Brady is a must start this week. You have to start Tom Brady. There's just no way you can let Tom Brady sit on your bench this week against an injured Falcons secondary. Thoughts on Saints after losing MT? Also, Kareem Hunt or Jonathan Taylor? You can't bench Jonathan Taylor this week either. He has to be in your starting lineup. And we have a good idea of what the Saints team is going to look like without Michael Thomas. It's going to be Alvin Kamara leading the way as their top receiver. That's fully what I'm expecting. Sanders or Monty, appreciate the help every week. I would lean towards Miles Sanders this week, but they're both really good options. I would trust Miles Sanders a little bit more than David Montgomery, though. We've seen what Jalen Hurts does to that offense, and it's good. It's a good thing for Miles Sanders. Browns defense or Seahawks defense? I would lean towards the Browns defense. I do like the Browns defense a lot this week. How's it going, Elias? Week 15, guys. I love the early morning crowd. Let's wake up together. As you'll see on this show, I'll get more and more energized as we get closer and closer to kickoff. Would you consider T.Y. over Sanders this week in a non-PPR league? Yeah, Johnny, I would, because T.Y. Hilton owns the Houston Texans. He dominates the Houston Texans. He has historically dominated the Houston Texans. If you look at his last 7 games against the Houston Texans, T.Y. Hilton averaging over 100 yards per game. I mean, he really does just dominate this team. And so I would consider playing T.Y. Hilton over Miles Sanders. Should I play Zeke? No. Zeke Elliott is on the must bench list this week, guys. And it's a short list for me this week, but you got to be benching Ezekiel Elliott. He cannot be trusted. Tony Pollard has looked significantly better than him. Martin, how's it going, my man? Good morning, everyone. All right, thoughts on Drew Brees on FanDuel? I'm not very interested in Drew Brees, though I do think Alvin Kamara pretty much has to be in every single lineup that you make this week. You can't have a lineup without Alvin Kamara, with Michael Thomas out, Drew Brees back. You kind of have to put Alvin Kamara into every single one of your DFS lineups because he has too high of an upside. He's the lead. He's going to be the number 1 receiver for the Saints now. Who are your must benches this week? Yeah, Johnny, you have to be benching. In my opinion, you have to bench Ezekiel Elliott. I think you have to strongly consider benching CeeDee Lamb as well in that matchup. There's a lot of kind of borderline cusp players that I think you have to consider benching this week. But I want to start actually with my must starts because there's a lot of players this week that I shouldn't see any questions about. You just have to start these guys. Yes, you should pick up Sony Michel, by the way. Sony Michel is going to be the lead running back for the Patriots today. His over-under is around 60 rushing yards. He could do very well. He's also playing in his hometown in Miami. So I think Sony Michel is an intriguing pickup. He's available in over 90% of fantasy leagues. I'm starting him in one of my leagues where I need some running back help. I would start Sony Michel over Ezekiel Elliott this week. But you got to be starting Lamar Jackson. I've been saying this all week. I was telling you to start him over Josh Allen. I still feel strongly that Lamar Jackson can put up a week like Josh Allen put up this week. Then you got to be starting Tom Brady if you have him, guys. Tom Brady leads the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. He's going for over 3 touchdowns today against an injured Falcons secondary. I also think you have to be starting Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray, we've been worried about his injury. It looked like his injury was holding him back, but the injury seems to be gone now. He ran for the most rushing attempts he's had in over a month last week. He seems to be back to full health, so you got to be starting Kyler Murray as well. At the wide receiver position, you have to be starting Brandon Ayuk. He's averaging over 75 receiving yards per game over the last month. He's also top 5 in the league in air yards. You got to be starting Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown. You have to start Chris Godwin and Mike Evans as well this week, guys. Again, the Bucs offense is going to be absolutely dominant today against the Atlanta Falcons. I also think you have to be starting Allen Robinson. Brandon Cooks, I think, is in must-start territory. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp against the Jets, also must starts. And I also think T.Y. Hilton is in the must start category. He owns this Houston Texans team, guys. Just a couple weeks ago, he went over 100 yards against them. If you look at his last 7 games against the Houston Texans, T.Y. Hilton has been absolutely dominant. At the running back position, you got to be starting Cam Akers. You got to be starting Jonathan Taylor. I think you have to start David Montgomery. And I think Sony Michel is an interesting deep dart throw, depending on your situation, that I'm okay starting Sony Michel this week for the New England Patriots, who are the second run-heaviest team in the NFL. Who to stack with Murray? Yeah, with Kyler Murray, Austin, you got to be stacking DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to be an absolute tank today. He's going for at least 8 catches. Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor, Lucas, did no players better than Derrick Henry this week. Derrick Henry is locked and loaded in your lineups. I mean, he's probably going to go over 200 yards again. Derrick Henry, if you wanted to bet on his rushing yards, his over-under is 120 yards again this week, and he's probably going to pass that again in the first half like he did last week. What are your thoughts on Washington with Haskins? Yeah, Washington offense is going to struggle. Haskins is not very good. It's why he was benched earlier this season. I think that the offense is the clear weakness of the team. Terry McLaurin, though, I think will have a bounce-back week. Morning, Sam. Will Gesicki play today? It's unclear, Anthony, if he's officially going to be playing, but it looks like he's trending towards playing. I'd say 75% confidence that he is playing. Landry or Hilton? I think you have to be starting T.Y. Hilton. Lamar or Tannehill? You cannot bench Lamar Jackson today. Do not bench Lamar Jackson. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Takes you 2 seconds. Let's hit that like button. We're going to try to break our record of 300 likes today. I think that's what we got up to last time. Maybe it was 400 even last Sunday. Gesicki or Logan Thomas? I would lean towards Logan Thomas. I really don't trust Gesicki at all today, even if he is healthy. Terry or Deontay Johnson? I would lean towards Terry McLaurin. Played against Henry last week and still won. Championship this week. Not getting excited too early. Yeah, don't celebrate too early. Never celebrate too early. Hey, Sam, the NFL season is over. Do you do NBA season after? Yes, we're going to have some fantasy, DFS, and player prop content for the NBA season. I'm really excited to release that. I haven't officially announced it yet on any of our social media platforms because we're in the final stages of finishing out our algorithm, but I'm very excited to be announcing that. Can you run Lamar solo or do you stack him? Austin, you definitely can run Lamar Jackson solo in DFS, but I would be stacking him with either Mark Andrews or Marquise Brown because they're up against a Jaguars secondary that's arguably the worst secondary in the NFL. The Jaguars secondary is atrocious. They've dealt with a lot of injuries this season. They weren't good even before the injuries. So Lamar Jackson, yes, you got to lock him into your lineups. Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara are probably 2 of the safest players today, but I do think that you can stack Lamar Jackson with Mark Andrews, and if not, a deeper stack would be with Marquise Brown. Do you like NFL more than NBA? Yes, I do like the NFL more than the NBA, but I'm excited for the NBA season as well. The kickoff starts on Tuesday. T.Y. or Corey Davis or Thielen? I would lean towards Adam Thielen, but you got to strongly consider T.Y. Hilton, who's, again, he's averaging over 100 yards per game against the Houston Texans in his last 7 games against them. Russ or Goff? Guys, Jared Goff is a very safe option this week against a New York Jets defense, allowing top 5 fantasy points per game to the quarterback position. I think I would lean Jared Goff over Russell Wilson. Yes, weather updates. My weather update, and again, I auditioned as a weather reporter back in week 12 or week 11, I think it was, and still no calls from any of the media stations, which is disappointing. But the research that I have done is that there's only a statistically significant impact on offenses when there is wind over 25 miles an hour, and we do not see any games today with wind over 25 miles an hour. So you can ignore the weather. You can ignore the weather for this week. I don't think you need to be concerned about the weather report. Brandon Ayuk is also in must-start territory, guys. Brandon Ayuk is leading the NFL. He's top 5 in the NFL in air yards over the last month. He's gone over 70 yards in 4 straight games. Ayuk's over-under today for receiving yards, 75 yards. I mean, he is a stud, guys. He's this rookie class, one of the best rookie wide receiver classes in the history of the NFL. They have the potential to be the best rookie wide receiver class ever. And Brandon Ayuk is a part of that reason. Brandon Ayuk must be in your starting lineups this week. I don't think you can be benching Ayuk. Games with some rain possibly are the Ravens and Jaguars game. But again, rain does not concern me. Only wind concerns me. There's Browns and Giants and Seahawks and Washington all could have some rain in them, but there's really no games with concerning winds. And so I'm not going to be advising you to overthink the weather. And if you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button. If you're watching live on TikTok, appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to come subscribe to our YouTube channel. Who would you start, Terry, T.Y., or Evans? I would be starting Evans there, guys. I really do think you got to trust Chris Godwin and Mike Evans this week. I think Tom Brady's throwing at least 3 touchdowns today. He's going to go over 300 passing yards. That's great news for Chris Godwin. It's great news for Mike Evans. It's great news for Antonio Brown as well. All 3 of those guys I'm going to be excited to have in my fantasy lineups. In DFS, I don't know if there's a quarterback I have more this week than Tom Brady. Landry or Hunt? You got to go with Hunt there. I think Kareem Hunt is the safer option over Jarvis Landry. I think that the Browns are going to be able to steamroll the Giants today, and that's going to lead towards a lot of running and not a lot of passing. Justin Jefferson or Brandon? I would definitely go Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is in must-start territory. And guys, if I don't get to answer your start-sit question, I'm going to try to answer as many as I possibly can. I know this is a big, big fantasy football day, but I also spent over 400 hours building an app called WalterPicks. It uses an algorithm named Walter that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to give you the best possible projections in the world. It's been more accurate than ESPN and Yahoo and PFF over the last 2 years. It also simulates each week 10,000 times to give you boom and bust probabilities for every single player. You can download the WalterPicks app completely free. You can do your start-sit comparisons completely free. I gave everyone 30 free start-sit comparisons just a couple days ago. So you can go access that. I would start there with your start-sit questions, then come back to the stream, let me know what the app said, and then we can discuss Cook, DK, A-Rob, or Ridley at flex. I would lean towards Dalvin Cook. That you have an insane flex options there, but you can't be benching Dalvin Cook. Ayuk or Akers? I would lean towards Cam Akers there, guys. Cam Akers, you have to start Cam Akers. He's averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 games. He's over a 2 touchdown favorite today against the Jets. You have to start Cam Akers. I should see 0 questions about Cam Akers. Put him in your starting lineup, then come to me with what you got after that. Dobbins or Bowden? Yeah, Bowden was an interesting sleeper for me this week. I was in on him on DFS at the beginning of the week. He was actually identified as a DraftKings and FanDuel favorite by Walter using our artificial intelligence algorithm. But as the Dolphins started to heal up this week, Bowden's off the fantasy radar, guys. Devontae Parker thought he was going to be out. He's in. Gesicki looking like he's going to play. Jakeem Grant looking like he might be out, but Ahmed is also back. So it's hard to see the path to Lynn Bowden leading them in receiving yards again. So I'm out on Lynn Bowden. I would lean away from Lynn Bowden. And Dobbins is in a pretty good spot too. The Ravens should destroy the Jaguars today, guys. But on the Jaguar side of the ball, one of my favorite sleepers of the week, DJ Chark. Guys, DJ Chark has been one of the bigger busts this season. I thought he was going to do very well. He's a great young player who's been dominant in the past, but there's a lot of reason to like DJ Chark this week, guys. DJ Chark, listen to this. He's averaging 54 receiving yards per game this season, but he's really struggled over his last 4 games, failing to surpass 60 yards once. However, he's played at least 88% of the offensive snaps for the Jaguars in his last 7 games. He's still the solid wide receiver 1 for the Jaguars, and he's seen at least 66 air yards. That's the distance the ball travels in each of those games. His last 7 games, he's seen 66 air yards at least. There's very few players in the NFL that have seen that consistent amount of volume. The volume has been there for DJ Chark. And what is most predictive of fantasy football points is volume. The DJ Chark bounce back game is coming, and it's coming this week. Chark's averaging 59 receiving yards per game in his 20 games that he's played with Gardner Minshew, who's starting for the Jaguars this week. And he's up against a Ravens secondary that is injured this week. They're without some of their top cornerbacks. And so DJ Chark, a great sleeper play this week, especially on DFS. I love stacking him against Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews in DFS this week. I think a great starting point for your DFS lineups is Lamar Jackson stacked with Mark Andrews. Then you fit in Alvin Kamara, and then you also add in DJ Chark. That's a great, great starting point. Should I bench Raheem Mostert for Jeff Wilson? No, Pranav. Don't bench Raheem Mostert for Jeff Wilson. I have Raheem Mostert ranked just ahead of Jeff Wilson. They're both pretty good options this week, but I do think that Raheem Mostert's still the better option. He's been the better running back over the last year. Miami or Seattle defense. I think Miami Dolphins defense is pretty intriguing against a bad Patriots offense. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm wearing N'Keal Harry's jersey, but I'm nervous about the Pats today, guys. The Dolphins, this is a must-win game for them if they want to stay in playoff contention. I do think that Miami Dolphins defense is a little bit better than the Seahawks defense. Dolphins defense or Colts defense, I would lean towards Dolphins. I wouldn't trust Colts defense against Deshaun Watson. Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson. You got to start Mark Andrews. You have to start Mark Andrews. You have to start Lamar Jackson. You have to start Mark Andrews, guys. You got to start Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers. I should see no questions about Jonathan Taylor or Cam Akers. There should be zero questions about Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray. Both those guys need to be in your starting lineups. You have to start these players. You have to start Ayuk as well. You got to get Ayuk in your lineups, guys. He's been very, very consistent. He's one of the safest wide receivers this week. Choose two, Montgomery, Swift, or Terry. I think that I would probably lean towards DeAndre Swift and Terry McLaurin. DeAndre Swift was a concern for me this week with Matthew Stafford looking like he was going to be out. All of a sudden, Matthew Stafford looks like he's going to tough it out and play this week. So I do think that DeAndre Swift jumps into very, very good territory in fantasy football. He's a back-end running back one with how talented he is. Sam, how you doing, bro? I'm doing great, Jack. Thanks for asking, man. I got Thielen at my flex. Woods in Metcalf are my other wide receivers. Do you feel nervous about Thielen's matchup today? I do feel a little bit nervous for Adam Thielen because I do think that Justin Jefferson is a better play than Adam Thielen, but Thielen is the guy who's more likely to score the touchdown, so I do still like him. App says Watson over Brady. Yeah, Johnny, I disagree with the app on that one. I think you got to be starting Tom Brady over Deshaun Watson. He's got the significantly better matchup, Johnny. So I would lean towards Tom Brady over Deshaun Watson. Robinson, Dobbins, Kupp, or Thielen. I'm leaning towards Cooper Kupp there, guys. Cooper Kupp has a fantastic matchup today against the New York Jets, who are allowing top 10 fantasy points per game to wide receivers this season. They have stopped nobody. They haven't stopped a single offense. And Jared Goff, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, they're all really good, safe options this week. Big Ben or Hurts. I think that Hurts has a pretty good floor, but I like Big Ben a little bit more on Monday night. Sanders or Hawkinson, I would lean towards Sanders. I hate playing tight ends over running backs and receivers. Myers or Pittman, I think that I would lean towards Pittman over Myers. Myers is in a tough spot today. Gage or Emmanuel Sanders. I think Emmanuel Sanders is in must-bench category. He's in the must-bench list along with Ezekiel Elliott, guys. Emmanuel Sanders has actually been out-snapped and out-targeted by Traquan Smith of late. I think Traquan Smith has just as good of a chance as Emmanuel Sanders to see the main targets in that offense. So I'm out on Emmanuel Sanders. I think he's got way too much risk to trust. Terry or Evans, do you think Terry will be bad? Terry McLaurin has struggled over the last couple of weeks, and I think that is a concerning sign, but I would still probably lean towards Terry McLaurin there. Hey, they have Taylor or Ayuk. I think you can't bench Jonathan Taylor, just like Cam Akers, guys. Jonathan Taylor has been too good over the last 2 weeks and has too good of a matchup this week to be benching. I mean, Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor, they have to be in your starting lineups, guys. They can win you this week on their own. That's the upside that they have. You think Bears can slow down Dalvin? We will see, man. Not many teams have been able to slow down Dalvin Cook, so probably not. Choose two. Evans, Swift, or Davis. I think you got to go with Mike Evans and DeAndre Swift there. Again, DeAndre Swift is a back-end running back one this week. The rookies are in really good spots this week, guys. Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, Brandon Ayuk. I think that DeAndre Swift, all of these rookies are in fantastic spots today. Justin Jefferson, all of these rookies, get them in your starting lineup. App says Monty over TY, non-PPR. You agree? Yeah, I think that I would agree with that, but it's going to be close, Johnny. Again, T.Y. Hilton historically dominates the Houston Texans. So I think it's a close one, but I would lean towards Monty. Swift or Carson in a half PPR league? You got to go Swift. DeAndre Swift's ceiling is higher than David Montgomery's today. Russell Gage or Sterling Shepard? I would lean towards Russell Gage with no Daniel Jones. It's tough to trust anyone in that Giants offense. The Giants offense has a chance to score 0 points. Is Landry a good start without Bradbury? Yeah, the Bradbury being out actually doesn't affect Jarvis Landry very much. He wasn't going to be covering Jarvis Landry. He was going to be covering Rashad Higgins. And so Rashad Higgins actually gets a boost. And Rashad Higgins is actually an interesting play in DFS this week, but Landry should do pretty well also. Mostert or McKissick, I would lean towards Mostert over McKissick. Mostert's in a fantastic spot against a bad Dallas Cowboys defense, guys. And if you're watching live on TikTok, we're also live on YouTube. Come join the YouTube stream. If you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, on the iOS App Store, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning to help you dominate your start-sit decisions, dominate daily fantasy sports, and player prop picks. We've identified over 7 exploitable prop picks. Today, we're going to be sharing our free prop pick of the week coming up a little bit later in the show. Carson or Dobbins? I would lean towards Dobbins over Carson. I think that Rashad Penny being back is not a great sign for Chris Carson. He has a little bit of added risk. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Takes you 2 seconds. Really does help us out more than you probably realize. So hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button too if you haven't subscribed yet. David Johnson or Chase Claypool? I would lean towards David Johnson. And David Johnson has been a tough one this season. He really hasn't performed very well. But Duke Johnson is questionable. Even if Duke Johnson does play, it's looking like he has a chance to be limited. And David Johnson looks like he's fully healthy. So I would trot out David Johnson with some confidence today. Taylor Swift or Akers? All 3 of those rookies you want to be starting. I would rank Taylor Swift and Akers in this order. I would say Akers number 1 against the Jets as a 2-touchdown favorite. Seeing 25 touches per game over the last 2 weeks, you can't bench Cam Akers. Then right behind him is Jonathan Taylor. Both of them are running back 1s this week, top 12 running backs, Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor. DeAndre Swift is more of a running back 2 with running back 1 upside, but all 3 of those guys, great options. Good job getting some good rookies on your team. Zeke or Deontay, standard. I would lean towards Deontay Johnson. Ezekiel Elliott is in our must-bench list this week, guys. He's dealing with an injury. He has shown no burst over the last couple of weeks. Tony Pollard looks better than him. You can't be trusting Ezekiel Elliott in your lineups. He's been getting stuffed at the goal line game after game after game after game. He leads the NFL in carries inside the 5. He has 2 yards on those carries. I posted a video about this earlier this week on TikTok. Guys, he is leading the NFL. He has over 25 touches inside the 5. He has 2 total yards on those touches. Absolutely brutal. Can you go into depth about Russ or Goff? Yeah, let's talk about Russell Wilson and Jared Goff this week, because Russell Wilson has been he's been on a steady decline since his hot start this season. The touchdowns have really come down for Russell Wilson, but I do think that Jared Goff is a slightly safer option than Russell Wilson. Jared Goff is up against the New York Jets, who have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. It's very rare for a quarterback to go under 20 points against this Jets team, and Jared Goff averaging around 20 points over his last 2 starts. Jared Goff has been accurate, especially when you look at the play action completion percentage. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson has been really hot and cold over the last month. He's only gone over 20 points twice. He did score 4 touchdowns in his last game, but his last game came against the Jets, who Jared Goff gets to play against. So his game this week is against the Washington football team, who have allowed the 14th fewest points to quarterbacks this season. Russell Wilson, obviously a significantly better quarterback than Jared Goff. And so if you feel better trotting out the better quarterback, go with Russell Wilson. But if you want to go with the matchup play, it's definitely Jared Goff over Russell Wilson. It really comes down to the matchup for me. Miles Sanders or Adam Thielen in a PPR league? I would lean towards Miles Sanders over Adam Thielen. Miles Sanders has a much higher floor with Jalen Hurts playing. Again, guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Good morning. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, finishing my fantasy football research for the day, finishing my DraftKings lineups, finishing my semifinals, start and sit decisions. And I'm pumped to be talking to you all this morning. And I will be live right up until about 5 minutes before the football game starts. So we got plenty of time. You'll see my energy start to increase as we get closer and closer to game time as well. So hit that like button. If you haven't downloaded the WalterPicks app yet, too, you got to go download that. You got plenty of time this morning to come back to the stream. Marvin Jones, AB, J.D. McKissick, or Sony Michel at flex. I would lean towards Marvin Jones there. Guys, with Matthew Stafford playing, Marvin Jones has been top 5 in the NFL in air yards over the last month. He's actually a pretty high upside play this week. I'm trusting Marvin Jones. I would go with Marvin Jones there. I think that Sony Michel is a pretty good floor play, but what is his true upside in this Patriots offense? I'm really not quite sure. I think Sony Michel is going to go over 8 fantasy points, but it's pretty unlikely he goes over 20. Pick 3, Amari, Terry, Sanders, Zeke, Mostert. I would probably lean towards Mostert, Amari Cooper, and Terry McLaurin there. Guys, Amari Cooper's actually been one of the safest wide receivers in fantasy football this season. Most people see Amari Cooper as a boom and bust player, but he's actually been extremely consistent, going over 10 points in almost every single game that he's played this year. I think he can trust Amari Cooper to do pretty well today. I think he's in the must-start category. Bears or Vikings? I take the Vikings in this game. Where do you teach I'm in Iowa. Hope your year's going well. Thanks, man. Yeah, I teach in Boston. Goff or Watson, Gesicki or Higbee. I would lean towards Deshaun Watson over Jared Goff. And Gesicki versus Higbee is close for me. I think Gesicki's really risky. I would probably lean towards Higbee. I think Higbee's got upside. He obviously is a risk as well, splitting time with Everett. But again, against this Jets team, you can trust a lot of the Rams offense. I use the app, but still not sure. McKissick or Hines? I would lean towards Nyheim Hines this week. I think Hines against the Texans, he's got a lot of upside. Kareem Hunt or Kenyon Drake, that's a really close one. I think we have them ranked within 2 spots of one another in the WalterPicks app. Kenyon Drake, with Chase Edmonds dealing with an injury, Kenyon Drake has intriguing floor this week. He's almost definitely going over 10 fantasy points, but he still has not been involved enough in the passing attack for me to get too excited about him. If Chase Edmonds, though, is in fact limited, you got to go Kenyon Drake over Kareem Hunt. What's your favorite DFS stack today? I think my favorite DFS stack, there's a couple of them that I really like. It's Lamar Jackson stacked with Mark Andrews. I also really like the Tom Brady stacked with either Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, or Antonio Brown. Choose your 2 favorite ones. Stack Tom Brady with 2 of those guys. You're probably going to do very, very well in DFS today. I also really like stacking DJ Chark against the Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. I think DJ Chark's going to have a really good week. Best waiver wire start this week. Look no further than Sony Michel, who Damian Harris picks up a late week ankle injury. He's out this week. Sony Michel, the starting running back for the Patriots, one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL. They run the 2nd most rushing attempts per game in the NFL, and Sony Michel is going to benefit from that. I think that they're going to lean heavy on Sony Michel, who has had success against the Dolphins in the past. Mostert or Jeff Wilson Jr. I go Mostert over Jeff Wilson today, guys. And if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Yeah, we will be giving away a free prop pick. We are 11 out of 14 giving away free prop picks this season on these live streams. I have a lot of confidence in the prop pick today. Pick one: Claypool, Mostert, Wilson, Gage, Bourne, AB. And I would lean towards Raheem Mostert there. I think Raheem Mostert's going to do very well today against a bad Cowboys run defense. They've been one of the worst run defenses over the last month. Is there a free prop pick today? Yes, there will be a free player prop pick today. I'm very excited to tell you all about it. I'm going to be releasing that at around 10:30, so just in about an hour. Sony Michel or Terry McLaurin? Braden, I would lean towards Terry McLaurin over Sony Michel. I think Terry McLaurin is a pretty good bet to bounce back today. D Swift or Miles Sanders? I would lean towards DeAndre Swift. Do you watch any college football? Nope. I do all my research on the college football players leading up to the NFL draft. I really dive into the data and the film leading up to the draft, but I don't have any time during the NFL season. I spend all week rewatching all the NFL games and diving into the data for the NFL. I'm subscribed on YouTube. Goddard or Logan Thomas? Yeah, thanks for subscribing on YouTube, man. I would probably lean towards Logan Thomas. Goddard has a really low floor with Zach Ertz back and Jalen Hurts at quarterback. It's tough to trust Goddard. Best waiver wire wide receiver this week. Yeah, there's a couple wide receivers I liked up the waiver wire this week. One of which is Kendrick Bourne. I really like Kendrick Bourne today against the Dallas Cowboys. Bourne, with Deebo Samuel out, he's the number 2 receiver for the 49ers. He went for 42 yards last week against a much better defense. I think Bourne's going to do very, very well today. He's playing over 85% of the snaps for the 49ers. He actually played over 95% of the snaps for them last week. Thielen or Ayuk? I would go Ayuk. I think you got to trust Ayuk. Can you update Mostert's projection in the app? Yep, absolutely, I can do that. Let me get on that right now. 12. Let's see this. Raheem Mostert. Let me update these simulations for you. And he's projected pretty well. 14.9 projection in PPR leagues this week. I think Mostert's a pretty safe bet to do very well. I think he's a very strong consideration in DFS and in your standard fantasy leagues, guys. I just updated. You got to close the app, open it again, and it will update for you. Russell Gage or Kendrick Bourne? I would go Kendrick Bourne over Russell Gage. Both are pretty similar options for me, though. Hey, Sam, David Johnson or James Conner? The 2 older running backs that have really struggled this season. I would probably lean James Conner over David Johnson. Browns defense or Ravens defense? I like Browns defense over Ravens defense today, but both should do very well. I think the Jaguars offense actually could do okay today, though. Jeff Wilson, Bowden, or Chase Edmonds? I would rank them in that order. Chase Edmonds dealing with an injury. You really can't start him. He's on the must bench list. Jeff Wilson is the best option there. Bowden really is risky too. I think you got to be benching Lynn Bowden. He was an interesting sleeper for me earlier this week, but with all the players healing for the Miami Dolphins, you can't trust him. Devontae Parker back, and Ahmed is back as well. It's hard to see the path to carries or targets for Lynn Bowden, even with Jakeem Grant out. Gesicki also looking like he's playing. So I think you got to bench Lynn Bowden. I think you have to be benching Chase Edmonds. I think you have to be benching Ezekiel Elliott, who has shown absolutely no burst over the last couple of weeks. The offensive line is still injured, and it's not a very good matchup for him as well. So send Ezekiel Elliott to your bench. I would honestly prefer Sony Michel over Ezekiel Elliott today. Sony Michel available, by the way, in 90% of leagues. He's the starting running back for the most run-heavy team in the NFL today against the Miami Dolphins. They're only 3-point underdogs. Sony Michel, interesting flex and running back 2 appeal. Yo, Sam, Breeze or Hurts? App says Breeze, but he's more likely to bust. Yeah, Marcus, he absolutely is more likely to bust. I would lean towards Hurts for the floor, man. I would go Hurts over Breeze. Thoughts on QT? Yeah, Kiki QT. Brandon Cooks is back, so QT does have a slightly lower floor, but he absolutely has a pretty high ceiling against a Colts team that he just went over 100 yards against just 2 weeks ago. So QT is in the flex conversation. Mike Evans or Brandon Ayuk? I would go Ayuk. Lucas, Brandon Ayuk is safer than Mike Evans, but Evans has just as high as a floor. I'd be willing to start both of them, but I'd lean towards Ayuk over Evans. Bears or Vikings? I got the Vikings today. I think the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, I think, is going to put up another good game today. I think he's going to go over 100 yards. Akers, Demont, Swift, pick 2. I'd go Akers and Swift. There's a lot of rookies you can trust today, guys. You got to be trusting Cam Akers. You got to be trusting Jonathan Taylor. You got to be trusting DeAndre Swift with Matthew Stafford playing. You have to be trusting Brandon Ayuk. You got to be trusting Justin Jefferson. All of these rookies you can trust today. There's a lot of rookies out there. Logan Thomas or Higbee? I would go Higbee over Logan Thomas. Michelle, Jefferson, or Deontay? It's definitely Jefferson. And then after that, I honestly think I like Sony Michel a little bit more than Deontay Johnson. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Let's get to 50 likes. Let's see if we can get to 50 likes in the next couple of minutes. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Ayuk or McLaren? I would lean Ayuk over McLaren. Marvin Jones, Sony Michel, or Antonio Brown? I would probably lean Marvin Jones, who's been top 3 in the NFL in air yards over the last month. Do you think Texans can beat the Colts? Yes, Johnny. Because they have Deshaun Watson, they can beat any team. But I would argue that the Colts are a pretty good bet to beat the Texans. The Texans have a chance, but I would lean towards the Colts winning that game. Hey, Sam, Bourne, CD, Sterling, or any Saints receiver at flex? James, I would lean towards Kendrick Bourne. I'm playing Kendrick Bourne over CeeDee Lamb in one of my leagues today. CeeDee Lamb and Kendrick Bourne are extremely similar options today. I would lean towards Bourne, though, in the better matchup, and he played more snaps than CeeDee Lamb played last week, so I would go Bourne. And the Saints receivers are really tough to trust because Traquan Smith has actually seen more targets and ran more routes than Emmanuel Sanders over the last couple of weeks, and so I don't think you can really trust either of them. I think both of them are high boom and bust options. Hey, Sam, Kupp or Jarvis? I would lean towards Cooper Kupp over Jarvis Landry today. Would love to, but the like button can't find it on my YouTube app on Galaxy S20. Travis, man, you got to figure it out. Robinson or Swift? I would lean towards DeAndre Swift over James Robinson, guys. DeAndre Swift has in very, very much higher floor now that Matthew Stafford is playing. I mean, look at this guy. On TikTok, I'm showing DeAndre Swift right now. The guy's an absolute stud. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. He's extremely talented, and he is finally fully healthy and back in this offense. I think you can trust DeAndre Swift as a solid running back 2 with running back 1 upside today, guys. And again, if you're trying to you need help with your start-sit decisions, look no further than the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. We simulate each week 10,000 times to give accurate boom and bust probabilities. We also have the most accurate projections out there, more accurate than ESPN and Yahoo over the last 2 years. Go check it out, completely free to do your start-sit decisions. Then you can come back to the live stream. We'll talk about what the app was saying and seeing if we disagree or agree. Miami or Ravens defense? I would lean towards Miami defense today. The Patriots team offense is not very good. Lockett, boom or bust this week. I think Lockett is due for a boom week. It's been quite some time since we've seen the Tyler Lockett boom week, and it's not going to be surprising to me if that Tyler Lockett boom week comes this week, but he definitely has a pretty high likelihood at a bust as well. Tennessee or Arizona defense? I would probably lean towards the Arizona defense up against not a very good offense this week. And yeah, with Tyler Lockett, guys, he's seen his snap share actually decline over the last couple of weeks. He only played 66% of the snaps last week against the Jets. That was probably because they just were dominating so early in that game. Tyler Lockett has not gone over 20 fantasy points since week 11. Usually, Tyler Lockett's on this like every 4 weeks. He goes absolutely off. He had 53 points back in week 7, and I think that he's due for another week like that. So if you're going for the boom week, look no further than Tyler Lockett. Gesicki, Ebron, and Allen Robinson, or James Robinson? I would go Ebron over Gesicki, and I would go Allen Robinson over James Robinson. Love your page. Thanks, man. Marvin Jones or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I would go Marvin Jones, even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire has actually seen an uptick in volume over the last few weeks. Marvin Jones, top 5 in the NFL in air yards over the last month. Good morning, Sam. Best day of the week. It is the best day of the week. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday morning. Ayuk or Kupp? I think you have to be starting Ayuk. Here's some players you absolutely have to be starting. You got to be starting Cam Akers. You have to be starting Jonathan Taylor. I think you absolutely have to be starting Brandon Ayuk. I think you have to be starting and trusting Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and Tom Brady this week. I think you need to be trusting Calvin Ridley as well. Calvin Ridley, without Julio Jones, is very, very reliable wide receiver 1 in a game that has one of the highest over-unders of the week. Jones, Lockett, Hines, or T.Y., who do I sit? I would probably be sitting, if it's Julio Jones is not playing, so you got to sit Jones. Otherwise, I would probably sit Hines there. Chris Godwin, Marvin Jones, or if it was Marvin Jones, I'd sit Marvin Jones as well. Chris Godwin, Marvin Jones, or Leonard Fournette. Yeah, Leonard Fournette, guys, interesting value play this week as well. He was a healthy scratch last week, though, so he definitely comes with a considerable amount of risk. But with Ronald Jones dealing with an injury, unclear yet if Ronald Jones is going to play. But I do think that Leonard Fournette is a sneaky value play with upside in DFS. Sony or Zeke? I'm benching Ezekiel Elliott. You got to bench Ezekiel Elliott this week. I'm starting Sony Michel over Ezekiel Elliott. And apparently Ezekiel Elliott's calf, he is going to be starting, even though he was not doing very well last week and actually wasn't feeling good after the game. Ezekiel Elliott's still starting this week. I don't think you can trust him. I would go Sony Michel over Gus Edwards as well. App says Ebron over Logan Thomas. I'm not sure about that. I would like Ebron over Logan Thomas just for the upside. I think Logan Thomas, though, with the targets he gets, is a pretty safer option than Ebron. I think he's got a higher floor, but not as high of a ceiling. Justin Jefferson or Robert Woods in a full PPR league. I would go Justin Jefferson there. I think Jefferson has a higher ceiling, but Woods has the higher floor against a horrible Jets team. Ravens defense or Browns defense? I would go Browns. Walter, I need your help. Cam Akers or Jonathan Taylor? My name's actually Sam. I built an artificially intelligent algorithm, named him Walter. You can get access to his machine learning artificially intelligent projections for completely free in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store to help you with this decision. But Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor both need to be started. You got to start both of them. I would rank Cam Akers just ahead of Jonathan Taylor as a 2-touchdown favorite against the Jets, averaging 25 touches per game over the last couple of weeks. But both those guys, you got to get them into your starting lineups. Godwin, T.Y., Ayuk. I would lean towards Ayuk over those guys, but Godwin is also a good option. Johnny, I would go Godwin and Ayuk out of those 5 options you just gave me. You teach in Boston. You live in Framingham. I'm always in Boston. Nice. Yeah, we got to link up and talk football, Jack. Start 2, Evans, Carson, Akers. App says Carson and Akers. I would probably lean towards Evans and Akers just for the upside. I think Carson and Evans, if I'm choosing between Chris Carson and Mike Evans today, I'm leaning towards Mike Evans because I want the upside there. Kyler or Tom Brady? You can't bench Kyler Murray. These are the only quarterbacks I'm starting over Tom Brady today. It's Lamar Jackson, it's Patrick Mahomes, and it's Kyler Murray. Other than that, you got to be trusting Tom Brady. I think he's going to have a fantastic game. 3+ touchdowns, over 300 yards. Dallas Goedert or Mike Gesicki? I would lean towards Gesicki. I don't trust Goddard at all. I'm going Mostert over Jeff Wilson. It's really hard to bench Carson, though. Yeah, Marcus, it is hard. I'm out of the playoffs, but I'll watch. Zen, thanks, man. I appreciate you. Hit that like button, too, if you're watching live on YouTube. Let's see if we can get to 75 likes. Jeff Wilson or Mostert? It's Mostert over Jeff Wilson today for me. Which defenses do you like in DFS in the first slate today? I like the Patriots and the Dolphins defense today. I think that one of those defenses is going to do very well in that game. Start 3, Sanders, Carson, Montgomery, Robinson. I would probably lean towards Sanders, Robinson, and Carson. I think Montgomery is a pretty safe option with the volume he's seeing, but he does have one of the harder matchups he's had over the last few weeks. I need help. I'm in the ship. Ayuk or Ridley? You got to go Ridley. You can't bench Ridley. How do we feel about James Robinson? You got to feel pretty good. James Robinson, by the way, if he goes over 70 yards today, he's going to break the all-time record for the most rushing yards by an undrafted rookie ever. So that's going to be very exciting for James Robinson. I think he's going to do it. How do we feel about James Robinson? That's how I feel about him. Jeff Wilson or Fournette? I would lean towards Jeff Wilson over Fournette today in a really good matchup against the Dallas Cowboys rush defense that is bottom 3 in the NFL over the last month. Will Sutton coming back impact Judy in a good or bad way next year? Probably in a good way. I think Judy and Sutton can both succeed in that offense. Tom Brady or Russell Wilson? I'd go Tom Brady over Wilson today. Patriots D or Arizona D? I like Patriots defense a lot today. We know how good Bill Belichick has been against rookie quarterbacks in his career. Tom Brady or Russell Wilson? I would lean Brady over Wilson. How do you feel about Jefferson today? I think Justin Jefferson is going to do very, very well today. I think he's going to bounce back after a pretty down week last week. Guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button too. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to subscribe. I don't know what you're waiting for. How do you feel about J.K. Dobbins? I think J.K. Dobbins is in a great spot today. I think you got to trust J.K. Dobbins. There's so many rookies to trust today. You got to be trusting J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, Brandon Ayuk. All of these guys are really, really good options. Justin Jefferson, they're in fantastic spots today. Ahmed or Fournette? I'd go Fournette over Ahmed. I don't trust Ahmed really at all today. Who knows what his volume is going to be coming off the injury that he's been dealing with for the past couple of weeks. Akers or James Robinson? You got to go Akers. Came from TikTok, brother. Luke, thanks, man. Love the success. I'm new to the hype. Luke, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button too if you're just joining us on YouTube. Hilton or Terry? I would lean towards Terry McLaurin over T.Y. Hilton, but guys, you got to be aware of how much T.Y. Hilton dominates the Houston Texans. In his last 7 games against the Houston Texans, he's averaging over 100 yards per game. Thoughts on Swift? I think DeAndre Swift is a high-end running back 2 this week with running back 1 upside. I think there's going to be a lot of rookies that do very well today, and DeAndre Swift is one of them. Pick 1 tight end and 1 flex. Cook, Kmet, Watkins. I think Jared Cook's a great option with Drew Brees back, and I would go Bourne over Watkins as well. I hope that helps. Yo, Terry or Cooper? I would lean towards Amari Cooper over Terry McLaurin. Amari Cooper's low-key been one of the safest wide receivers in fantasy football this season. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Best day of the week. It is week 15, the semifinals or finals for your fantasy football league. Let's go. Let's get these dubs, guys. Let's win our fantasy football leagues. This is what it is all about. And we got some dominant DraftKings and FanDuel advice for you this week as well. Coming out at 10:30, I'll be releasing our free prop pick of the week as well. We've been over 80% accurate giving away our free prop picks this season. Bowden is not trustworthy. Bowden, you got to be benching Lynn Bowden. You have to be benching Ezekiel Elliott. You got to be benching Chase Edmonds. All three of those guys must benches this week. By the way, the number 1 running back this week after Derrick Henry is Alvin Kamara, who's probably going to lead the Saints in receiving now that Michael Thomas is out and Drew Brees is back, as he did in that same situation this whole season with Michael Thomas out. Alvin Kamara has been the leading receiver for the Saints this year. Mostert, Montgomery, or Sanders? I would lean towards Mostert and Sanders over David Montgomery this week. James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and A.J. Brown or Jefferson? I think you got to love all those options. Jonathan Taylor is probably the safest of all of them, though. Deontay Johnson or Corey Davis? Already starting A.J. Brown. I trust Deontay Johnson. Mostert, guys, in a fantastic spot. Aaron Jones was on my bench. Yikes, Jake. You can't bench Aaron Jones. Connor, Jeff Wilson, or Hines? I would probably lean towards Jeff Wilson, but they're all really similar options, man. I think Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert are running back 2 options this week. Where's the bloody Samsung version? It's coming, man. It'll be out by next season, I promise you. Thoughts on Chase Claypool? Yeah, Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson have seen some of their volume getting eaten up by James Washington, and it adds a layer of risk to them. But Chase Claypool, I think, is a pretty good option this week. Bourne or Hanson? I would lean towards Kendrick Bourne there. Don't have a running back. Who should I pick up? Go add Sony Michel. He's available in over 90% of fantasy leagues. Damian Harris picked up a late week ankle injury. Sony Michel is going to be the starting running back for the most run-heavy team in all of football, which is the New England Patriots. This week, Sony Michel is seeing at least 15 carries, and so you got to be going with Sony Michel. I know you're wearing a Pats jersey, but Pats or Dolphins? I bet the Pats win. I bet the Dolphins win this week. I'm a pessimistic Patriots fan. They have not been good on the offensive side of the ball. I do still think Sony Michel is a solid running back 3 with running back 2 upside, just given the volume. But I do think that you have to trust the Dolphins to beat the Patriots in a must-win game. The only chance that, and the reason I think that the Dolphins are going to beat the Patriots, Tua Tagovailoa looked very, very good against a good Chiefs defense last week. That cannot go overlooked. It was his best game as a pro, and I think he's going to continue that this week against the Pats, though we know how good Bill Belichick is against rookie quarterbacks. So we'll see if the Pats can confuse him. But I would lean towards Dolphins over Pats, even though I am a Patriots fan. I am rocking the N'Keal Harry jersey right now. Godwin, Kupp, or Deontay? I would rank them in that order this week. Godwin, then Kupp, then Deontay Johnson. Again, Tom Brady, guys, is going to have a huge day. He's going to go over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's great news for Chris Godwin. It's great news for Mike Evans. It's great news for Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski as well. Carson or Miles Sanders? I would lean towards Miles Sanders over Chris Carson. I know that Chris Carson has been a running back one, but I'm concerned about him this week with Rashad Penny back. I think that they could actually eat into his workload. We'll see how much Rashad Penny is involved in his first game back. Jeff Wilson or Sony Michel. Close one, man. It's close. I think we can see Sony Michel touching the ball more than Jeff Wilson, but Jeff Wilson's is in the better matchup. So I would argue Sony Michel has the safer floor just given the volume, but Jeff Wilson has the higher ceiling given the matchup. Cardinals defense or 49ers defense, I would lean towards the 49ers defense. I really do like the 49ers defense against a bad Cowboys offense today. Ezekiel Elliott struggling, offensive line injured. There's a lot to like about the 49ers today, including Brandon Ayuk and Kendrick Bourne, Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson. All four of those guys are pretty good options. Definitely Dobbins over Sony Michel. I bet you are mad that the Pats suck now. Yeah, the Pats do suck now. It's sad, but I've had enough championships in my lifetime really to last a lifetime, so there's really nothing for me to complain about. Evan Ingram or Jared Cook? I would go Jared Cook over Evan Ingram. Without Daniel Jones, it's tough to trust Evan Ingram. Corey Davis or Drake? I would lean towards Kenyon Drake over Corey Davis. Thoughts on Leonard Fournette? Yeah, he's an interesting sleeper play this week. With Ronald Jones dealing with a finger injury, he's trending towards being out, or if he does play, it looks like Ronald Jones is going to be limited at best. And so that is good news for Leonard Fournette, who, though, was a healthy scratch last week. So don't act like Leonard Fournette is this absolute lock. He has some risk. There's a chance Shady McCoy runs ahead of him like he did last week. And so I think Fournette has interesting upside in the game with one of the highest over-unders of the week, but he definitely has some risk. And it looks like Ezekiel Elliott is going to play through his calf injury. I'm not exactly sure why they would do that. Antonio Brown, Russell Gage, J.D. McKissick, I would rank those guys in that order. Antonio Brown has a lot of upside today. Miami or Indianapolis D, I would lean towards the Miami Dolphins defense. I think you got to like the Dolphins defense a lot today against the New England Patriots. Wilson Jr., David Johnson, Gallman, pick two. I'd go with those first two. I think Wilson Jr. and David Johnson over Gallman. Zeke or Connor? You got to bench Ezekiel Elliott today, guys. The must-bench list today. Ezekiel Elliott must be benched. You must bench Ezekiel Elliott. You have to bench Chase Edmonds as well. And I think you also have to be benching Lynn Bowden if you picked him up as a sleeper. Those three running backs, send them to your bench right now. And if you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 75 likes. Really would appreciate that. What's your favorite show, Josh? It's the Game of Thrones. Ayuk or Antonio Brown? I would lean towards Ayuk over Antonio Brown. I think Ayuk is in must-start territory. I think here's some guys you got to be very confident about starting this week. We're at 69 likes. Nice. Hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 75. Here's some guys you got to be trusting in your lineups today. You have to trust Lamar Jackson. He's going to be the number one quarterback this week. He was our number one ranked quarterback going into this week. He's been on absolute fire, averaging over 100 rushing yards per game over the last couple of games. I think he's going to toss at least 2 touchdowns against one of the worst secondaries, if not the worst secondary in the NFL today. Lamar Jackson is an automatic start in DFS and in your fantasy lineups. I also think Kyler Murray is a fantastic option today. He's been dealing with an injury that was clearly holding him back, but he ran the most rushing attempts he's done over the last month in his last game. The injury seems to be fully healed. So you can trust Kyler Murray today. I also think Tom Brady is a fantastic option. If you're playing DFS, start with one of those three guys because Tom Brady, he leads the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. He's going for 3+ touchdowns today and over 300 yards. Some other guys you can feel very confident about starting. Brandon Ayuk, who's gone over 70 yards in 4 straight games. Justin Jefferson, who I think is going over 100 yards today. A.J. Brown, you got to trust that guy. Break out the smelling salts for A.J. Brown. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, also fantastic options today for the same reasons why I like Tom Brady. You got to like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans today. I love Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and T.Y. Hilton today as well. All of those wide receivers are pretty trustworthy starts. At the running back position, you got to be trusting Cam Akers. You got to be trusting Jonathan Taylor. You have to trust DeAndre Swift, and you have to trust J.K. Dobbins. All 4 of those rookie running backs are the leading running backs on their teams in good matchups. They're probably going to see over 15 touches. You got to trust all 4 of those guys, Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, and I think you have to trust DeAndre Swift as well. Sony Michel and David Montgomery are some backer end wide running back 2s. I think Sony Michel, available in 90% of fantasy leagues still, is a pretty good option this week as the lead running back with Damian Harris out on the most run-heavy team in the NFL. We're at 75 likes. Let's go. Let's see if we can hit that 100 like mark. Hit that like button. Really does help us out. I would play Sony Michel over James Conner, who James Conner has really, really struggled over the last few weeks. 75 likes. Let's go, Kyle. That's what I'm talking about. Tyler Lockett over Deontay Johnson for sure. Is Deontay Johnson going to come back into form? I think he can, and I think drops are one of the most overrated statistics in the NFL, one of the least sticky stats from week to week in the NFL. But there is some true concern of James Washington eating into his role a little bit. James Washington Washington's been the player who scored over the last few weeks for the Pittsburgh Steelers and not Deontay Johnson. So there is some risk with Deontay Johnson, but I still think he's the number one wide receiver in that offense. Antonio Brown or Chris Godwin? I would lean towards Chris Godwin over Antonio Brown. T.Y. Hilton or Emmanuel Sanders? Emmanuel Sanders is also on the must-bench list this week. Add him to the must-bench list along with Ezekiel Elliott, along with Chase Edmonds, along with Lynn Bowden. You got to be benching Emmanuel Sanders. It's T.Y. Hilton over him 1,000%. Landry, McKissick, or Gallman at flex. I would probably rank them in that order. I think Landry's a pretty solid flex option. Trubisky or Cousins? I think Mitch Trubisky, guys, has been on somewhat of a good fantasy football tear. I mean, we know he's not the answer for the Bears, and I think what I was predicting all season is Trubisky was going to do just enough at the end of the season for the Bears to give him another go next season. They just keep buying in with his sunk cost. But he had 25 fantasy points last week against the Texans. I think he could do pretty well again this week, but I'd argue Kirk Cousins is the safer bet. I chose to start Jonathan Taylor over Aaron Jones. Hopefully he can replicate what he did last week. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is a very good start this week, guys. He's probably going to finish as a running back one. He's probably going to end up winning people their fantasy football leagues. And if you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. If you're watching live on TikTok, you got to trust me and go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're having a lot of fun on YouTube. We're over 2,500 YouTube subscribers in just under a month, maybe not 2,500, and hopefully we can pass that today. What does the app have QT so low? Do I play AB, Sony, or Hollywood over him? I would probably be playing Antonio Brown over QT, but not Sony Michel. And QT is low because Brandon Cooks is back, and so I do think Kiki QT has some added layer of risk this week, but let's see what he's projected for in the WalterPicks app. We have him projected for 10 fantasy points. Really not that bad. I think that he has a good chance to do well against a team that he did well against not just 2 weeks ago. Who do you think will win comeback player of the year next year? Next year, comeback player of the year, probably Dak Prescott. Will Soley told me about the stream. Alex, good to see you, man. Devontae Parker, Antonio Brown, Fournette, Jarvis, pick one. I would probably lean towards Antonio Brown just for the upside. Again, I think that the Bucs offense is going to absolutely cook today. Tom Brady going for 3+ touchdowns, over 300 yards. I think that that's great news for Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski. I would argue at least 3 out of the 4 guys I just mentioned on the Bucs offense are going to do very, very well today against a Falcons defense allowing top 10 fantasy points per game to every offensive position this season, and they're without one of their second best corner. So I do think you can trust the Bucs offense. Fire up the Bucs offense with confidence today, guys. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you haven't liked yet or subscribed yet, you're missing out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we get to 100 likes. It's not even 10 a.m. Eastern time this morning. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, finishing my fantasy football research for the day to help you all out. And I've been live just under an hour now. We're going to be live up until 5 minutes leading up to the football games. Lord and Savior Sam, DJ Chark, Corey Davis, Kareem Hunt, Emmanuel Sanders. Pick one. I would pick Kareem Hunt as the safest option. DJ Chark is the highest upside option. I think DJ Chark's going to have a big bounce back game today. I do think you can trust DJ Chark in your lineups. Pick one. Justin Jefferson, Ayuk, T.Y. I would rank them in that order. I think Jefferson has a higher ceiling than Ayuk. Ayuk is the safest option, though. Ayuk has gone over 70 yards in 4 straight games, guys. I mean, he's one of the safest wide receivers in all of football right now. But Jefferson, you can't deny the upside with him. Akers, Dobbins, or Miles Sanders. Pick one. It's Cam Akers, guys. Here's some guys you got to start. You have to start Cam Akers. You have to start Jonathan Taylor. You absolutely have to be starting Brandon Ayuk and Justin Jefferson as well. All of these rookies are in the must-start category today. Find a spot for them. Bench one, T.Y., Mike Evans, and Thielen. I would probably bench either T.Y. or Mike Evans there. I think that T.Y. is a pretty safe bet to dominate the Houston Texans, as he always does, though. So probably I'd probably be benching Mike Evans, but he does have a higher ceiling than Adam Thielen. Do you like Russell Gage as the desperate flex? Yeah, Aiden, I do. But I probably like Sony Michel a little bit better than Russell Gage. And Sony Michel's available in over 90% of fantasy leagues still. So go see if he's available. I just lost, and I had Aaron Jones and Darren Waller. Yikes. Montgomery or Gallman? I would lean towards Montgomery over Gallman this week. Metcalf or T.Y. Hilton? I would lean towards Metcalf over T.Y. Hilton. You can't be benching DK Metcalf, guys, ever. James Robinson or Cam Akers? It's Cam Akers over James Robinson this week. Cam Akers is over a 2-touchdown favorite. He's averaging 25 touches per game over his last couple of weeks. You got to trust Cam Akers in your starting lineup, guys. And again, let's see if we can get to 90 likes. We're 3 likes away. Hit that like button. Really does help us out. It takes you 2 seconds. Helps us out more than you probably realize. So hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, don't know what you're waiting for, come check out our YouTube channel. We're live on TikTok and YouTube right now. Dustin Hopkins or suck up. I would go suck up. Antonio Brown or Pittman. I would go Antonio Brown. Seattle or Patriots defense. I like the Pats defense a lot today. Just subscribe to your YouTube. Thanks, man. Marvin Jones or Robert Woods. I think you got to go Robert Woods there. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Fantastic options today in fantasy football against a bad Jets defense, allowing top 5 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks and wide receivers this season. They have not stopped anyone. That's why I like Jared Goff today as well. Hey, Sam, Browns or Colts defense? I would lean towards the Browns defense over the Colts defense. I don't like starting defenses against really good quarterbacks, and that's exactly what Deshaun Watson is. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I need help. The only good wide receiver I have is Russell Gage. Yeah, you do need help then. I think Russell Gage is an interesting dart throw at wide receiver this week, but he's by no means trustworthy. I like Sony Michel more than Russell Gage if you can get him. App says Godwin. Him or T.Y. I would go Godwin over T.Y. Hilton. You talk extremely fast. Yeah, man, there's a lot of comments I got to get to, so I'm trying to talk fast, and I'm pumped because it's week 15 of the NFL. We have made it to the fantasy football playoffs. Hit that like button if you're in the fantasy football playoffs because let's go. This is the best time of the year, the fantasy football playoffs. This is also a great day for some DraftKings and FanDuel. I'm going to be sharing some DraftKings advice with you in just a couple minutes, but we got a lot of advice for DraftKings today. Yeah, you can trust Kendrick Bourne in your starting lineup today. I think he's a very good sleeper option this week. He saw over 95% of the snaps for the 49ers last week with Deebo Samuel going down with an injury. He's up against a bad Cowboy secondary. You can trust Kendrick Bourne. Ayuk or Swift? Both really good options. I would go Ayuk. I think Ayuk is safer, but both of them, there's a lot of rookies you can like today, guys. You could make an entire lineup out of rookies and do very, very well today. Gallman or Michelle? DJ is out. Yeah, I would probably lean towards Wayne Gallman over Sony Michel, but it's definitely close. DJ, which DJ is out? J.K. Dobbins or Miles Sanders? I would lean towards J.K. Dobbins over Miles Sanders, but both are good options. Ayuk or Jefferson? Ayuk has the higher floor. Jefferson has the higher ceiling. I think both are really good options. Akers or Corey Davis? You have to start Cam Akers this week. If there's one thing you take from the stream, guys, you got to start Cam Akers this week. You absolutely have to start him. Mike Davis flopped. Oh, God, I know. But it's okay because this is the first time you've been wrong. Yeah, we're going to be wrong. We're going to be wrong sometimes. I've had about 70% accuracy really this season with our player prop picks. Mike Davis was a big bust last night, but we're going strong today with 7 exploitable prop picks in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. You haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet. Don't know what you're waiting for. We've been absolutely dominating DFS and prop picks and fantasy leagues using the WalterPicks app. Bold prediction, Cam Akers under 50 yards. That's not happening today. Cam Akers for sure going over 50 yards. I would go Robert Woods over Marvin Jones, guys. Does Justin Jefferson still have a high ceiling even against the Bears? Yes, he went over 100 yards against them not that long ago. He definitely has a high ceiling still. Kyler Murray or Brady? There's only 3 quarterbacks I would be playing over Tom Brady this week. It is Kyler Murray, it is Lamar Jackson, and it is Patrick Mahomes. Only 3 quarterbacks this Sunday I would be playing over Tom Brady. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. After that, it comes in Tom Brady's the 4th best quarterback today, guys. He's throwing the most deep ball attempts per game in the NFL. He's up against a Falcons secondary allowing the 2nd most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season, and they're without their 2nd best cornerback. I think Tom Brady's going over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today. He's the only quarterbacks I'm playing over him. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, we're going to have our free prop pick today coming out in just 30 minutes. I'm pumped about the prop pick, guys. I'm very confident in the prop pick. So come back at 10:30. I'll be announcing it from 10:30 all the way up till the football games over and over again because the free prop pick I'm very confident in today. Austin, thanks for subscribing to our YouTube channel, man. Pick 2, Justin Jefferson, Ayuk, Robert Woods, T.Y. It's those first 2. You got to trust Justin Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk today. Dolphins or Cardinals defense? I would lean towards the Dolphins defense over the Cardinals defense. I do think you can trust them. Do you think Derrick Henry goes over 25? Yes. Derrick Henry is going to go over 25 fantasy points. He's going to continue his path to winning fantasy football leagues as we predicted months ago. Yeah, college football and NFL yesterday was a very busy day. Hurts or Russ? I would lean towards Russell Wilson over Jalen Hurts. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, let's get to 100 likes. We're only 9 likes away. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. We got 69 nice people watching on YouTube right now. Hit that like button. Thoughts on T.Y. Hilton? Yeah, T.Y. Hilton owns the Houston Texans. He's averaging over 100 yards per game against them in his last 7 games against the Houston Texans. T.Y. Hilton is the Houston Texans' father. He dominates them over and over and over again. So he's a pretty good option today. Godwin, Sanders, Monty, pick one non-PPR championship. Who has the highest floor? I'd go Godwin. I'd say Sanders has the highest floor, but Johnny, you got to go with Chris Godwin. His ceiling is just too high today. Irv Smith or Cole Kmet. Irv Smith over Kmet. Jimmy Graham looking like he was going to be out this week, but he's actually in. So I do like Irv Smith a little bit more than Kmet this week. T.Y. Hilton or Tyler Lockett? I would probably go T.Y. Hilton over Tyler Lockett. James Robinson or Drake? I would lean towards Drake if Chase Edmonds doesn't play. But if he does play, I'd probably go James Robinson. I can't believe you made a TikTok without your hat on. Yeah, I know. I actually was missing my hat. I was searching for it for the last couple of days, but I found it, as you can see. So we are back on the hat grind now. But people had to see what my hair looked like. I teach Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and statistics. Duke Johnson is out. Damian Harris is out. Myles Gaskin is out. And Daniel Jones is out. Those are the biggest injuries for today. Really not a big injury day. Irv Smith or Goddard? I would go Irv Smith over Goddard. How good do you think Allen Robinson and Ayuk will do? I think both those guys are going to finish as wide receiver ones this week. I think both of them going over 75 receiving yards. Amendola. Yeah, Amendola is an interesting play again. Without Kenny Golladay in the lineup, Amendola has been the number 2 option for the Lions. We dominated, by the way, with his prop pick last week. That one was easy money. It was over like 35 yards. He went for 70. So too easy for Danny Amendola's prop last week. And I do think he's an interesting dart, though. I'm learning Algebra 1. Nice, Lucas. T.Y. Hilton or Cooper Kupp? I would go with Cooper Kupp over T.Y. Hilton against the Jets. Cooper Kupp's very, very, very safe option. Trubisky or Rivers? Walter says Rivers. Yeah, I agree with Rivers. Rivers has actually been a top 12 quarterback over the last month. He's been much better than you realize. In 30 minutes, we're going to be releasing the free prop pick of the week. Very excited to let you guys all know what that is. Guys, we're 1 like away from 100 likes. Who's going to be our 100th like on this stream? Little under an hour, we hit 100 likes. We're trying to hit 400 today. We'll see if we can do that. I set lofty goals, though, so we'll see if that's possible. And there we go. We passed 100 likes on the YouTube stream. We're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Good morning, everyone. I've been live for a little over an hour now, and I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, finishing my fantasy football research. 100 likes. Let's go. Yeah, solid start. Fournette, Sony Michel. I would go Sony Michel over Leonard Fournette. He's on the most run-heavy team in the NFL. He's going to see at least 15 carries today. And if the Patriots can keep the game close, I do think that Sony Michel is in the running back 3 with running back 2 upside. But he doesn't have too high of a ceiling because the Patriots offense is just atrocious. What do you think about Jalen Hurts? Play Brady over him? Yes, you got to play Tom Brady over him. Again, here's the only quarterbacks today I like more than Tom Brady. It's Kyler Murray, it's Lamar Jackson, it's Patrick Mahomes. End of list. Then it's Tom Brady. He's going to go over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today. You got to be trusting Tom Brady, definitely over Jalen Hurts. And I want to see Jalen Hurts throw the ball a little bit, guys. I know he was a great runner, especially against a really good run defense for the Saints, but can he throw? That's going to be the big deciding factor for him in the NFL. So Ahmed, Sony Michel, or Edwards? I would go Sony Michel over Edwards and Ahmed today. Jeff Wilson, Sony Michel, or David Johnson, all extremely close options, guys. And I would probably lean towards David Johnson there, then Jeff Wilson, then Sony Michel. But again, if you have start-sit questions, I recommend starting your process with the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. You get the most accurate projections using artificial intelligence that you can find in the universe, completely free. And then you also get access to 10,000 simulations of each week to get accurate boom and bust probabilities for every player. Plus, you get the matchup rating. So you get accurate projections, boom and bust probabilities based on 10,000 simulations of the week, and you get their matchup rating. So everything you could possibly need to make your start-sit decision is available for free in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. So go check that out. I've spent over 400 hours myself building this app. So you go check it out. Let me know if you disagree with the start-sit advice you're getting, and we could chat about it on this stream. Swift or James Robinson? I would lean towards DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, to me, is a running back 2 with running back 1 upside with Matthew Stafford in the lineup today. I think Swift is going to do very well. Sanders or Lockett? I would be going with Sanders. Thank you for giving me confidence in Aaron Jones. You're welcome. Yeah, Aaron Jones should not have been benched yesterday. Jeff Wilson, Amari, or Deontay Johnson, full PPR. I would probably go Amari Cooper. He's actually low-key been one of the best, safest wide receivers in fantasy football this season. There's very few weeks he's gone under 10 points. Ayuk or McLaren this week, Sam? I would lean towards Ayuk over McLaren. He's been much better than him this month. Thanks, Sam. How about T.Y. or McLaren? I would probably go McLaren over T.Y. Hilton, but it's extremely close. Again, T.Y. Hilton dominates the Houston Texans over and over and over and over and over again. He has averaged over 100 receiving yards per game in the last 7 times that he's played the Houston Texans. So Hilton does have a pretty safe floor and ceiling. Do I start Ridley or Allen Robinson? I would go with Calvin Ridley, but Allen Robinson is also a fantastic option. Hawkinson or Fournette? I would lean Hawkinson over Fournette. Here's my must benches this week, guys. I don't think you can trust Leonard Fournette as a healthy scratch last week. I think that we could see Shady McCoy play over him. I think you got to be benching Leonard Fournette. I think you have to be benching Ezekiel Elliott. I think you have to be benching Chase Edmonds if he plays. I think you have to be benching Lynn Bowden, who was an interesting sleeper earlier this week, but with all the guys back for the Dolphins, you can't trust Lynn Bowden either. I think those are the must benches this week. I also think you can strongly consider benching. Myles Gaskin's not playing today, so you can't be playing him. I think you can strongly consider benching Ahmed for the Dolphins as well. Sony Michel or Edwards? I would go Sony Michel over Gus Edwards again. Sony Michel, the number one running back today for the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. You gotta like Sony Michel to see at least 15 touches today. So I do like Sony. You started Jacobs and Eckler, that's fine. And yeah, you got to start Nick Chubb. Mitch, Tua, or Baker? I would probably rank those guys as Baker number 1, Mitch number 2, Tua number 3. Tua, you really can't trust against Bill Belichick and his history against rookie quarterbacks. Tua, though, showed a really encouraging sign last week against a good Chiefs defense. So I'm encouraged about Tua. I think Tua could be a really good quarterback in the NFL. Thoughts on Denzel Mims? Yes, I'm glad you asked because we've talked very little about the Jets offense. And the reason is it's really hard to trust anyone on the Jets offensive side of the ball. But Denzel Mims is my favorite play on the Jets today. I think he has pretty good upside in DFS. Denzel Mims is actually top 10 in air yards per game over the last month. He is seeing the deepest and most valuable targets in that Jets offense. And I don't think he's going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey because Jalen Ramsey does not shadow players. He sticks on one side of the field, just like we saw Richard Sherman do back in the day for the Seattle Seahawks. That's how Jalen Ramsey is being used. So if the Jets want Denzel Mims to be away from Jalen Ramsey, it's not that hard for them to do. Thoughts on McLaren? Yeah, he's been bad the last couple of weeks. I think he's going to bounce back. Lamar or Brady? These are the only quarterbacks that I'm starting over Tom Brady today. It's Lamar Jackson, it's Kyler Murray, it's Patrick Mahomes, end of list. After that, you go with Tom Brady. But you got to play Lamar Jackson over him. You got to play Patrick Mahomes over him. And you got to play Kyler Murray over him. Are you iPhone only? Yes. Right now, the WalterPicks app is only available on the iOS App Store, but we are coming to Android for next season. Thoughts on Cam Akers? Cam Akers is on our must-start list. Guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Helps us out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 125 likes. And yeah, you got to start Cam Akers. You got to start Jonathan Taylor. You have to trust DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins, too. There's a long list of rookies you can trust today. Here's the list of rookies you can trust. It's Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins. There's so many rookies that you got to be trusting. Do you know any waiver wire wide receiver I can start? You said Sony, but I start. Yeah, if there's a wide receiver you're looking for, look no further than Kendrick Bourne, guys. Kendrick Bourne is a really good pickup at the wide receiver position. He played over 95% of the snaps for the 49ers last week. He's up against a bad Dallas Cowboys defense. Kendrick Bourne is a pretty good option. You're up. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. I've been live for over an hour now. We're having a lot of fun on this live stream. We're live on TikTok and on YouTube. This is my favorite day of the week, guys. Football Sunday. We only have so many of them left, so we got to appreciate them. And if you're in the fantasy football playoffs, that's what I'm talking about. There's no better time in the year than the fantasy football playoffs. I would go Mike Evans over Kendrick Bourne for sure. But again, Bourne is a pretty good option. Mike Davis didn't even do good. No, the Mike Davis party has been postponed. It has been postponed till next week. Mike Davis party has been canceled. I thought Mike Davis was going to go over 5 catches and at least 1 touchdown, but he really did struggle last night, as the whole Panthers offense did. So that was a disappointment. You downloaded the app. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've spent over 400 hours on this app in over 4 years building the algorithm that powers the app. So I really do appreciate it if you go download the app. It can help you with your start to decisions. It can help you dominate DFS. It will help you dominate player prop bets as well. So definitely go check it out. Bourne or Gage. I like Kendrick Bourne a little bit more than Russell Gage, but both are good options and similar options today. Both are good flex options if you need a wide receiver on the waiver wire. Robinson or Akers, 5-star sub. Thanks, man. I would go Akers over Robinson. Again, you can't bench Cam Akers. In the order of who you can't bench, Cam Akers is on the top of the list. He's averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 games. He's over a 2-touchdown favorite against the Jets. You got to be trusting Cam Akers. You also have to be trusting Jonathan Taylor. T.Y. or Evans? I would lean towards Mike Evans over T.Y., but it's close. App has Corey over Antonio Brown. What do you think? Sean, first of all, thanks for using the app to start out. That's the best place to start your start-sit decisions. And the research you do for your start-sit decisions is in the WalterPicks app, which gives you the best projections on the face of the planet and boom and bust probabilities based on 10,000 simulations a week. I've spent over 4 years building all of that just for you. So thank you, Sean, for leveraging that. It's completely free too on the iOS App Store. But yeah, Corey Davis over Antonio Brown. Corey Davis absolutely is the safer option. He's only gone under 10 fantasy points twice this entire season. But Antonio Brown, Sean, has the higher ceiling. So if you're in a matchup where you think you're the underdog, I'd go Antonio Brown. But if you think you're the favorite, I'd go Corey Davis. Russ or Lamar, you got to be going Lamar Jackson. You cannot. I should see 0 questions about Lamar Jackson, guys. I should not see his name from another question this entire day. You have to trust Lamar Jackson. You have to trust Lamar Jackson. You can trust Kyler Murray. You can trust Patrick Mahomes. After those 3 quarterbacks, you got to love Tom Brady today. There's my top 4 quarterbacks. It goes Lamar Jackson number 1, Kyler Murray number 2, Patrick Mahomes comes in at number 3 with a tough matchup, but you can never bench Patrick Mahomes. Then right after that, Tom Brady is a fantastic option. I like him more than Russell Wilson. I like him more than Deshaun Watson today. He's going to go over 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. Swift or James Robinson. I do like Swift a lot today, but James Robinson's probably the safer bet just based on volume alone. I think Swift definitely has a higher ceiling than James Robinson, though. Guys, we're 5 likes away from 125 likes. Hit that like button if you're tuned in on YouTube. Appreciate you. Good morning. By the way, Sony Michel or Wayne Gallman. I think I like Sony Michel a little bit more than Wayne Gallman today. Sony Michel is going to be the starting running back for the most run-heavy team in the NFL. He's going to see at least 15 carries. Hey, Sam, can you pick 2? I'm down by 60 in a 2-week playoff. Lockett, Montgomery, and Drake. Mateus, if you're down by 60, there's no better player to be tossing into your starting lineup than Tyler Lockett. You have to put him in there because his upside is just so high that he could help you catch up. And I think Kenyon Drake has a higher ceiling than Montgomery as well. So I go Lockett and Drake for the upside. And thanks for the context of you being down, because depending on if you're an underdog or a favorite in fantasy, it could change the way you approach who you're starting. Favorite prop bet of the day. Yes, we're coming out with our free prop pick of the week. We've had 80% accuracy giving away free prop picks this season. Absolutely dominant with the free prop pick game. And I got a very confident one today. You can actually, if you download the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store, you can see it for free on the WalterPicks app right now if you wanted access to it right now. But I'll be announcing it in the next 18 minutes, 10:30 is when I'll start announcing the free prop pick. Do you like Hopkins, Ayuk, and Godwin, or AJ, Claypool, and Cooper? I like that first list a lot more. Full PPR, Sean. Yeah, I like that first list. Cam, Gallman, McKissick. Should I sit one for Jeff Wilson? Yeah, I think I would be sitting Wayne Gallman for Jeff Wilson. I really don't trust Wayne Gallman at all today. I don't trust any of that. I don't trust anyone on that Giants offense today without Daniel Jones. They're tough to trust. And you can't be benching Cam Akers, guys. Cam Akers is at the top of the list of players you cannot bench today. Right beneath him on that list is Jonathan Taylor, who's going to go absolutely bananas for his 3rd straight week. Guys, hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button yet on YouTube, we're almost at 125 likes. So hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Here's a quick list of players you absolutely have to be trusting in your fantasy lineups today. You got to be trusting Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and J.K. Dobbins. All 4 of those rookies you can trust. I think Sony Michel has a pretty high floor as well in the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. Starting running back today with Damian Harris is out. At quarterback, you got to trust Lamar Jackson. You got to trust Patrick Mahomes. You have to trust Kyler Murray. And you have to trust Tom Brady, who's leading the NFL in deep attempts per game. He's probably going to go 3+ touchdowns and 300 yards today against a bad Falcons secondary that is also undermanned with some injuries. I also think you have to trust Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, T.Y. Hilton. All these guys are pretty much must-starts in your fantasy leagues today. Godwin, Hilton, Davis, I would lean towards Godwin there. You got to trust Chris Godwin. Guys, we're 2 likes away from 125 likes. Hit that like button, and we can get to 125 likes. David Montgomery or Cooper Kupp, I would lean Cooper Kupp over David Montgomery. Wilson Jr. or David Johnson, I would lean towards David Johnson over Jeff Wilson, but it's close. And I think Jeff Wilson's probably the safer option, but David Johnson's probably going to touch the ball more than Jeff Wilson. There we go. 125 likes. Let's go. We are less than an hour and 30 minutes into the stream. We're at 125 likes. That is great to see. Thanks for the help this season. Mateus, I got you, man. It's been a fantastic ride this season. It's not over yet either. And we're going to continue dominating the player prop picks, leading all the way up to the Super Bowl. So I'm pumped to get all of those in. We've had over 65% accuracy on over 200 prop picks using artificial intelligence over the last 2 years. I mean, it's been a fun ride, very much a positive ROI. And on the must bench list today, let's talk about the must bench players. you have to be benching. You have to be benching Ezekiel Elliott. I think you have to be benching Chase Edmonds. I think you have to be benching Lynn Bowden as well, who was an interesting sleeper option earlier this week, but now to me is going to be a must bench. Yes, we are going to be giving advice for fantasy basketball, Kyle. I'm looking forward to announcing officially that on TikTok and YouTube coming up over the next couple of weeks, but we are going to be doing some fantasy basketball stuff, DFS and player props especially. The app said Higgins over Chark. What do you think? I would go Chark over Higgins. I really like DJ Chark today, guys. DJ Chark has not done well over the last month. He has not cleared 60 yards in a single game in his last 4 games, but he has had over 66 air yards in 7 straight games. In those games, he's also played over 85% of the snaps in 7 straight games for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's still their top wide receiver. And with Gardner Minshew back, he's averaging around 60 yards per game with Gardner Minshew in his 20 games that he's played with him. I think DJ Chark is a fantastic option today. I think he has a lot more upside than people realize. And the Ravens are dealing with some injuries in their secondary. So I think DJ Chark is one of the best DFS options, a pretty good sleeper option in fantasy leagues. I think he has a lot more upside than the common fan realizes. Cam Akers or Dalvin Cook. You can never bench Dalvin Cook. You can never bench Derrick Henry. And you can't bench Alvin Kamara either. Those are the top 3 running backs today. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara probably going to lead the Saints in receiving yet again. And then Dalvin Cook, you can't bench. But right after that, Cam Akers can't be benched. Sad day last night. Yeah, it was, Spencer. Devontae carried me all season. Yeah, Devontae Adams had one of his worst games of the season. Gus, but your game is not over. There is still a chance for you to come back today. A lot can happen on a Sunday, guys. Jordan Reed, Evan Ingram, or Irv Smith. I like Irv Smith the most there. Jeff Wilson, Mostert, or Connor. I'd probably go Mostert. I like Raheem Mostert more than Jeff Wilson. Mostert's the better running back. I think he's going to do very well today against a bad Cowboys run defense. J.D. McKissick or Jeff Wilson? I would go Jeff Wilson over J.D. McKissick. Hunt or Cooks, fam? I would go Hunt over Cooks, but Cooks has the higher ceiling, absolutely. And guys, let's see if we can get to 150 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Really do appreciate everyone that's tuned in. I'm going to try to get to all of your questions before the end of the stream. I will be live up until 5 minutes before football starts, so we got plenty of time. Thanks for tuning in. And again, I think you have to be trusting Cam Akers today as a solid running back 1. Carson or Montgomery? Thanks, brother. I'd probably go Carson in that one. Gage or AB? Half PPR. I would lean towards Antonio Brown over Gage. I love the entire Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense today, guys. Tom Brady probably going to go for 3+ touchdowns and 300 yards. I think that Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, at least 2 out of those 3 guys are going to go off today. Lockett or Amari? I would definitely go Amari. You're killing it this year, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. Using you next season. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of advice for your fantasy football drafts next season as well. So definitely looking forward to the WalterPicks app continuing to help you dominate your fantasy football leagues heading into next season. Ayuk or Terry McLaurin? I would go Ayuk over McLaurin. Big day from Kamara and Emmanuel Sanders since Breeze is out. Since Breeze is back and MT is out. Yeah, Alvin Kamara locked in as a top 3 running back option today. He's probably going to lead the Saints in receiving. Emmanuel Sanders, though, to me has a lot of risk, and he's on my must bench list as well because Traquan Smith has actually out-targeted and out-snapped Emmanuel Sanders over the last few weeks. So I don't trust Emmanuel Sanders. There's a good chance Traquan Smith ends up doing better than him. So I wouldn't be trusting either of them in my starting lineups. Niners or Browns defense? I like both those defenses. I would probably lean towards the Browns defense, though. I think the Browns are going to absolutely steamroll the New York Jets. Chubb or Montgomery? Obviously, you have to be starting Nick Chubb every single week. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out way more than you realize. It takes you 2 seconds. Hit that like button. I don't know if it's down there, up there. I'm not exactly sure. Connor or Jeff Wilson? I would go Jeff Wilson over James Conner. Let's see if we can get to 150 likes on this stream before 10:25. Ayuk, Thielen, or Woods? Choose 2. I would go Ayuk and Woods there. I like both them a lot. They're playing the Giants. Yeah, the Browns are playing the Giants. I am aware. I was up by 50 points in a 2-week playoff, and my enemy had Josh Allen and Waller. Yikes. Gronk or Ebron? I would lean towards Gronk over Ebron. QT or Bourne? Close one. I would probably lean QT over Bourne, but I do like Kendrick Bourne a lot today. He played over 95% of the snaps for the 49ers when Deebo Samuel went down with an injury. He's up against a bad Cowboys secondary. If the Cowboys can keep this game close, Kendrick Bourne's going to do well. Russell Wilson or Ryan Tannehill? I'd go Russell Wilson over Tannehill. Both are pretty good options, though. Sam, pick one. Jeff Wilson, Antonio Brown, or Michelle this week? I'd go Antonio Brown for the upside, Sony Michelle for the floor. Sony Michelle does have a very good floor this week. playing behind the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. Damian Harris out. Sony Michel available in 90% of fantasy leagues. He could help you get to the fantasy playoffs, the fantasy championship, or win you the fantasy semifinals. Why do you help us so much? So kind. I love fantasy football, man. I love these live streams. And I love Sundays. This is the best day of the week. Yeah, Terry McLaurin is due for a bounce back game. And we know Dwayne Haskins is going to look for him early and often. So I won't be surprised if Terry McLaurin has a big bounce back. Lamar or Trace McSorley. God, you got to get Trace McSorley back out there. All he did was throw a 60-yard bomb to Marquise Brown when he was finally out there and healthy. So I do like Trace McSorley as a pretty good sleeper this week. Can you pick two? I hope he's heals from that injury fast. Cooper Kupp, Kenyon Drake, Brandon Ayuk. I would go Cooper Kupp and Brandon Ayuk there. Yeah, especially if you already have Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. That's easy. Hurts or Wilson? I would lean Russell Wilson over Jalen Hurts. DK Metcalf. Jordan, is that a question or a statement? Because DK Metcalf has to be in your starting lineups every single week. The dude is an absolute tank. Hey, Sam, Hurts or Wilson? I would go Wilson. Do your students watch your streams? Most of my students do not play fantasy football. DK Metcalf or Terry McLaurin? I would lean towards DK Metcalf. Yeah, you really can't bench DK Metcalf ever. Wilson or Watson? I would go Russell Wilson. Godwin, Kupp, or Deontay Johnson? I would rank them in that order. Godwin, then Kupp, then Deontay Johnson. Chris Godwin, guys, is a fantastic start this week, along with Mike Evans, along with Antonio Brown, because Tom Brady is throwing the most deep attempts per game in the NFL. He's up against a Falcons secondary that has allowed top 5 fantasy points per game to wide receivers and quarterbacks this season, and they're without their second best cornerback. I think you have to love the Bucs offense. You got to be trusting Tom Brady. You got to be trusting Chris Godwin. You got to be trusting Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown has some upside as well. Michelle or Kupp? I like Kupp. Walter says Chark over QT. Yeah, I agree. I like DJ Chark a little bit more than QT as well. For DraftKings, would you rather play McLaurin and Traquan Smith or Kenyon Drake and Emmanuel Sanders? I'd rather McLaurin and Traquan Smith, especially if that's a tournament that you're talking about. I think McLaurin and Traquan Smith have more upside. I think Traquan Smith is a great pivot off of Emmanuel Sanders, who's probably going to be in way too many DraftKings lineups today. Deontay Johnson or Marquise Brown? Marquise Brown, I don't know how you've made it this far with Marquise Brown on your squad because he really crushed fantasy teams, but I like Deontay Johnson more than Marquise Brown. And I hope Travis Kelce has another good day today and takes back the lead over Stephon Diggs for the most receiving yards in the NFL because, man, I don't think there's going to be another time in our entire life that we see a tight end lead the NFL in receiving yards. So I hope Travis Kelce can do it. Gage, Michelle, or Devontae Parker, one good day from a championship appearance. I would go with Sony Michel over Devontae Parker and over Russell Gage today, guys. Again, Sony Michel available in 90% of fantasy leagues. He's going to be the lead running back on the most run-heavy team in the NFL. He's probably going to get at least 15 carries. He's probably going to get over 50 yards and a touchdown. Sony Michel is actually a very safe play. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, let's see if we can get to 150 likes. Hit that like button. Also subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We're going to be posting a lot more longer form content on YouTube. We've been already posting weekly content there. Watson or Tannehill? I would go Watson over Tannehill. Kupp, Boyd, or Higgins? I would go Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, fantastic options today against a horrible Jets team. Again, hit that like button, guys. We're 6 likes away from 150 likes. Who wants to be 150th like? Wilson, Pollard, or Michelle? I would probably lean towards Sony Michel over Jeff Wilson and over Tony Pollard, but all three of those guys, pretty similar options. The difference for me is that Sony Michel is the starter for his team, and so I think he's going to touch the ball more than Tony Pollard does today and more than Jeff Wilson does today. Gallman or Carson? I would go Carson. Woods or Kupp? I would lean towards Kupp over Woods, as I always do, but both of them are really similar options each week. McLaurin or McKissick? I would go McLaurin. Already gave you a like, man. Love your work. Thanks, Spencer. I appreciate that. Guys, we're 2 likes away from 150 likes. There we go. 150 likes. Guys, Sunday, best day of the week. I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. But here's some guys you absolutely have to be trusting in your fantasy lineups today. You got to be trusting. Here's my top 3 quarterbacks today. It is Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson, number 1. Kyler Murray, number 2, Patrick Mahomes, number 3, but I love all 3 of them. Right after those 3 is Tom Brady. Those are the only 3 quarterbacks I'm starting over Tom Brady today because Tom Brady up against a Falcons secondary without one of their best cornerbacks. They've allowed number 2 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. Tom Brady going to go over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's leading the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. At the wide receiver position, you got to be trusting Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson. Let me read through that list again. I know I'm speaking kind of fast. You got to trust Brandon Ayuk. You got to trust Justin Jefferson. You got to trust A.J. Brown. And again, I think the Bucs offense is going to do very well. So you can trust Chris Godwin and Mike Evans a lot today. Allen Robinson also very, very trustworthy. I think Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are also both fantastic starts against the Jets defense, allowing top 5 fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position this season. I also think T.Y. Hilton is pretty trustworthy today. He's averaged over 100 receiving yards per game against the Houston Texans in the last 7 times that he's played them. T.Y. Hilton, guys, dominates the Houston Texans. He is their father. At the running back position, there's a lot of rookies you can trust today. Cam Akers, you got to start him. After the top 3 guys, which is Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, and Dalvin Cook, you got to be trusting Cam Akers. Jonathan Taylor right behind Cam Akers as one of the most trustworthy rookies today. You got to be trotting out both Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor with confidence. I also think you can trust J.K. Dobbins and James Robinson today a lot. I also think DeAndre Swift, all 5 of these rookies, Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, and James Robinson should be in your starting lineups in fantasy football today. All 5 of them are doing very, very well and the lead running backs for their teams and in pretty good matchups. At the backer end of the running back 3, running back 2 upside, I like Sony Michel, who is he's right now he's available in 90% of fantasy leagues, by the way. Go check if he's still available in your league. But he's the lead running back for the most run-heavy team in the NFL. I mean, what else do you need to know? He's going to see at least 15 carries behind what's been a pretty good offensive line for the Patriots. It's been the only strong aspect of the Patriots offense. If they can keep this game close, Sony Michel is going to get at least 15 carries and probably at least 1 touchdown. So I do like Sony Michel a lot. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube right now, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes before 10:30. I think we can do it. Hit that like button. Really does help us out a ton. I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can. Just came from TikTok and subscribe. Thanks, James. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're live on TikTok and YouTube right now. I'm going to be answering questions on both. But if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, don't know what you're waiting for. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're posting weekly content over there. We're also live on YouTube, and the chat is a little less spammy on YouTube, which is nice. So you can enjoy the YouTube live alongside the TikTok live. And if you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 175 likes. Hunt over David Johnson. Yes, Hunt over David Johnson. You got to trust Kareem Hunt. You got to trust Alvin Kamara today, guys. In DFS, I think you can't make your DFS lineup without Alvin Kamara in it. Without Michael Thomas and with Drew Brees back, Alvin Kamara, all of a sudden, he's going to lead the Saints in receiving again. He actually leads them in receiving this season. Alvin Kamara's ceiling is astronomically high in one of the games with the highest over-unders of the week. You got to be trusting Alvin Kamara in DFS. I'm really excited to see him ball out. He's in almost every single one of my DFS lineups today. What do you think about James Conner? I think he's extremely risky. I think he lands himself on the must bench list this week. James Conner is not trustworthy anymore. He had really a down past couple of games, and the Steelers are leaning more and more pass heavy as the weeks go on. So I'm not trusting James Conner. And on the must bench list, we got James Conner. We have Ezekiel Elliott. You got to bench Ezekiel Elliott. Good job making it this far with Zeke, by the way, because he's been absolutely brutal. He shows no burst. Tony Pollard has looked better than him. You can't trust Zeke. There's a chance Tony Pollard out-touches Zeke today. Get Ezekiel Elliott on your bench today. Don't trust him. I also think James Conner should be on your bench. I think that you can't be trusting Chase Edmonds and you can't be trusting Lynn Bowden. Both those guys have been pretty sneaky sleeper picks throughout this week, but with Chase Edmonds dealing with an injury, Lynn Bowden, most of the Dolphins are back healthy now. I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Pats, by the way, but I do think you got to be trusting your studs over Ezekiel Elliott. I would be starting Sony Michel over Ezekiel Elliott today. I don't think you can trust him. Yeah, you can trust Rob Gronkowski over Logan Thomas. Again, that Bucs offense is going to absolutely cook today. Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, all 4 of those guys, at least 3 of them is going to do extremely well. I think Brady's going over 3 touchdowns and 300 yards today. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Takes you 2 seconds, helps me out way more than you probably realize. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Patriots today, but that doesn't mean you should fade Sony Michel, who's, again, on the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. He's going to see at least 15 carries, and if the Pats can keep it close, which I think they can, Bill Belichick has a really good history against rookie quarterbacks, then Sony Michel is probably going to score at least 1 touchdown today. He also grew up in Miami, so he has a coming home party today against the Miami Dolphins, and Sony Michel, if he doesn't have a good game today, his career is essentially over. There's a lot on the line for Sony Michel, who has done nothing this season and was a first-round pick for the Patriots. So I think you got to trust Sony Michel as a pretty good running back 3 with running back 2 upside. Guys, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 175 likes. Helps us out a ton. I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can. Yes, you should be starting Corey Davis over Ezekiel Elliott today. Ezekiel Elliott is a must bench player, along with James Conner, along with Chase Edmonds, and along with Lynn Bowden. Jared Goff is in a really good spot today against the Jets. He's probably going to throw at least 3 touchdowns. So yeah, you can trust Jared Goff in fantasy today. If we're on the topic of quarterbacks, my top 3 quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson's number 1, guys. Lamar Jackson has pretty much already shown the prophecy of him being a league-winning quarterback in the fantasy playoffs. If you made it there with him, he's going to be winning fantasy football leagues. He's going to dominate a bad Jaguars secondary today. The Jaguars arguably have the worst secondary in the league with all the injuries that they've had. And I think Lamar's going to throw at least 2 touchdowns. He's going to probably rush for at least 75 yards. Again, he's averaging over 100 rushing yards per game in back-to-back games now. Lamar Jackson is league-winning upside. And Ravens are really not a team anyone's going to want to face in the playoffs, guys. The Ravens are starting to come into form now. And I think they're going to dominate the Jaguars today. So Lamar Jackson's the number 1 QB. I think you got to trust Kyler Murray, though, as well. Kyler Murray is fully healed from his injury. He had 10 carries last week, the most he's had in over a month. Kyler Murray seems fully healed, and for that reason, you got to trust him in your starting lineups. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. We're almost at 175. I know we can do it. Hit that like button if you're watching live. It takes 2 seconds, helps us out a ton. And then after those 2 guys, you got to be trusting Patrick Mahomes. But after Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, and Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady comes in at number 4. He is up against a bad Falcons secondary without some of their top cornerbacks. He's throwing the most deep attempts per game in the NFL. He's going to go over 3 touchdowns and 300 yards today. You got to trust Tom Brady in the free prop pick of the week. It is time. And again, you can get a separate free prop pick of the week available to you completely free on the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. You download it for free. Go to the player prop tool. You will see a free prop pick there. It's separate from the one I'm about to tell you, completely free. So go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store if you want access to that. But here is the free prop pick of the week. It is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns, at least 2 passing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson today. And this is one that I really, really like because you're actually getting plus odds on this. The sports books are overreacting to how much Lamar Jackson is rushing and how much he is passing because Lamar Jackson against this Jaguars secondary, which is, again, I think is the worst in the NFL with all of their injuries, you're getting better than 1-to-1 odds on this bet. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. He's been on fire with his legs recently, over 200 rushing yards in his last 2 games. However, he has a matchup against the second worst secondary in the NFL, arguably the worst, but by their metrics, second worst in the NFL over the last month. The plus odds here is just too good to pass up. Jackson has at least 2 touchdowns in half of his games this season, and you can make the argument that every single game that he's thrown at least 2 touchdowns came against a secondary that is better than the Jacksonville Jaguars today. Walter is the artificially intelligent algorithm that powers the entire WalterPicks app and that has had over 68% accuracy identifying exploitable player prop picks over the last 2 years, over 200 picks. And Walter has Lamar Jackson with a 59% chance to throw at least 2 touchdowns. That is amazing probability for getting plus odds on that bet. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing TDs, guys. That's the free prop pick of the week. Lock it in. And you can get another free prop pick completely free. If you go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, you'll see another player I'm very confident in his prop, and you'll see that completely free. No money you got to risk. And if you want to access to the premium subscription in the WalterPicks app, you can also just start your 3-day free trial, get access to all of our exploitable prop picks, then go bet on them and just pay for your premium subscription today with all those props. Can we talk about your top 10 flex plays? Luke, there's a lot of players to like today. There's a lot of rookies that you can feel very confident in today. But at the wide receiver, running back, and tight end position, there's not many more flexes that I like more than Brandon Ayuk. I think you got to be starting Ayuk. He's gone over 70 receiving yards in 4 straight games. He's been one of the safest wide receivers in all of fantasy football. But if we're going a little bit deeper than Ayuk, I also like Kendrick Bourne a lot today. He played over 95% of the snaps for the 49ers when Deebo Samuel went down with an injury, and he's up against a bad Cowboys secondary, so he's also a good flex. Also, look no further than Sony Michel, who's available in 90% of fantasy leagues. And fantasy football championships, they're won by grinding the waiver wire. And that's exactly what we're doing with Sony Michel today because he's playing behind the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. He's going to see at least 15 carries. He's playing in his hometown today in Miami. I think that Sony Michel is a fantastic flex option today. Guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Let's get to 175 likes. Who wants to be 175th like on YouTube? We're almost there. Can you rank Sony Michel, Antonio Antonio Brown and Corey Davis, please. Yeah, I would say if we're ranking in terms of upside, it goes Antonio Brown 1, Corey Davis 2, Sony Michel 3. If we're ranking in terms of floor, it goes in the opposite order. Sony Michel 1, Corey Davis 2, Antonio Brown 3. So Antonio Brown's got a lot of upside. Again, Bucs offense is going to do very, very well today, but I would probably lean towards Corey Davis as the nice middle floor ceiling play there. I hope that helps. Do I start Brandon Ayuk or Amari Cooper? I would go Brandon Ayuk over Amari Cooper, but both are really good options. Terry or Jefferson? You can't bench Justin Jefferson today, guys. We're 4 likes away from 175 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Let's see if we can get there. We're live on YouTube and TikTok. Got about 200 people tuned in right now. Appreciate everybody that's listening. Yes, the free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting positive odds on that bet. So you bet $100, you're winning like $125 on that bet. I really like it. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns against one of the worst secondaries, if not the worst secondary in the NFL. He's going to throw multiple touchdowns today. And he's done it in half his games this season. Every single game that he's had at least 2 passing touchdowns has been against a better defense than the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's the logic laid out for you. Very clear. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock it in, guys. And if you want another free player prop pick, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store completely free. And there's another free prop pick waiting for you in the prop tool. We built in the functionality to give away free prop picks in the player prop tool. So definitely go check that out on the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. We're 1 like away from 175 likes on YouTube, guys. Who wants to be our 175th like? Do I start Lynn Bowden or Todd Gurley? Ethan, don't start either of those guys. We've been off on Todd Gurley the second he popped up on the injury report with a knee injury, which was the biggest concern for him heading into the season. I said, all right, Todd Gurley, send him to the waiver wire. You're not even going to consider starting him. And I've been off of Todd Gurley since that knee injury popped up on the injury report. He's over/under for rushing yards today, guys, is 23. That's how bad Todd Gurley's been of late. You can't start him. You also can't start Lynn Bowden. Both those guys are on the must bench list, along with Ezekiel Elliott, along with James Conner, along with Lynn Bowden and Chase Edmonds. You can't start any of those guys today, but who you can start, who's probably available in your league, is Sony Michel. He's available in over 90% of fantasy leagues right now. Damian Harris picked up a late week ankle injury. He's out today. Sony Michel going to lead the Patriots in carries, and they are the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. So there's a lot to like with Sony Michel. He's probably going to see at least 15 carries. J.D. McKissick or Dobbins? I'd go Dobbins there. I really like the likelihood of the Ravens just destroying the Jacksonville Jaguars today. David Johnson, Gallman, or Sony Michel? I would probably lean towards David Johnson, then Sony Michel, then Wayne Gallman. But Sony Michel arguably has the safest floor out of all 3 of those players, again, on the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. But David Johnson's probably going to get more catches than him. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes. We are almost there. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in right now. Between TikTok and YouTube, we got about 200 people tuned in. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm going to try to get to as many of your questions as I can. There's no need to spam in the chat because I'm going to try to get to your questions. I would be start 2, Cam Akers, Robinson, or Akers. You can't bench Alvin Kamara, guys. You cannot bench Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is arguably the number 1 running back today, only behind Derrick Henry. It goes Derrick Henry, then Alvin Kamara, and then it goes Dalvin Cook. Alvin Kamara is going to lead the Saints in receiving like he has this whole season in games with Drew Brees and without Michael Thomas, guys. The numbers for Alvin Kamara are absolutely insane. He's basically a wide receiver. He was like wide receiver 12 if you take away his rushing stats and you just look at what Alvin Kamara has done as a receiver in games without Michael Thomas and with Drew Brees. Alvin Kamara should be in every single one of your DFS lineups today. Start your DFS lineup there with Alvin Kamara. Work from there. And then I also like stacking Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews in DFS today, the optimal high upside stack. And it's hard to find upside at the tight end position. On DFS, you're either going with Travis Kelce, you're going with Mark Andrews, or you're paying way, way down for a guy like Cole Kmet, because otherwise you're just playing Russian roulette with those guys in the middle tiers. So Lamar Jackson stacked with Mark Andrews. You then stack against them DJ Chark, who has seen over 66 air yards in 7 straight games. He has not gone over 60 yards over the last month, but that's going to change today with Gardner Minshew back in the lineup. He averages just about 60 receiving yards per game in his 20 games that he's played with Gardner Minshew. You got to be trusting DJ Chark today. I also think he's a great sleeper pick, especially in DFS, stacked against Lamar Jackson and stacked against Mark Andrews. I love that stack today. And again, you got to get Alvin Kamara in your lineups. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you haven't liked yet. Let's get to 200 likes before 10:45. I know we can do it. I'm pumped, guys. This is the best day of the week. Sunday football. It does not get better. It does not get better than this. And we only have so many weeks left, so we got to appreciate it. Amari Cooper or T.Y. Hilton? I would go Amari Cooper, guys. Amari Cooper has quietly, low-key been one of the most safe wide receivers in fantasy football this season, only a couple games under 10 points. He's been extremely consistent. You can trust Amari Cooper in your lineups today, even against a pretty tough defense in the 49ers. Now, I'm pulling up some Alvin Kamara stats here in terms of his receiving games. In games where Drew Brees played this season, Alvin Kamara is averaging 7.5 catches and 72 receiving yards per game. That's more than most receivers this season. If we look at season averages at the wide receiver position, there's very few players who have averaged more receiving yards per game than Alvin Kamara. He has more receiving yards per game than guys like Robbie Anderson, than guys like Amari Cooper, than guys like Keenan Allen. If we look at just games where Drew Brees played, Alvin Kamara has more receiving yards per game than Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, Robbie Anderson. He is a legit wide receiver, not even looking at his rushing volume. So auto lock Alvin Kamara into your DFS lineups. You're probably going to do very well today. I have been here for 2 hours. Austin, thanks for sticking around, man. What's your question? David Johnson or Antonio Brown? Carter, you're a premium subscriber. Yeah, the premium subscribers in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store really are what keep us going. And every single one of our premium subscribers, Carter, brings me one step closer to a dream come true of doing this full time. So seriously, thank you. And you can start a 3-day free trial for your premium subscription on the WalterPicks app today, completely free. You'll get access to all of our player prop picks, exploitable prop picks identified by artificial intelligence. You'll get access to our DFS lineup optimizer that uses linear programming and AI to just help you dominate DraftKings and FanDuel. So Carter, I hope you've been dominating with all of that. And I think that, Carter, if you're deciding between David Johnson and Antonio Brown, I think you got to go Antonio Brown with the guy with more upside. You played Keenan this week. Yikes, man. Yeah, Keenan Allen was just brutal on Thursday Night Football. Amari Cooper or Juju? I would go Amari Cooper over Juju. I think Amari Cooper is a great option. Guys, we're only 13 likes away from 200 likes. Who wants to be our 200 like on YouTube? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I'll be here all the way up till 5 minutes before football starts, and I will be trying to answer as many of your questions. Here's your question, Austin. Replace MT and Julio. Do I start Corey Davis, Claypool, Parker, Gage, or Sanders? I would go with Corey Davis and Miles Sanders there. I think those guys give you the best floor and ceiling, Austin. I hope that helps. And guys, we're 8 likes away from 200 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button, and you can really help us out more than you probably realize. If you hit that like button, I really do appreciate it. You should start a podcast, Devin. Good idea. Maybe we'll do that in the offseason. Russell Gage or Gus Edwards? I would go Russell Gage over Gus Edwards. I don't trust Gus Edwards very much in this game. Terry, Cooper, or Lockett? I would rank them as Cooper number 1, Terry McLaurin number 2, and Lockett number 3, Devin. But Lockett has a really, really high ceiling. Guys, we're 5 likes away from 200 likes. Who wants to be our 200 like on YouTube? We've been live for about an hour and 45 minutes. I'll be going for another couple of hours right up until football starts. Hit that like button. Really does help us out a ton. I do appreciate it. Again, here's some guys you absolutely have to be trusting in your lineups today. Lamar Jackson. Stick him in your lineup and forget about it. I should see 0 questions about Lamar Jackson. I also think you got to trust Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes. I think Kyler Murray is fully healed from his injury, by the way. After those 3 guys, the top quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, you can trust Tom Brady a lot today against a Falcons defense allowing the second most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. Brady leads the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. I think he's going over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. At the wide receiver position, there's a lot of rookies at the wide receiver and running back position that you can trust today. You can trust Ayuk. You can trust Justin Jefferson. You can trust A.J. Brown. You can trust Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, all these guys. Good morning, Matt. I hope you're having a great day as well, Matt, and I'm pumped to see you in the semifinals in your fantasy league, Matt. It's always great to see one of my close friends in the fantasy football semifinals. I hope we can link up soon, Matt. And thank you, Matt, for being one of my OG followers when it comes to fantasy football advice, really for like the last 7 years. Kenyon Drake or David Johnson? I would go with Kenyon Drake over David Johnson, especially with Chase Edmonds dealing with an injury. Kenyon Drake is a fantastic option, guys. I think Kenyon Drake can do really well today. Start 2, McLaren, Miles Sanders, or JJ. I would go Justin Jefferson and McLaren over Miles Sanders today. I like both those guys a lot. Lockett or Miles Sanders. I would go Miles Sanders. We've seen what Jalen Hurts does to this offense. He raises the floor and the ceiling for Miles Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders. Oh, Austin. Yeah, definitely don't play Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is on our must bench list today. The must bench list is growing by the second. You got to bench Emmanuel Sanders because Traquan Smith has out-targeted him and out-snapped him over the last couple of weeks. Who's to say that Traquan Smith's not going to see more receiving yards than Emmanuel Sanders? I don't think anyone can confidently make that argument. So bench Emmanuel Sanders. You got to bench Ezekiel Elliott dealing with a calf injury. He's shown no burst. Tony Pollard looks significantly better than him. And he's also just been stuffed at the goal line time and time again. You got to stop putting yourself through the pain of watching Ezekiel Elliott and rooting for Ezekiel Elliott. Bench Ezekiel Elliott. You also have to be benching James Conner at this point because the Pittsburgh Steelers have started to pass more and more and more, and they're actually involving more different running backs than they ever have all season. So James Conner also on the much bench list. He's really been ineffective as a runner this season as well, less involved in the passing game. Bench James Conner. I also think you should not be trusting the sleeper pick earlier in this week of Lynn Bowden, who I liked heading into this week with all the injuries for the Dolphins. The Dolphins magically healed most of their offense. And so Lynn Bowden off the sleeper radar, as well as Chase Edmonds dealing with that injury. You can't trust him whatsoever. James Conner played a season low 42% of the snaps last week against Buffalo. He cannot be trusted in your starting lineups. You got to bench James Conner along with Ezekiel Elliott. Trubisky or Brady. Guys, there's only 3 quarterbacks I like more than Tom Brady. It's Kyler Murray, it's Lamar Jackson, it's Patrick Mahomes. Other than that, you have to start Tom Brady. He's up against a Falcons defense allowing the second most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. He's probably going to go over 300 yards and 3 TDs. He's averaging the most deep ball attempts per game in the NFL this season. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 225 likes. I know we can do it. It takes you 2 seconds. It helps us out way more than you realize. We're live on YouTube and TikTok. We got over 230 people tuned in right now. I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I possibly can, but I'm also going to give some overarching DFS and player prop advice. The free player prop of the week, by the way, we've had over 80% accuracy giving away free prop picks this season. We use artificial intelligence to identify exploitable player prop picks in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. We named the artificially intelligent algorithm Walter. That's why it's called WalterPicks. And the free prop pick of the week, Lamar Jackson, over 1.5 passing touchdowns today, guys. Jackson has been on fire with his legs. He's had over 200 rushing yards in his last 2 games. However, with a matchup against the second worst secondary in the NFL, I would argue it's actually the worst secondary in the NFL, but in terms of metrics, second worst secondary in the NFL, that's the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you're getting positive odds on Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The books are overreacting to what we've seen on the ground from Lamar Jackson. They're forgetting his passing ability. Jackson has he has at least 2 passing touchdowns in half of his games this season. And you can make the argument that every single one of those games where he had at least 2 passing touchdowns was against a secondary that was better than what he's facing today in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So lock in Lamar Jackson plus 125 on most sports books, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's free money, guys. Cash it in. Free prop pick of the week. We've had over 80% accuracy with me giving away my most confident free prop pick of the week. If you want another free player prop pick, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, completely 100% free. Go to the player prop tool and you will get another free player prop pick. 0 money that you have to pay for that. If you want the full premium access in the WalterPicks app, though, you got to go start your 3-day free trial completely free. You'll make more money on the props that we give you and on the DFS lineup optimizer advice that we give you. Then you just pay for your premium subscription in the WalterPicks app for the next year. It's not that much. It's like $5 a month. So easy money. Start the 3-day free trial today. Hype up Nick Chubb. Yeah, Nick Chubb to me. I posted a YouTube video earlier this week or last week. My top 10 running backs in the NFL on talent this season. Nick Chubb's number 1. He's been the most efficient running back in the NFL this season in terms of yard per touch, in terms of yards created after first contact. It is Nick Chubb. You can't stop the man. He goes into stacked boxes more than any running back in the NFL. The defenses know the Browns are going to run the ball with Nick Chubb, and it just does not matter. And that's when you know a guy is just on another freaking level. You can't stop Nick Chubb, guys. And Nick Chubb, he's going to win people fantasy football leagues. He's probably going to go over 100 rushing yards once again today. Some other running backs that I really like today are Cam Akers. I don't think you can bench Cam Akers today, guys. Cam Akers averaging 25 touches per game over his last couple of games, and he's over a 2-touchdown favorite against the Jets today. You can't be benching Cam Akers. You also can't be benching Jonathan Taylor, who's been on an absolute tear this last couple of weeks. He's actually been the most efficient receiving back in the NFL. Also, he leads all running backs in terms of yards per reception and yards per target. He's been averaging over 9 yards of reception. They got to throw the ball a lot to him today. Favorite DFS plays today? Yes, you got to be starting your lineup with Alvin Kamara. Lock Alvin Kamara in because Alvin Kamara is going to be the leading receiver for the Saints this week. So you got to trust him. With Drew Brees back, Michael Thomas out, guys, listen to this. Alvin Kamara in situations with Michael Thomas out and Drew Brees in is averaging, and this is a large sample, like 8 games. Alvin Kamara is averaging more receiving yards, just receiving yards, than guys like Terry McLaurin, than guys like Robbie Anderson, than guys like Amari Cooper, than guys like Keenan Allen. He beats all these guys in receiving yards per game. You got to be trusting Alvin Kamara in DFS, even at the high price. And then I also like the stack in DFS today with Lamar Jackson. Again, free prop pick of the week. He's going over 1.5 touchdowns. And I think one of those touchdowns is going to Mark Andrews. So stacking Lamar Jackson with Mark Andrews, and then the reverse stack against those two guys with DJ Chark, who has seen at least 66 air yards in 7 straight games. He's played over 85% of the snaps for the Jaguars in 7 straight games. Gardner Minshew coming back, I think, helps him. And the Ravens have some injuries in their secondary. So I do like DJ Chark. Hey, Sam, go Pats. Do I start Sony Michel or CEH? This is a tough one because Clyde Edwards-Helaire has actually seen an uptick in volume over the last couple of weeks. And so Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the safer start over Sony Michel, but he's also in a much tougher matchup. The Saints' run defense has been very, very legit. I would still go Clyde over Sony, but Sony Michel, again, available in 90% of fantasy leagues, and he has going to see over 15 carries today behind the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. So Sony Michel is safe, but Clyde definitely has a higher ceiling. Clyde Edwards-Helaire played 77% of the snaps for the Chiefs last week, which was the most he's played since week 4. It's the most he's played since Le'Veon Bell joined the team. It was the most carries and targets he saw since Le'Veon Bell joined the team. And so Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back in running back 1 conversation. You got to be trusting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Let's get to 250 likes. Who wants to be our 250th like? I do really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help us out. Say, I'm not trying to be rude, but who then? Devontae Parker, Corey Davis, Gage, Claypool, or CEH? I would lean towards Corey Davis and probably Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Austin. Corey Davis and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are probably my favorite options there. Devontae Parker seems to always do well against the Patriots, but I'm not trusting him today at all. I think Tua and that whole Dolphins offense has a lot of risk. Though what we saw from Tua last week against a good Chiefs defense was very encouraging for the future of him in the NFL. Thielen or Brandon Cooks? Craig, I would go Thielen there. Let me go some rapid fire for the next 5 minutes, try to get to as many questions as I can. Sit 1, you need big upside. Drake, James Robinson, Akers, Jonathan Taylor. If you need big upside, you got to sit James Robinson there. Can you trust AB? Trust is not the word I would use with Antonio Brown, but he definitely has a high ceiling. Again, I think Brady's going over 3 touchdowns and 300 yards today. Cam Akers or James Robinson? It's Cam Akers. Terry or Sanders? Love your vid so much. Thanks, man. I would go Terry McLaurin over Miles Sanders, but it's definitely close. Thoughts on Cam Akers? Justin, Cam Akers is in our must-start list. You got to start him. He's averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 games. He's over a 2-touchdown favorite against the Jets. How do you feel about T.Y. Hilton? I love T.Y. Hilton. He's averaging over 100 receiving yards per game over his last 7 games against the Houston Texans. T.Y. Hilton is the Houston Texans' father. You got to trust him. Watson or Tannehill? The app has them really close. Yeah, I would probably lean Tannehill over Watson, but it's definitely close. DeAndre Swift, Gallman, or Claypool? Jake, it's definitely DeAndre Swift. You got to be trusting DeAndre Swift. He was going to be a really risky option, but with Matthew Stafford playing today, DeAndre Swift is in a very good spot. He has some of the highest ceiling of all running backs today. I do think you can trust DeAndre Swift. Kiki QT, by the way, he scored more than 20 fantasy points twice in his career, and both have come against the Indianapolis Colts. Kiki QT dominates the Indianapolis Colts, just like T.Y. Hilton dominates the Houston Texans. There's a great stack to start from in DFS as well. QT versus T.Y. Hilton. I do think both those guys are pretty good options today. Hey, Sam, do I start Akers, Ayuk, or Allen Robinson? You got to start Cam Akers. You have to start Cam Akers today. Both Ayuk and Allen Robinson are also in the must-start category, but not quite as much as Cam Akers. Thoughts on Lynn Bowden with Parker in? Yeah, you can't trust Lynn Bowden. Lynn Bowden's on the must-bench list, along with Emmanuel Sanders, along with Ezekiel Elliott, along with James Conner. You got to be benching these guys. You cannot trust them, along with Chase Edmonds, too. You can't trust any of those guys today. QT or Mooney? Definitely QT. Did you hear what I just said? Kiki QT has 2 games over 20 fantasy points in his entire career. Both of those games were against the Indianapolis Colts. For some reason, he loves playing the Colts, even though they have a good defense. I do like Kiki QT today. What's up, Sam? How is it going? Also, high energy, I see. Yeah, because it's week 15 of the NFL. We are almost at the end of the NFL season. We are almost at the end of the fantasy football season. So I'm pumped, guys. This is my favorite day of the week. I can feel the excitement from you guys as well. Bold prediction is Marquise Brown goes over 85 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I like that bold prediction. Marquise Brown, I think, again, Lamar Jackson, free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson's going over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that in. They're giving you positive odds on that one. Absolute money. I think that's going to benefit Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews today. Cook for Henry. Yeah, I like Henry a lot. Henry has to be the number one running back. Guys, the over-under for rushing yards for Derrick Henry is 120 yards, just like it was last week, and he cleared that in the first half last week. I mean, absolutely insane what we've seen from Derrick Henry. He's going to be the first player since Barry Sanders in the late 1990s to average over 100 rushing yards per game in back-to-back seasons. You might not see that again for decades. QT or Hilton? I'd lead Hilton over QT. Watson or Russ? I like Russell Wilson a little bit more than Deshaun Watson, guys. And if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Let's get to 225 likes. We are almost there. Really does help me out a ton if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate that. Going to try to get to as many questions as I can. We're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. We just passed 100 people tuned in on YouTube. Really appreciate every single one that's tuned in on YouTube and TikTok. Appreciate every single one of you. Seriously, we've got over 200 people listening right now. Michelle or McKissick? I would go Michelle over JD McKissick. Sony Michel, guys, is available in 90% of fantasy leagues. He's going to see at least 15 carries today. He is up against a good Dolphins defense, but he is going to be the lead running back on one of the most run-heavy offenses in the NFL. Damian Harris picked up a late-week ankle injury. So, yeah, you can fire up Sony Michel as a pretty safe running back 3 this week. He's going to get at least 15 carries. Not going to surprise me at all when he finds his way into the end zone against his hometown Miami Dolphins. Chark, Deontay Johnson, or Lockett? I like Chark and Lockett the most there. That one of those guys is going to pop off today. Sam, please, Zeke or Wilson? Zeke Elliott needs to be benched, guys. Send Ezekiel Elliott to your bench. Don't put yourself through the pain of rooting for Ezekiel Elliott anymore. He's dealing with a calf injury. The burst is not there. Tony Pollard looks better than him. The guys you got to be benching, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner. You have to be benching these guys. You have to be benching James Conner and Ezekiel Elliott. You can't trust Chase Edmonds or Lynn Bowden either. You also cannot be trusting Emmanuel Sanders. Traquan Smith has out-targeted him and out-snapped him over the last couple of weeks. I do think Kyler Murray is back and fully healthy, Yarjma. I agree with you, man. I think he's the number 2 or 3 quarterback option today. The top 3, very obviously, is Lamar Jackson, number 1. He's been absolutely on fire. Again, I think he's going over 1.5 passing touchdowns today. That's the free prop pick of the week. I think Kyler Murray is back fully healthy. I think he's going to do very, very well today. Patrick Mahomes, obviously number 3, even in a tough matchup. After that, number 4, Tom Brady, guys. He's going to go over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today. He is leading the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. He has up against a Falcons defense, allowing the second most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season, and they're without their second best cornerback. So I do like Tom Brady and that whole Bucs offense a lot today. Start Johnson, Thielen, Woods, Evans. I would lean towards Woods and probably Mike Evans as well. I think that would give you the highest upside there. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, fantastic options today against a bad Jets team, guys. Jared Goff, also pretty safe option. Sanders or Godwin? I need the floor, but who is the higher ceiling? Johnny, the floor play is Sanders. The ceiling play, though, is absolutely Chris Godwin. I think you got to be firing up all pieces of that Bucs offense today. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Gronk. Find a spot for them. Chark or Gage? I really like DJ Chark as a sleeper play this week, guys. DJ Chark is averaging 54 receiving yards per game this season, but he's really struggled over his last 4 games. He hasn't surpassed 60 yards once in his last 4 games. However, he has played at least 88% of the snaps for the Jaguars in 7 straight games, and he's seen 66 air yards in each of those games. The volume has been there for DJ Chark, and the volume is what is most predictive of fantasy points and NFL success. DJ Chark, he's averaging just under 60 yards a game with Gardner Minshew in his 20 games that he's played with him. I think DJ Chark's going to go for at least 60 yards and a TD today. Favorite DFS defense today? Yeah, the Rams obviously are the top defense of the day against a Jets team that could score 0 points. Again, by the way, the Jets have a chance to be the worst team in NFL history in terms of point differential if they lose by 77 points over the rest of the season. They could probably get halfway there today against the Rams. So the Rams are number 1, but they're really expensive. So I do like the Dolphins or the Patriots defense today as well. I bet one of those defense ends up scoring a touchdown. Lockett or Corey Davis? I like Lockett. Irv Smith over Gesicki today, guys. Irv Smith has a really high ceiling. We're 3 likes away on YouTube from 225 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button too. Really do appreciate that. Michael, good to see you, man. Pick one for flex. Crowder, Pittman, Bourne, Higgins. Fournette, Thank you, Sam. Premium subscriber. Appreciate you being a premium subscriber, man. Yeah, try out the premium subscription in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. It's going to help you dominate fantasy. It's going to help you dominate player prop bets. It's going to help you dominate DFS as well. And I think that I would be going with either Kendrick Bourne or Rashad Higgins there. I think that Bourne has the safest floor. Higgins has the higher ceiling, though. And Fournette, to me, is just too risky to trust. I know he was named the starter after being a healthy scratch this past week, but it's tough to see him seeing enough volume. I think that the Bucs are going to throw the ball a ton today without Ronald Jones. So I would not be trusting Leonard Fournette. To me, Leonard Fournette is, if not on the must bench list, he's very close to it. But Leonard Fournette went from bench to starter in just a week. So we'll see how he does this week. I think he's got a lot of risk, though. I would go Kendrick Bourne or Higgins. Start Breeze. I think Breeze has a pretty big layer of risk against the Kansas City Chiefs with no Michael Thomas. I would not be starting Drew Brees. Brandon Ayuk or T.Y. Hilton? It's Ayuk. Ayuk has been just too consistent over the last month to bench him. Guys, hit that like button. Let's get to 230 likes. Who wants to be our 230th like? Yes, guys, George Kittle is going to be back next week. He doesn't look like he's back this week, but he is not of the human species. He had a 6-week injury. He said, no, I'm back in 3 weeks. George Kittle, I don't know what species he is, but is not of the human variety. You managed to pick up Cam Akers and Gibson when Gibson got hurt. That's amazing. Good job. It's a fantastic pickup. And in the WalterPicks app, we told everyone to pick up Cam Akers months ago. Browns defense or Pats defense? I like the Pats defense a little bit more than the Browns defense, but I really need help. Thielen, Ridley, McLaren, Godwin, start 2. I would be going with Ridley and Godwin there. Both those guys just have such high upside. Godwin and Ridley. I really do like that. Guys, let's get to 230 likes. Hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Gallman or Pollard or Traquan Smith? I'd go Gallman over both those guys. And we're over 230 likes. Let's go. Hit that subscribe button too if you haven't subscribed yet. We've been live for just about 2 hours. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning finishing my fantasy research to help all of you out. I'm going to be trying to get to as many questions as I can as we get closer and closer to football. We got a couple hours left in this stream. We're only halfway through the stream. So this has been a lot of fun so far, and I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can. Justin Jefferson or Jonathan Taylor? I would go Jonathan Taylor. I don't think you can bench Jonathan Taylor against this Houston Texans defense that has not been good stopping the run. And Jonathan Taylor, the most efficient receiving back in the NFL right now. Ahmed or Sony Michel? Austin, I like Sony Michel more. Again, Sony Michel available in over 90% of fantasy leagues. He's going to see 15 plus carries today as a part of the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. No Damian Harris. Sony Michel getting the start. He has a pretty safe floor today. I do like Sony Michel a decent amount. Marvin Jones or Jeff Wilson? I would lean towards Marvin Jones, guys. Marvin Jones has a higher ceiling than you probably realize. He's been top 5 in the NFL in air yards over the last month with Matthew Stafford playing. Even though Matthew Stafford is not healthy, I like Marvin Jones a lot over Jeff Wilson. But Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, both solid running back 2 options this week. I do like Mostert more than Jeff Wilson, though. Pick up New England defense over Browns. Yeah, I do like the Pats defense today, though Tua did look really good against a good Chiefs defense last week. We know how good Bill Belichick is against rookie quarterbacks, so Pats defense is a pretty intriguing start today, and you can stack them with Sony Michel too. So I like the Sony Michel Pats defense stack. Hey Sam, pick one: Wilson, Emmanuel Sanders, Fournette, David Johnson. I would probably lean towards David Johnson or Jeff Wilson there. I think you got to be benching Emmanuel Sanders. Traquan Smith has out-targeted him and out-snapped him over the last couple of weeks. Who's to say Traquan Smith's not going to be the one to benefit from Michael Thomas being out? Emmanuel Sanders is by no means safe. I think that you also have to be trusting Tom Brady today, guys. I'm seeing Brady in a lot of these questions. There's only 3 quarterbacks I'd start over Tom Brady: Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. End of list. Tom Brady is leading the NFL in deep attempts per game. He's going to go over 3 TDs and 300 yards. I also think you've got to be trusting Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift. There's so many rookies that you can trust in your lineups today. Let me run through those rookies again. Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor. All of these guys are extremely trustworthy. J.K. Dobbins, they're all going to perform well today. And as a back-end running back 3, if you need help with the running back position, go add Sony Michel. He's available in over 90% of fantasy leagues. Guys, we're almost at 250 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. It helps me out more than you probably realize. And if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet on the iOS App Store, it will help you with your start to sit decisions for completely free, guys. It's a free app. You get 30 free start sit comparisons. It gives you the most accurate artificially intelligence projections in the world. It's been more accurate than ESPN and Yahoo over the last 2 years. And you get access to 10,000 simulations of each week to give you accurate boom and bust probabilities for every player. Accurate projections, boom and bust probabilities, and matchup rating. What else could you need from an app to help you with your start-sit decisions? So if you need help with your start-sit decisions, go download the app. And I see a premium subscriber commenting, Cole, good to see you, man. McKissick or Leonard today? I would go McKissick. I don't trust Leonard Fournette very much. I think the Bucs are going to pass a lot. Fournette probably has a higher ceiling than McKissick, but the floor to me is much, much lower. Swift or Carson? I'd go DeAndre Swift. I really like DeAndre Swift's ceiling today, guys. We're 14 likes from 250. Who wants to be our 250th like today, guys? Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to go subscribe. I got you, Cole. Have a great Sunday, man. Guys, today is the best day of the week. Football Sunday. There's some fantastic games to be excited about today. I'm excited to watch the Dolphins and Patriots game again. Sony Michel playing against the Miami Dolphins, where he grew up in Miami. That's going to be a very exciting game. I think that the Houston Texans Colts game, also a really exciting game. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to feast in that game. The Seahawks versus Washington, I expect Seattle to take care of business in that one. I think that the Bucs are going to annihilate the Atlanta Falcons. I think Tom Brady is going to go 3+ touchdowns and 300 yards. I think a headline after this week, I can already see it, is, are the Bucs Super Bowl contenders now after how good they look against this Falcons team? The Lions versus the Titans. I think that the Titans are going to handle the Lions. Stafford playing through an injury. We'll see how that goes. Probably not going to go very well, though. And then we got the Jaguars versus the Ravens. The free prop pick of the week, Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If you want another free prop pick completely separate from the Lamar Jackson one, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store completely free. Tap on the player prop tool. You'll get another free prop pick. Guys, we're 10 likes away from 250. Let's hit that 250 mark. Just subbed. Thanks, man. Woods, Evans, McLaren. Start 2. I would go with Woods and Evans there. McLaren's really been down over the last couple of weeks, but I do think he could bounce back. Kruby, good to see you, man. I would go Kmet over Gesicki and probably Watson over Cousins. I hope that helps, man. I like Hines as a ceiling play, but Gallman absolutely has the safer floor. Whoever just asked that one. Gallman has the safer floor over Nyheim Hines, but Hines has the higher ceiling against the Houston Texans. Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor, both extremely high upside this week. Mostert, Wilson, or Carson. I would rank them as Mostert number 1, Carson number 2, Wilson number 3. Guys, you got to bench Ezekiel Elliott today. He's on our must bench list. Bench Ezekiel Elliott. Bench James Conner. Bench Emmanuel Sanders. Traquan Smith has outsnapped and out-targeted him. You have to bench Chase Edmonds with the injury he's dealing with. You got to bench Lynn Bowden with all of the Dolphins players back healthy. These are players you got to be benching. Should I start Miami defense over Seattle Seahawks defense? Yes, you should, because the Patriots offense has not been good, though I still like Sony Michel today as a part of the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. He's going to see at least 15 carries, and I do think he has a pretty high probability of a touchdown. So I like Sony Michel today. Mostert or Zeke, I would lean towards Raheem Mostert. Again, you got to be benching Zeke. And Mostert and Jeff Wilson have great matchups. Guys, we're 5 likes away from 250 likes. Who's going to be our 250th like? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. Connor or Fournette? I need help. I'd go Fournette over Connor. And Fournette, to me, has a low floor, but a really high ceiling. So Fournette over Connor for sure. Guys, we're 3 likes away from 250. Who's going to be our 250th like? Let's go. We hit 250. That is what I'm talking about. And if you're tuned in on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, and you haven't downloaded the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, which I've spent over 400 hours and 4+ years building, don't know what you're waiting for. It can help you dominate fantasy, dominate DFS, dominate player prop picks. Hey, Sam, how's it going? Just like, thanks, Alex. I'm doing great, man. This is my favorite day of the week. I've been live for over 2 hours, got another 2-ish hours to go, and I'm not losing any steam. I'm very excited. Miles Sanders or Fournette? I would go Sanders over Fournette. Browns D over Seahawks D. T. Higgins or Kiki? I would go Kiki over T. Higgins. Kiki QT has only 2 games in his career over 20 fantasy points. Both those games have come against the Colts. He's done well against the Colts for whatever reason. He loves going up against the Colts, and I think he's going to do well again. Yeah, we knew Stephon Diggs was going off. That one was obvious. Thoughts on Terry McLaurin? I love Terry McLaurin as a player. He obviously has a really horrible offensive situation, but I do think Terry McLaurin is due for a bounce-back game. It's not going to surprise me if that is this week, but I would still be starting guys like Brandon Ayuk and Allen Robinson over Terry McLaurin. Jonnu, Kmet, or Schultz? I would probably lean towards Kmet over Jonnu and Schultz. The tight end position is bleak after Travis Kelce, after Mark Andrews, and after Darren Waller, but TJ Hawkinson also probably in that Mark Andrews tier as well this week if Stafford is really healthy. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're watching live on YouTube. Really do appreciate that. Reminder, the free prop pick of the week, Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock it in. You're getting plus odds on that one. He's had over 1.5 passing touchdowns in half of his games this season. All of those games were against secondaries that are better than the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary he's playing against today. Lock that one in. Yeah, let's go. We passed 250 likes. Let's see if we can get to 275 likes in the next 10 minutes. How do you feel about Deontay Johnson last week after the drops and the benching? Yeah, Deontay Johnson has an added layer of risk, but I still think he's the number one receiver in that offense. I think that you can trust Deontay Johnson. I think drops are one of the most overrated stats in the NFL. Dobbins or Thielen, half PPR. I would lean towards Dobbins as the safer floor. Thielen has the higher ceiling, but I'd probably go with Dobbins. What's your YouTube called? It's called WalterPicks. Go search WalterPicks on YouTube. It's also linked in our TikTok bio. Marquise Brown, Rashad Higgins, or QT. I would rank them as QT, then Higgins, then Marquise Brown, but they're all pretty similar. Low floor, high upside options. David Johnson or McKissick. I'd go David Johnson over McKissick this week, though. McKissick's been more and more involved in the running game, so that does raise his floor. Dobbins or McLaren. I would go McLaren over J.K. Dobbins. Davis choked. Yeah, Gabriel Davis choked. Mike Davis choked. I was really excited for the Mike Davis party. It did not happen. He did not get 5 catches. He did not score a touchdown. That was definitely disappointing. You got to start Cam Akers over DeAndre Swift today, guys. You can't bench Cam Akers. Like, after Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, you can make an argument that Cam Akers is like number 4 or number 5 this week at the running back position, averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 weeks, up against a Jets team that is a 2-touchdown favorite against. You got to trust Cam Akers this week. You also can trust DeAndre Swift, who has a lot of upside, but the floor is just not at the same for DeAndre Swift as it is for Cam Akers. I like Jonathan Taylor a lot this week as well. You got to trust Jonathan Taylor in your lineups along with Cam Akers. You can trust DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins a little bit less than Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor, but all 4 of those guys, really high ceilings. At the quarterback position, I also think you got to be trusting Tom Brady today. Hunt, Deontay, Mostert, pick one. I'd go Mostert. Mostert is in a fantastic spot against a bad Cowboys run defense. You got to be trotting out Raheem Mostert with confidence today. Godwin or Cooper? I would go with Godwin over Cooper. Cooper has the safer floor. Godwin has the higher upside. Swift or A.J. Brown? Guys, don't bench A.J. Brown. I mean, you got to be trusting A.J. Brown in your starting lineup every single week. Weather report, yes, there's 0 games this week with winds over 25 miles an hour. There's no game that has a wind gust over 25 miles an hour today. In my research, that's the only thing that's statistically significant impact on passing attacks and on offenses in the NFL. So don't overrate the rain that we're going to see in Baltimore. Don't overrate the cold that we're going to see in some of the games. The rain, the cold, it does not matter. Only wind matters. And so I'm not nervous about any of the weather. Gage or QT? I would go with QT over Russell Gage. Jared Goff or Big Ben? I think Goff is a lock to go over 20 fantasy points against a really bad Jets defense. So I think you can trust Jared Goff. Guys, we're almost at 275 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Really does help us out more than you probably realize. And hit that subscribe button too if you haven't subscribed yet. Mostert or Swift or A.J. Brown? I'd rank those guys in the reverse order. A.J. Brown, number 1. I think Swift has a lot higher of a ceiling than Mostert because he's splitting time with Jeff Wilson, but Mostert probably has the safer floor over DeAndre Swift. But you can't be benching A.J. Brown, just like you can't be benching Justin Jefferson. Hey, Sam, Sanders or Swift? I would probably lean Swift over Sanders. For flex, McKissick, Gallman, or Lockett? I would probably go Lockett. There's not many players offering you the type of upside that Tyler Lockett's going to offer you in that flex spot. Lockett has tremendous upside, and Lockett's been on a pattern of just going off every 4 weeks, and he's due for that blow-up game. It could come this week. It could get you into the fantasy football finals. Guys, here's some guys you absolutely have to be benching today. You can't trust Ezekiel Elliott. You can't trust James Conner. You cannot trust Emmanuel Sanders. You can't trust Chase Edmonds. You can't trust Lynn Bowden. All these guys, you got to put them on your bench. Mike Evans or T.Y. Hilton, I would lean towards Mike Evans. I think that the Bucs offense is going to cook today. Tom Brady leads the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. He's up against a Falcons secondary, allowing the second most fantasy points per game, the second most passing yards per game in the NFL. I think Tom Brady's going to go for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today. That's going to be great news for Mike Evans. It's going to be great news for Chris Godwin, and it's going to be great news for Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski. Who's a good flex? Look no further than Sony Michel, who's available in over 90% of fantasy leagues. He's going to be the lead running back for the Patriots, who lead the NFL in rushing attempts per game. They're the most run-heavy team in the NFL. Sony Michel is going to be their number one running back today in his hometown of Miami. I think Sony Michel is a good flex, good running back 3 with running back 2 upside today. A.J. Brown or Akers, you can't bench Cam Akers as much as I love A.J. Brown. Cam Akers is averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 weeks, and he's a 2-touchdown favorite against the Jets. You can't put Cam Akers on your bench. Guys, we're 11 likes away from 275 likes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're just joining. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. We've got about 200 people tuned in. I appreciate everybody, seriously, that's tuned in right now. Seriously, really have a lot of appreciation for every single one of you. This is my favorite day of the week, football Sunday. A lot of exciting games today. We got to get through the fantasy football playoffs and win those fantasy football championships. We're also going to dominate on DraftKings and our player prop picks today. I'm feeling very good about it all. Gage or Boyd? I would probably go Boyd over Gage. I would go Ayuk over T.Y. Hilton. I do think Swift is going to go off. I think he has a really, really high ceiling. With Matthew Stafford playing, that definitely helps him out as well. Cooks or QT? Walter says Cooks. Yeah, I like Brandon Cooks a little bit more than QT as well. About how many points will Jonathan Taylor get? Roughly, he's going to go over 20 points, Jack. Jonathan Taylor's been on an absolute tear, and he is looking like the Jonathan Taylor we thought he was when he was drafted out of Wisconsin. He's showing that burst, the breakaway speed. He looks the healthiest he's been all season. He's been the most efficient receiving back. That's Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts. Been the most efficient receiving back in the NFL this season, leading the NFL in yards per reception. Gallman, Hilton, or Mostert? I would go with Mostert, then Hilton, then Gallman. But Hilton has the highest ceiling. Again, Hilton averaging over 100 receiving yards per game in the last 7 games against the Houston Texans. So Hilton if you're going for the ceiling, but Mostert if you're going for the floor. Antonio Brown or Deontay Johnson? I'd go Antonio Brown. I think the whole Bucs offense just has too much upside to bench them today. I have Woods starting, but would you go Hilton or Kupp over him? No, I would trust Robert Woods there. Brady or Murray? The only 3 quarterbacks I'm starting over Tom Brady: Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, end of list. After that, you got to trust Tom Brady. But Kyler Murray's fully healthy, guys, and he's had 10 carries last game, the most that he has had in the last month. Yeah, I might be sleeping on Wayne Gallman, who really has been having the best stretch of his career. The problem with Wayne Gallman for me is just the offense. Without Daniel Jones, it's just hard to get behind. And so I think that Wayne Gallman has a really low floor, and that's why I'm out on Wayne Gallman, even though Wayne Gallman has been consistently producing as a running back too, really over the last month and a half. All Wayne Gallman has done is produce. I mean, if we go through some of these stats for Wayne Gallman has had over 10 fantasy points for 2, 4, 7 consecutive weeks. Wayne Gallman has had over 10 fantasy points. That's one of the most consistent paces in the NFL. He's had over 50 yards or a touchdown in all 7 of those games. He's had over 70 yards in 2 straight games, and he's scored a lot of touchdowns. I mean, he's had 6 touchdowns in his last 7 games. So there's a lot to like about Wayne Gallman, but without Daniel Jones in the lineup, I'm just not trusting him. Carson, McLaren, or Michelle at flex. I would lean towards McLaren over Carson and Michelle. Guys, we're almost at 275 likes. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Takes you 2 seconds. Helps us out way more than you realize. Hit that like button. I'm going to be trying to get to every single one of your questions. Thank you all for tuning in. What are your must-start players this week? Yeah, let's get into that. Players that you absolutely have to be starting. Hit that like button too if you're watching live on YouTube. Really do appreciate that. But players that you absolutely have to be starting: Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, and Patrick Mahomes. You got to trust every single one of those guys. At the wide receiver position, you got to trust Brandon Ayuk. You got to trust Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I'm trusting all these guys to start this week. Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, also really good options. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp against the Jets. You got to start those guys. I think T.Y. Hilton also in the must-start category. At the running back position, there's a lot of rookies you got to be starting. You got to be starting Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, and you have to be starting DeAndre Swift with his upside. I also think that the number 1 upside running back this week is not Derrick Henry. It is Alvin Kamara, who's averaging more receiving yards per game with games with Drew Brees, but without Michael Thomas. Alvin Kamara averaging more receiving yards per game than guys like Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett. I mean, he's basically a top 10 wide receiver this week is Alvin Kamara. So he got to be starting him as well. Hey, Sam, do I start T.Y. or Juju at my flex? I would probably go with T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton averaging over 100 receiving yards per game in his last 7 games against the Houston Texans. He is the Houston Texans' father. All he does is dominate the Houston Texans. Guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. We're almost at 275 likes. We're only 5 likes away. Who's going to be our 275th like? Do you like higher floor or higher ceiling more? If I'm up right now, if you're up, you got to go with the higher floor. But personally, I am someone who likes to take risks in life. That's why I risked every dollar I had to start a business on fantasy football that you can support by downloading the Walter Picks app and becoming a premium subscriber. But I like to take risks. That's why I go with boom probability over bust probability. But if you are in a good lead, then you got to go with the higher floor players. Corey Davis or Justin Jefferson. You can't bench Justin Jefferson. Absolutely Justin Jefferson over Corey Davis. Ayuk or A.J. Brown, that's a tough one. I would lean towards A.J. Brown, but they're both guys you kind of want in your starting lineup. Lockett or Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's much, much safer than Tyler Lockett, but don't be surprised if Tyler Lockett has a huge, huge boom week. I would lean towards Amari Cooper as the safest option. He's almost definitely going over 10 points, but Tyler Lockett has the higher ceiling. Guys, we're 3 likes away from 275 likes. Who's going to be our 275th like on YouTube? I've been live for a little over 2 hours. We got a couple more hours to go. This is the best day of the week, guys. I hope you're all excited. And there we go, over 275 likes. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Appreciate everyone who has supported this live stream so far. We got a couple hundred people tuned in between TikTok and YouTube. Going to try to get to as many questions as I possibly can, but really do appreciate you guys subscribing and liking our YouTube live right now. Thielen or Jefferson? I like Jefferson more than Thielen. I think Jefferson's going to go over 100 yards again today and restart the conversation of Justin Herbert versus Justin Jefferson for the rookie of the year. Great app. Make good money off Walter Picks every week. That's what I'm talking about, Zach. Yeah, the funny part about people complaining about the premium subscription price in the Walter Picks app, it's only $5 a month and you get a 3-day free trial. But almost every single one of our premium subscribers has made way more than they've paid us in the premium subscription with our player prop picks identified as exploitable by artificial intelligence, our DFS advice, and our start sit advice in fantasy football. People have made a lot using the app. It's only $5 a month, and you can start a 3-day free trial to try it out. We also, the free prop pick of the week, guys. I've had over 80% accuracy, 11 out of 15, giving away free prop picks on this live stream every Sunday, 11 out of 15. And the free prop pick of the week today is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's had over 1.5 passing touchdowns in half of his games this season. All of those games were against secondaries better than the Jacksonville Jaguars, who he gets today. The Jaguars have met, by the metrics, the second worst secondary in the NFL, but they could be the worst with all the injuries that they have. So fire up Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns today with confidence. You're also getting plus odds in that game with the sportsbooks overreacting to Lamar Jackson's rushing and the rain in that game. Again, we know rain does not affect games very much. It is wind that affects games. So I like Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns with great odds today. And if you want another free player prop pick, then go in the Walter Picks app on the iOS App Store, download it for free, go in the player prop tool, and you will see another completely different, completely free player prop for you to dominate with. Breeze or Hurts? I would lean towards Hurts over Breeze. Marquise Brown or Jeff Wilson? I would probably go Jeff Wilson over Marquise Brown. Akers has to be started, guys. You have to start Cam Akers. He's averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 games. He's an over 2 touchdown favorite against the New York Jets. There's very few starts better than Cam Akers, along with right behind Cam Akers is fellow rookie Jonathan Taylor, who has to be started this week. His upside is way too high against the Houston Texans to be sitting on your bench. Another rookie with a lot of upside today is DeAndre Swift with Matthew Stafford playing. Swift has some of the highest upside of any running back this week based on the 10,000 simulations we run for the Walter Picks app each week. DeAndre Swift has running back 1 upside today. He has a lower floor than Taylor and Akers, but the ceiling is pretty much the same. Guys, we're almost at 290 likes. Hit that like button. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well. Really do appreciate that. Sam, I need your help. Pick 2, Juju, Woods, Godwin, Dobbins, and Sanders. I would lean towards Woods and Godwin there. I think Robert Woods and Chris Godwin are fantastic starts today. I think that the Bucs offense is going to absolutely cook. I have Brady going over 3 touchdowns and 300 yards today. That's great news for Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski. Hey, Sam, Godwin or Jefferson or DK? Mark, you cannot sit DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is a top 5 option. You can't really start many players over DK Metcalf with confidence. Do not let DK Metcalf go on your bench. Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff? I'd go Jared Goff against a really, really bad Jets defense who is allowing top 3 fantasy points per game to the quarterback position this season. Claypool or DJ Chark? I like DJ Chark as a really good sleeper this week, guys. Chark has struggled. He hasn't passed 60 yards in 4 straight weeks, but he's played at least 88% of the snaps for the Jaguars in 7 straight games, and he's seen at least 66 air yards in each of those games. The volume has been there for DJ Chark, and he's up against a Ravens defense this week without one of their top cornerbacks. I think Chark is going to have his bounce back game today. I think he's going over 60 receiving yards and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew being back only helps him too. He's averaging 60 yards a game in games with Gardner Minshew. Hunt or Wilson? I would go Hunt, Kareem Hunt over Jeff Wilson. Again, hit that like button, guys. We're almost at 300 likes. Hit that like button on YouTube. You could be our 300th like. If you're tuned in on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube yet, you got to go subscribe. WalterPicks on YouTube. It's also linked in our TikTok bio. Devontae Adams had a down game. The volume was still there, but the Packers really just didn't need too much of Devontae Adams in that game. So he had one of his worst games of the season. Really crushed your fantasy teams this week. Hey, Sam, in a PPR, start one for flex. AB, Godwin, Fournette. It's definitely Godwin, Luca. Guys, we're 4 likes away from 290 likes. Who wants to be our 290th like on YouTube? Helps us out a ton. Really helps us out more than you realize. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tucker, I was excited for the Mike Davis party today. It is not happening. It was canceled, postponed for next week. Mike Davis really let us down. Russ or Brady? Again, there's only 4 quarterbacks. There's only 3 quarterbacks I'm starting over Tom Brady today. It's Lamar Jackson, it's Kyler Murray, it's Patrick Mahomes. After that, you have to be starting Tom Brady. Tom Brady is in such a good spot. He's averaging the most deep attempts per game in the NFL. He's against the Falcons secondary, allowing the second most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks, and they're without their second best corner. So Tom Brady, you got to fire him up with confidence. The only quarterbacks I'm playing over him are Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. End of list. Sony or Ebron and flex? Definitely Sony. Sony Michel has a pretty safe floor today, guys. He's going to be the lead running back for a Patriots team that leads the NFL in their percentage of rushing plays. There's no team that's more run heavy than the New England Patriots. And that's good for Sony Michel today, who, by the way, is available in 90% of fantasy leagues. Yes, Michael, we did give away the free prop pick of the week. Lamar Jackson, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock it in. That's plus odds. The books are saying there's less than a 50% chance of that happening. Walter, our artificially intelligent algorithm, is saying there's a 59% chance of that happening. He's done it in 50% of his games. He's up against a Jaguars secondary that is arguably the worst in the NFL. If you look at the metrics, they're second worst in the NFL. Lamar Jackson easily going over 1.5 passing touchdowns today. Not going to be surprised at all when that happens in the first half. And if you want another free prop pick, by the way, we're now giving away a free prop pick each week for free on the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store, free to download. Just click on the player prop tool and you will get access to a completely different free player prop pick that I'm also very confident in today. Guys, we're 9 likes away from 300 likes. Let's do it. Let's hit that like button on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Gage, AB, Sony, or Jeff Wilson. I'd say Antonio Brown, guys. He has a higher ceiling than Sony Michel, but Sony Michel has the safer floor because he's almost definitely seeing at least 15 carries. He has a pretty good chance at a touchdown. So if you're going for upside, you go Antonio Brown over Sony Michel. If you're going for floor, then you go Sony Michel over Antonio Brown. Lockett or Jefferson? Don't bench Jefferson. I'm going to bet on that Lamar pick, and with the money, I'll buy premium. Michael, that's perfect, man. That's exactly how it should work. I'm going to give you a service that is more valuable than what you're paying. That's exactly the logic here, Michael. So yeah, go bet on Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock it in. It's plus odds. Put $40 on it. You just paid for a year-long subscription in the WalterPicks app. It's only $5 a month. So there you go. Easy process there for free access for the next 365 days of the WalterPicks app. Just go get free money betting on Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in, and then go subscribe to the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. Sam, I remember when you were sitting the GOAT of 100 likes only a few weeks ago. Yeah, Jordan, that's what I'm talking about, man. We're getting 300 likes on our live streams now. Very exciting. I'm trying to get to 500 before we hit the football games. So we're 7 likes away from 300, guys. Who wants to be our 300th like on our YouTube stream? We're live on TikTok and on YouTube right now. Why does the app say Godwin is questionable? That's probably left over from a previous week. Godwin is not questionable. So I will update that really quickly for us all. But yeah, Godwin's not questionable. He is healthy, and he is a very, very good option today against a Falcons secondary, allowing top 5 fantasy points per game to receivers this season. Fire up Chris Godwin with confidence. Will Henry break the rushing record? Emmett, he has a chance, but probably even more impressive is that Derrick Henry will be the first running back since Barry Sanders in the late 1990s to average over 100 rushing yards per game in back-to-back seasons. We're over 300 likes on this stream. That is what I'm talking about, guys. I appreciate everyone who's liked this. I appreciate every single one of you that's tuned in. Looks like Antonio Gibson is not going to play based on what I have seen. And it also says that I'm also reading the Dolphins are not going to have tight end Mike Gesicki or Devontae Parker or Jakeem Grant. So all of a sudden, Lynn Bowden back in the sleeper conversation. We thought all 3 of these players, we thought Gesicki and Devontae Parker were playing, but according to Ian Rappaport, as of just 5 minutes ago, Mike Gesicki out, Devontae Parker out, Jakeem Grant out, all 3 of these guys out, which makes Lynn Bowden a good bet to lead the Dolphins in receiving again this week. It makes Sony Michel an even more intriguing option, and the Patriots defense an even more intriguing option. The Dolphins very shorthanded. No Devontae Parker, no Mike Gesicki, no Jakeem Grant, no Preston Williams. Lynn Bowden's going to be their leading receiver. Ahmed's going to lead them in the backfield. It is tough to trust that Dolphins offense today. I really like the Pats defense and Sony Michel even more after this news. Tua is going to be throwing to Lynn Bowden now. Dolphins pass catchers today are Lynn Bowden, Malcolm Perry, Mac Hollins, Antonio Callaway, Isaiah Ford. Durham Smith, Adam Shaheen also are pretty good options. I got to update a lot of things in the WalterPicks app really quickly now because Gesicki is out. We thought he was in this morning, and Devontae Parker is out. We thought he was in this morning as well. So get those guys out of your lineups, guys. Mike Gesicki is out today. Devontae Parker is out today. Jakeem Grant also out. The Dolphins are really struggling at the receiver position. There's not many guys that you can trust on the Dolphins today. Lynn Bowden now enters pretty good sleeper territory. He is a good bet to lead this team in receiving now. And again, I think that Patriots defense is now really, really intriguing as one of the top defense options this week. We know already how good the Bill Belichick has been against rookie quarterbacks. And now with all of these weapons out for the Dolphins, you got to like the Pats defense, which makes even Sony Michel an even more intriguing option this week. These Dolphins receivers, we got Lynn Bowden, Malcolm Perry, Mac Hollins. The Patriots defense should do very, very well today. And if they don't, it's just embarrassing on the Patriots side of the ball. All these players are out for the Miami Dolphins. Their number one receiver is Lynn Bowden. So you can trust Lynn Bowden as a pretty good flex option. Sony Michel and Lynn Bowden are both available in most leagues. Both of them can probably help you win. I would lean towards Sony Michel over Lynn Bowden, but in a PPR league, Lynn Bowden could lead the Dolphins in receiving for the second straight week now. Chase Edmonds is going to be worthy to draft next year because he has standalone PPR value, but he's not trustworthy this week. He's dealing with an injury. Guys, let's try to get to 325 likes. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We're just getting the report that both Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, and Jakeem Grant all out for the Dolphins today. So good news for the Patriots defense. Good news for Lynn Bowden. Bad news for everyone else on the Dolphins team. I think that's pretty surprising news. It seemed like Devontae Parker and Gesicki were both going to play this morning. New England defense official start over Browns. Yeah, Craig, you can fire up the New England defense now with a lot of confidence. I think that they're a pretty good option. And I bet Lynn Bowden is available in your league. I bet Sony Michel is also available in your league. Both of them available in over half of fantasy leagues. Lynn Bowden is a pretty good option to lead the Dolphins in receiving, but I still like Sony Michel a little bit more. Guys, the Patriots have a real chance to win this game now. Still like Dolphins D. Yeah, Johnny, Dolphins D is still pretty good, but I think I like Pats D more than Dolphins D now. With all of these injuries, the Dolphins could really struggle on offense. Their top receivers, Lynn Bowden. Hurts or Watson? I would go Watson over Hurts. I do still like Dolphins D, but not as much as the Pats D. Fire up Browns defense tonight, yes, but I think Pats D might be a little bit better than them now. DJ Chark or Antonio Brown. I like DJ Chark a lot to this week. I'd go DJ Chark over Antonio Brown. Again, let's go through some guys you got to be benching today. These are the guys you have to be benching. And if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 325 likes. You got to be benching Ezekiel Elliott. You got to be benching James Conner. You have to be benching Emmanuel Sanders, who is extremely risky. Don't buy the hype with Emmanuel Sanders. Traquan Smith has out-targeted him and out-snapped him over the last couple of weeks. So bench Emmanuel Sanders, bench Ezekiel Elliott, who's dealing with a calf injury, has shown no burst. He looks worse than Tony Pollard. And you got to bench James Conner, who had a season-low snap percentage last week. He has been extremely inefficient on the ground and through the air. I think you got to be benching Chase Edmonds as well. Now you can't bench Lynn Bowden, who could lead the Dolphins in receiving. Lynn Bowden or Antonio Brown. Lynn Bowden is a safer option than Antonio Brown now, but he definitely doesn't have more upside than Antonio Brown. So I would probably lean towards Lynn Bowden if you're going for the floor, but Antonio Brown if you're going for the ceiling. And I'm updating Lynn Bowden's projection in the WalterPicks app right now. He's had a lot of projection changes throughout the week, but Lynn Bowden now is in the wide receiver 3 conversation. He's going to be the number 1 receiver for the Dolphins. Terry or T.Y. Hilton, I would lean towards Terry McLaurin, but T.Y. Hilton is arguably the safer option. I think Terry McLaurin is a little bit more risky, but I think he's going to bounce back. But T.Y. Hilton, guys, averaging over 100 yards per game against the Texans over his last 7 games against them. He dominates the Houston Texans. Guys, we're only 15 likes away from 325 likes. Hit that like button if you're live on YouTube right now. If you're tuned in, Zeke is out. Is this confirmed? I don't believe you. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott is out today versus the San Francisco 49ers. So he's officially definitely a must-sit. Ezekiel Elliott is out with a calf injury. Tony Pollard will get the start. You got to fire up Tony Pollard with confidence now. Tony Pollard, guys, is a solid running back 2 with running back 1 upside. He's a very, very good running back. I mean, he's extremely talented. So you got to be going with Tony Pollard in your lineups. Go add Tony Pollard. Go see if he's available. Tony Pollard also becomes one of the best DFS values of the week. This is some crazy late injury news, guys. We got Devontae Parker out, Mike Gesicki out, Jakeem Grant out. So now Lynn Bowden, one of the best DFS values of the week. All of a sudden, after Mike McCarthy all week saying Ezekiel Elliott's going to play through his calf injury, Ezekiel Elliott is out. Tony Pollard is now a running back 2 with running back 1 upside, making him one of the best values on DFS this week as well. So you got to be trotting out Tony Pollard with confidence. I mean, this is some crazy late window news as we're less than an hour and a half away from football. You got to go get Tony Pollard. He's one of the best options of the week now, even against a pretty good Raiders 49ers defense. Tony Pollard is a great option. I'm updating his projection in the WalterPicks app as we speak so that you can see him in our DFS lineup optimizer. He's going to be one of the best values of the week on DraftKings and on FanDuel. He's extremely talented, by the way. Tony Pollard is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. He's one of the best backups in the league. So you got to have some confidence with him today. And I'm going to go to Tony Pollard. Let's see what he's projected with Zeke out. Running these projections, Tony Pollard has a 19% chance to go over 25 points today. Tony Pollard has an extremely high ceiling and only a 23% chance to go under 10. He's got one of the best floor ceiling combos in the running back position this week now. So you can trust Tony Pollard in DFS. You can trust him in your fantasy leagues. J-Rob or Akers, you got to be trusting Cam Akers. All right, let's do a quick update on guys you got to be benching, guys you got to be starting, because there's been a lot of news over the last 10 minutes. You have to be benching Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Jakeem Grant, all 3 of those guys out. You can start Lynn Bowden now. You got to be benching Ezekiel Elliott, who's also out. You got to be benching Emmanuel Sanders, who is probably going to get outplayed by Traquan Smith. You got to be starting Tony Pollard. You got to be starting Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor. You have to be starting Tom Brady if you don't have a quarterback that is named Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson. You got to trust Tom Brady. Pollard, Godwin, or Sanders. I would go Pollard over Godwin and Miles Sanders now. Guys, Tony Pollard is going to see 20 touches in this game, and he's extremely talented. He's looked better than Ezekiel Elliott over the last few weeks. Tony Pollard is a running back 2 with running back 1 upside. I'm trusting over Godwin this week. I think Pollard is a must start. I'd start him over Mostert. Yes, Tony Pollard, guys, all of a sudden, this is a week changing information right now. Ezekiel Elliott out. Ahmed is active. No Parker, no Grant, no Gesicki. I mean, this is crazy. Officially active, though, is Matthew Stafford, Ahmed, James White is active, Jimmy Graham is active. That downgrades Kmet a little bit, but I still like Cole Kmet as the starter there. Inactive, Ezekiel Elliott, inactive. Antonio Gibson, out. Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, Mike Gesicki, out. Mark Ingram, also inactive today. That's a good sign in the confidence for J.K. Dobbins. Elliott, out. I mean, this is some late news that has a lot of impact on DFS. So go change your DFS lineups to put in. You got to go get Tony Pollard into your DFS lineups, guys. And if you have not heard the free prop pick of the week yet, the free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns. So lock that one in. Go bet $50 on that. You're going to get $75 in return. The odds they're giving you on that is absolutely insane. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns. He's done that in half of his games. All of the games he's done that was against a better secondary than the Jaguars. The Jaguars have one of the, if not the worst secondary in the NFL. So fire up Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns. If you want another free prop pick, then go to the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. You'll get a free pick if you tap on the player prop screen You'll get a completely free player prop pick. And if you want access to all of them, just start your 3-day free trial completely free before you have to pay. Tony Pollard over Brandon Cooks and over Marvin Jones, guys. You got to start Tony Pollard. I think DeAndre Hopkins, by the way, is going to have a fantastic day. I have him going over 8 catches, over 100 yards. I think he's getting at least 20 points. Your settings updated. CH that big over Fournette. Yeah, let me make sure Fournette is updated in the app. There's a lot of updates that had to go on the back end of the WalterPicks app this morning with a lot of different news coming out. Ronald Jones not going to be starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with his injury. I'm seeing Leonard Fournette here. Got to update him in the app. We have him projected for 12.5 PPR points, making him a solid running back too. He, to me, has a low floor, but a pretty high ceiling in fantasy football this week. He has a 39% chance to bust and a 19% chance to boom. So he's really a boom or bust option. That's Leonard Fournette today as the starter for the Tampa Bay Bucs and one of the highest over-unders of the week. Guys, hit that like button. Let's get to 325 likes. We've been live for a little over 2.5 hours. We're going strong. We got an hour and 20 minutes till football. Tony Pollard is a better play than Jeff Wilson, guys. Tony Pollard is a running back 2 with running back 1 upside. He has 0 competition for touches. He's going to see 20 plus touches. He's extremely talented. Lock in Tony Pollard with confidence. And if you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet at WalterPicks, you got to go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tony Pollard is extremely, extremely trustworthy. I like him over Jeff Wilson. I like him over Leonard Fournette. Go check the WalterPicks app in our app. We updated Tony Pollard's projection just a moment ago. He's got over a 20% chance to go over 25 points. You got to be trusting Tony Pollard. I'd be starting Tony Pollard over guys like Cooper Kupp. I mean, Tony Pollard has an extremely safe floor and a really high ceiling. You got to like Tony Pollard more than Sony Michel. Tony Pollard is more talented than Sony Michel. He also is going to see more touches than Sony Michel. And I like Sony Michel a lot too. He's available in 90% of fantasy leagues. So go add Sony Michel as well. And I like the Patriots defense with all these Dolphins players out. I'm going to be updating some of my DraftKings lineups right now on live with you guys. There's a lot of late news here affecting our DraftKings lineups, so you got to be updating with the news. Really, one of the biggest edges you can get in fantasy football is staying up to date, and that's why you guys are all tuned in right now. With Devontae Parker out, Mike Gesicki out, Jakeem Grant out today. That makes Lynn Bowden likely to lead the Dolphins in receiving. With Ezekiel Elliott out with a calf injury, that makes Tony Pollard a running back 2 with running back 1 upside. So you got to love him today in DraftKings as well. So we're going to be updating our lineups right now. We're going to be swapping out. Let's see, Tony Pollard he's only 5,200 on DraftKings. He's a fantastic value now. And Lynn Bowden, also a really, really intriguing value option on DraftKings with all of these injuries to the Dolphins receiving weapons. Lynn Bowden is likely going to lead them in receiving yet again this week. So you got to like Lynn Bowden as a really good receiving option. He's priced at only 3,600. I mean, there doesn't get much better value than that. Tony Pollard, also a fantastic, fantastic value this week. I'm going with a lineup with Tony Pollard and Alvin Kamara, and I get to stack Tom Brady with Antonio Brown, Godwin, and Mike Evans, also getting that Mark Andrews in there. And I think that you got to love the Patriots defense with all of these injuries to the Dolphins receiving weapons. You got to love what you can do with the Patriots defense stacked with Sony Michel this week. I mean, there's so many different things you can do on DFS now with Tony Pollard, with Lynn Bowden, with Sony Michel and the Patriots defense. I mean, if you just start your lineup with that, Sony Michel stacked with the Patriots defense, and you get Lynn Bowden in there with Tony Pollard, you can do a lot of exciting things with your DraftKings lineup. I'm going to be starting a lineup right now, talk through it on the live stream with you all. We're starting with Tony Pollard as an amazing value now with Ezekiel Elliott out. We're stacking him with Sony Michel as well up against with the Patriots defense, but we're going to be reverse stacking Lynn Bowden against them because he's going to lead them in receiving. He's only 3,600 on DraftKings. So fantastic value this week. So we're starting our lineups with Pollard, Michel, Bowden, and Patriots, which means we can pay up for Lamar Jackson, stack him with Mark Andrews, going to stack against him DJ Chark, and we're going to go with Marquise Brown in that stack as well. Again, you got to be stacking in these tournaments, and that gives us adequate enough salary for really anyone we want. I'm going to be taking Marquise Brown out, actually. We're going to go with DeAndre Hopkins, and we can even fit in Alvin Kamara in our flex. I mean, these lineups are going to be insane with Tony Pollard on DraftKings. You got to go get him into your lineups. I'd go Pollard over Miles Sanders. It's close, but Pollard is no competition for touches. And Miles Sanders has been actually shifting a lot with Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. So I think I'd go Pollard over Michelle, over Miles Sanders. You can really trust Pollard a lot, guys. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. We're 9 likes away from 325. I know we can hit it. We've been live for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it's been a fantastic stream so far. Appreciate everyone that has tuned in. The top waiver wire wide receiver, it's Lynn Bowden. Go add Lynn Bowden. Go add Kendrick Bourne. Both those guys, great waiver wire wide receivers. God, Tony Pollard not over Swift. Yeah, the free player prop pick of the week, it's Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, you're getting positive odds on that. $100 nets you at least 125. So go bet on Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's done that in 50% of his games, and all games that he's done that in have been against defenses not as that are better than the Jaguars defense he's going up against. The Jaguars have the worst secondary in the NFL with all the injuries that they have. So fire up Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting plus odds. Go bet on that. Use the money you win to go get your premium subscription in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. You do it that way. It's basically completely free. And if you want another free player prop pick, completely free, you download the WalterPicks app, click on the player prop tool. You get a completely free player prop pick by doing that as well. It's different from the Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns. We've had over 80% accuracy, by the way, with these free player prop picks on this stream. So fire up Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns with confidence. Colton, man, how's it going? I guess Gesicki is playing this week. No, Gesicki is not playing this week. He is out. Gesicki, Devontae Parker, and Jakeem Grant all out this week. So you cannot trust Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker. Get them out of your lineups. Ezekiel Elliott, he was already a must bench for us. He made the decision even easier for you. Get Ezekiel Elliott out. There's been a lot of news over the last 10 minutes. Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Jakeem Grant, all out. Makes Lynn Bowden the most likely player to lead the Dolphins in receiving this week. Ezekiel Elliott out. It makes Tony Pollard a top 24 running back option with top 12 upside. So you got to love what we're seeing for Tony Pollard. Matthew Berry saying to still be careful with Pollard because of matchup. Thoughts? Yeah, Matthew Berry has reason for concern, but there's zero competition for Tony Pollard. So he's still a running back too. He's extremely talented and he's going to see 20 touches. So he's still a running back too, regardless of matchup. So I do like Tony Pollard still. Oh man, your friend dropped Pollard yesterday. That's yikes. Pick 2, Tony Pollard, Thielen, or Michelle. I'd like Pollard more than Michelle. Both those guys are really good options, though. Both probably available on your waiver wire this morning. Tony Michelle should not be available anymore. He's the leading running back for the Patriots today, the most run-heavy team in the NFL against an undermanned Dolphins team. If the Patriots take a lead, the Patriots defense stacked with Sony Michelle is a fantastic option. Tony Pollard is in the app. He's updated in the app. I just updated him. You got to close the app and open it again to have it update with all these updates, though. But yeah, Tony Pollard is updated. He has now a 19% chance to go over 25 points, a 23% chance to go over 10. He's projected for 15.8 fantasy points. He's the best value running back on the slate now for DraftKings and FanDuel. Guys, we're 2 likes away from 325 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Takes you 2 seconds. Yo, Sam, I hope you're all good. Hilton, Juju, or Bowden? I would go Hilton over Juju and Bowden. Again, Jeffrey, I think Bowden's going to lead that team in receiving, but Hilton dominates the Houston Texans, so you can trust T.Y. Hilton. Lord and Savior Sam, pick 2, Gage, Bowden, or Hilton. I would go with Bowden and Hilton there. I like Bowden a little bit more than Gage now. Start Bourne or Corey Davis. Andrew, Corey Davis has only had 2 games under 10 fantasy points, so you got to trust Corey Davis over Kendrick Bourne, but I do like Kendrick Bourne as a sleeper. Guys, we're 1 like away from 325. Who's going to be our 25th like on this stream? Definitely Jarvis Landry over Traquan Smith. That's an easy one. There we go. 325 likes. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in right now. Next stop is 350 likes on this YouTube stream. Thanks for getting me this far. Ingram or Goddard? I would lean towards Ingram over Goddard. I don't trust Goddard at all. Will Soley, good to see you, man, my man. One of my OG. T.Y., McLaren, Pollard, or Gallman. Good job getting Pollard. I would probably go with those first 3 guys. I'm starting Pollard over Gallman today, guys. Pollard is extremely, extremely talented, and he's going to see 20 touches. This is an exciting day for Tony Pollard, even in a tough matchup. I'd going with him over Gallman. I like him more than Sony Michelle. I like him more than Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. Hunt or Fournette. I like Hunt more. Jeff Wilson or Ahmed or Lynn Bowden. I love the WalterPicks app. Thanks, man. Yeah, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet on the iOS App Store, you can use it to dominate your fantasy leagues every single year. You can use it to dominate DraftKings and FanDuel for football and basketball and for prop picks on NBA and NFL. So definitely go check out the WalterPicks app. Uses artificial intelligence to guide all of its decisions. Pollard or Chubb. Definitely Chubb, man. Juju or Fournette. I would go with Fournette over Juju this week, but it's definitely close. Fournette or Antonio Brown. I like Antonio Brown a little bit more than Fournette just because of the upside, but Fournette probably has the safer floor. What unit are you doing in Algebra 1 right now? We're working on exponential functions. Pollard or Swift? I would go with Swift over Pollard, but it's definitely close, guys. Tony Pollard is going to give you some great upside today because he is an extremely talented running back who's probably going to see 20 touches. Bowden Jr. or Jeff Wilson this week. I like Bowden a little bit more in PPR leagues because he's probably going to lead that team in receiving. Pollard, Godwin, or Jefferson. I like Pollard, but not more than Godwin or Justin Jefferson. I would still go Godwin and Jefferson. Guys, the Patriots defense is extremely intriguing now. With all the injuries to the Dolphins team, the Patriots, that spread has moved considerably. Brett, good to see you, man. Pick 2. We got to make you an admin on here, Brett. Pick 2, Monty, Hilton, McLaren. I think you ride with Hilton and McLaren, Brett. Monty has been great for you, but Hilton owns the Houston Texans. He averages over 100 yards per game against them over his last 7 games. And McLaren, I think, is going to have a big bounce back week. So I'd go with those two. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube right now, let's get to 350 likes. Who's going to be the 350th like on this stream? Hit that like button. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to go subscribe to our YouTube channel yet. We're posting weekly content on there. We're live on TikTok and YouTube right now. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in, guys. It's Sunday, best day of the week. There's been a lot of late news. The Dolphins are going to be without Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki and Jakeem Grant, making Lynn Bowden the most likely player to lead them in receiving. Also makes the Pats defense very intriguing. Also makes Sony Michel, who's available in 90% of fantasy leagues right now, even more intriguing with Damian Harris out. On the other side, we have Ezekiel Elliott out with his calf injury. Tony Pollard now in the running back 2 conversation. Hey, Sam, pick 2. Kupp, Dobbins, Ayuk, or Pollard. I would be playing Tony Pollard and Brandon Ayuk out of those guys. I think that's a good floor ceiling combo. Guys, if you need help with your start sit decisions, you can get access to the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store, which uses artificial intelligence to give you the most accurate projections, more accurate than ESPN and Yahoo. It's already updated with Tony Pollard's projection. It's already updated with Lynn Bowden's projection. So go to the WalterPicks app. You gave everyone 30 free start sit comparisons. That will help you out, give you boom and bust probabilities based on 10,000 simulations of the week and accurate projections. Then come back to the stream. We can discuss if you disagree. My name is actually Sam. I built an artificially intelligent algorithm named Walter, which can help you on the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. Pick 2, Pollard, Cooper, or Bowden. I would go Pollard and Cooper. I definitely like Pollard more than Lynn Bowden. Guys, Pollard is a pretty good receiver too. Won't be surprised if Pollard sees around the same amount of receptions as Lynn Bowden does. Hey, Sam, who do I start, QT or Bowden? I would go QT over Bowden, but you got to go add Tony Pollard if he's available, guys. Patriots or Baltimore D? I like the Pats defense, Vincent, a lot right now. With all these injuries for the Dolphins, with how good Bill Belichick is against rookie quarterbacks, you got to love the Pats defense as the top 3 defense to fire up this week with all of the injuries that we've seen on the Dolphins side of the ball. Evans or Kupp for DFS. I like Mike Evans' upside a little bit more than Cooper Kupp's on DFS. Why did you name your app Walter? Because our artificially intelligent algorithm, his name is Walter. That's why it's called WalterPicks app. Evans or Kupp for DFS. Yeah, again, I like Evans a little bit more. I just bet someone that Pollard goes over 100 total yards. Will it win? You get 3-1. Yeah, that's not bad odds. 3-1. Let's see what the actual official odds on that are. But I think he has a pretty good chance to go over 100 yards. He's very talented. He could easily break a long one today. Hey, Sam, did you say free prop pick? Yes, Jake. I said free player prop pick. The free prop pick of the week, Lamar Jackson, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting plus odds because there's rain and he's been running a lot. He's had 200 rushing yards, over 200 rushing yards in the last 2 games. The books are overcompensating here. He should be at least even money for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting like at least plus 125, depending on your sports book. Lamar Jackson's gone over 1.5 passing touchdowns in half of his games. And all of those games were against defenses better than what he's playing today. The Jaguars secondary is the worst in the NFL. So fire up Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns with confidence today. You're going to get plus odds on that. And if you want another free player prop pick, we're actually giving away free prop picks every week now in the WalterPicks app. If you just click on the player prop tool, you get a completely different free prop pick every single week. So definitely check that out. Premium subscriber here. Cole, good to see you. Gesicki and Parker out. Should I rock with Lynn Bowden or McKissick at running back? I like Lynn Bowden probably a little bit more than McKissick now. Do I start Brandon Cooks or T. Higgins? I would go Brandon Cooks. More upside, Watson or Hurst? Definitely Watson has more upside. Good morning, man. It's a great day, Jack. That is right, man. Cam Akers over Kareem Hunt or Chris Carson? Yes, I like Cam Akers over both of those guys. Guys, you got to start Cam Akers. You have to start Jonathan Taylor. You have to be starting Tony Pollard now as well. I like Sony Michel a little bit better than Marquise Brown, just in terms of his floor, but Marquise Brown arguably has the higher ceiling. Big question from Grayson. T.Y. Hilton, Terry McLaurin, or Justin Jefferson? You can't bench Justin Jefferson, guys. He's going to have a big bounce back week. I think you got to go with Justin Jefferson and trust him in your starting lineups. Guys, we're only 13 likes away from 350 likes. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. YouTube has a slightly less spammy chat, so if you want to come join the YouTube experience, don't know what you're waiting for. We're also posting weekly content over on YouTube, so definitely check out our YouTube stream as well. Hit that like button. We're almost at 350 likes, which is super exciting. Browns or Colts D? I like the Browns defense more than the Colts defense. Again, I think Deshaun Watson has more upside than Jalen Hurts today. So you can trust Deshaun Watson over Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts arguably has the safer floor, though, with his rushing upside. Hey, Sam, Lockett or Godwin? I would go Godwin over Tyler Lockett. I think Godwin has a similar floor and a higher ceiling. I'll like if you answer. Oh, Tyler playing the old blackmail game. Pick two: Connor, Michelle, Bowden, QT, or Lamb. I would go with Sony Michel and Lynn Bowden there, Tyler. It's not going to feel very good, but James Conner is on our must bench list. He played his lowest snap percentage of the season last week. He's been extremely inefficient on the ground. He's been extremely inefficient through the air. So you got to bench James Conner. You have to be benching. By the way, get out Ezekiel Elliott from your lineups. He's out today with a calf injury. Go add Tony Pollard if he's available. Sony Michel, also a good sneaky start. As Damian Harris is out, he could see 15 touches and has pretty high probability of a touchdown today. Woods or Montgomery? I like Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp a lot today against a really bad Jets defense. Guys, we're 10 likes away from 350 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Really takes you 2 seconds. Just go hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really does make my day when we see these likes come in on the stream. I really do appreciate it. I've been live for over almost 3 hours now. We got about an hour left till football. You can see me starting to get excited. This is the best day of the week. Hit that like button, guys. And reminder, the free prop pick of the week, Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in. Lock that one in. You're getting plus odds on that. He's done that in half of his games, and he's up against a Jaguar secondary that is absolutely atrocious. So you got to lock in Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And if you want another free player prop pick, go check out the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, completely free, and go tap on the player prop tool. You'll get another free prop pick that I'm very confident in, guys. We're 4 likes away from 350. Who's going to be our 350th like? Really do appreciate everyone that is tuned in. Yeah, Devontae Adams definitely hurt you last night. And if Tony Pollard's projected low on the WalterPicks app for you, close the app, open it again. I did just update Tony Pollard's projection. So you just got to close the app and open it again, and it will update for you. Swift or Sanders? I lean towards Swift. What QB in DFS? None other than Tom Brady, guys. There's only 3 quarterbacks I like today more than Tom Brady. It's Kyler Murray, it's Lamar Jackson, and it's Patrick Mahomes. After that, Tom Brady's going to go for 3+ touchdowns and 300 yards against a bad Falcons secondary with injuries. You got to be trusting Tom Brady, and for that same reason, you got to be trusting Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, because Tom Brady's leading the NFL in deep attempts per game. So he's got a tremendous upside on DraftKings. I like the Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin stack a lot today. And you can include Rob Gronkowski in that stack too. Guys, we're 4 likes away from 350 likes. Hit that like button and be our 350th like on this YouTube stream. Will Fournette see lots of touches? I'm not so sure. I think that the Bucs could end up passing a ton in this game without Ronald Jones, and I project Leonard Fournette for around 15 touches today. Montgomery or Woods? I would lean towards Woods over Montgomery. I think Woods has a really high ceiling along with Cooper Kupp against a really bad Jets defense. Guys, hit that like button. If you're watching live on YouTube, we're almost at 350 likes. We're so close. Montgomery or Pollard? I like Pollard more than David Montgomery today, and I know Pollard has a tough matchup. But he also has 0 competition for touches. He's probably going to see 20 touches today, and he's extremely talented. So I like Tony Pollard in this situation, even in a tough matchup. Pollard, Henry, Montgomery, or Sanders, pick 3. I would go Henry, I would go Pollard, and I'd probably go Sanders over Montgomery today as well. AB or Pollard? I'd go Pollard over Antonio Brown, and there we go, 350 likes on YouTube. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in, and a couple people unliked, so we're under 350, but I'm sure we'll pass it again soon. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in on our live stream right now. Bowden or Gage? I like Bowden. Yes, it is a Lynn Bowden day now. Lynn Bowden was a great sleeper pick heading into this week, then it looked like a lot of the Dolphins players were going to play. Now, Devontae Parker out, Gesicki out, Jakeem Grant out. Lynn Bowden's the top receiver for the Dolphins today. He's probably going to lead them in receiving for the second straight week. So, yeah, Lynn Bowden is a great option today. And I think you got to be, let me run through a list of guys you absolutely have to be starting. So, and again, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. It really does help me out more than you realize. It takes you 2 seconds. Just hit that like button. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to go do that. But here's some guys you got to be trusting today. Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. Trust those guys with your life, man. Those guys are going to do very well today. At wide receiver, you got to be trusting Brandon Ayuk. He's gotten over 70 yards in 4 straight weeks. You got to trust Justin Jefferson's upside today. You got to trust A.J. Brown as well. Chris Goddard and Mike Evans can be trusted today. Allen Robinson, also a fantastic option. I think Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are really good options. I think Terry McLaurin's going to have a bounce back week. I like Tony Pollard over Jeff Wilson, over Raheem Mostert. I'd argue he's a better option than Sony Michel. Tony Pollard's probably going to need to be started in your fantasy lineups with zero competition for touches in that backfield today. I also think you got to be trusting T.Y. Hilton, who's averaging over 100 receiving yards per game in his last 7 games against the Houston Texans, guys. He owns the Houston Texans. You got to be trusting him. At the running back position, you need to start Cam Akers. I'm starting Cam Akers almost every player that I'm seeing today in these questions over guys like A.J. Brown, over guys like Chris Godwin. Cam Akers is averaging 25 touches per game in back-to-back games, and he's a over 2 touchdown favorite against the Jets today. You got to love Cam Akers, guys. The Rams are 17-point favorites against the Jets. Cam Akers is going to feast, even though the strength of that Jets team is the run defense. You got to trust Cam Akers today. Guys, we're almost at 375 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. It really does help us out a ton. I really appreciate that. And some must-bench players today. We've been saying since the morning, since I've been on this stream since around 9 a.m., but I woke up at 4:30 finishing my fantasy research, and Zeke was a must-bench in or out of lineups, but he's out, obviously, now of the game, so you can't be trusting Zeke. You can trust Tony Pollard, though. Another running back you really can't trust is James Conner, who had his lowest snap percentage of the season last week. He's been extremely inefficient on the ground and through the air, so don't trust James Conner this week as well. I like Tony Pollard, Spencer, more than Lynn Bowden. Tony Pollard, to me, has the higher floor over Lynn Bowden, but I think Lynn Bowden is also a pretty sneaky sleeper this week. He could lead the Dolphins in receiving for the second straight week now. Second straight week. Corey Davis, Jarvis Landry, Tony Pollard. Pick 2. I would probably be going with Tony Pollard over Raheem Mostert, over Jeff Wilson as well. Raheem Mostert's close because Raheem Mostert has a much, much better matchup, but Raheem Mostert's also splitting touches with Jeff Wilson. Tony Pollard has the backfield all to himself with a harder matchup, but I think you can make the argument for Tony Pollard over Raheem Mostert. Amari Cooper over Mostert. Over Mostert. I would go Amari Cooper over Mostert. Amari Cooper's low-key been one of the most consistent wide receivers in football this season, guys. Pats or Dolphins D. I like Pats defense more than Dolphins defense now with all these injuries for the Dolphins. Higbee or Gronk in DFS? I'd probably go Gronk, but Higbee does have intriguing upside against this horrible Jets team, allowing the most fantasy points to tight ends this season. They allowed the sixth best tight end performance of all time not that long ago against Darren Waller. Thoughts on Chris Carson? Yeah, I think Chris Carson's a back-end running back 1, but I do like Tony Pollard probably more than Chris Carson this week. And I know that's a bold take, but Pollard is a really, really talented player, guys. And hit that like button. If you're watching live on YouTube, we're almost at 370 likes. Who's going to be the 370th like on YouTube? We are less than an hour away from kickoff, guys. You can see me getting excited. I can feel the excitement on the other side of the screen right now. We are getting close to kickoff. And if you need help with your start-sit decisions, guys, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. I spent over 4 years and 400 hours building this app that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to give you the most accurate projections on the face of the universe, more accurate than Yahoo and ESPN. It also simulates each week 10,000 times to give you boom and bust probabilities. And yes, we have updated projections for Tony Pollard. We have updated projections for Leonard Fournette and for Lynn Bowden. So if you need help with those start-sit decisions, completely free, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. It also will help you dominate DFS and player prop bets. And speaking of player prop bets, the free player prop pick of the week, Lamar Jackson, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, guys. You're getting plus odds. every single sportsbook I've seen this morning, at least plus 125 if you're betting on Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That is tremendous odds. He's done it in half of his games this season, and every single time he's gone over 1.5 passing touchdowns, it's been against a better defense than he plays today. The Jacksonville Jaguars arguably have the worst secondary in the NFL with all of their injuries. Lamar Jackson easily throwing 2 touchdowns today, at least. So lock that one in with great plus odds. And if you want another free player prop pick, go download the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. We're also giving a completely free prop pick away in the player prop tool, different from that Lamar Jackson one. Terry or Akers, you can't bench Cam Akers today, guys. He's averaging 25 touches per game over his last 2 games, and he's a 17-point favorite against the Jets. Lynn Bowden, Nyheim Hines, or Corey Davis. Pick one. I'd probably go with Corey Davis over Lynn Bowden and Nyheim Hines, but it's definitely close, guys. It is definitely close. And you got to, if you're playing on DraftKings, you got to go put Tony Pollard in some of your lineups. This late news about Zeke really does change things. So go get Tony Pollard in your lineups. Lynn Bowden, also a fantastic value now on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think both those guys can be considered in your lineups. I think Sony Michel, also a very good value play this week because of the Damian Harris injury and being on the most run-heavy team in the NFL. Sony Michel is a very, very intriguing option this week. And if you're starting your DFS lineups now, guys, you got to start with Alvin Kamara. You got to start with Tony Pollard. Start there because both those guys, fantastic options. Alvin Kamara is averaging more receiving yards per game in games with Drew Brees, but without Michael Thomas. He's averaging more receiving yards per game than guys like Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper. Like, he is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. This is Alvin Kamara. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL this week, just ignoring his rushing volume. And he's also in a game with the highest over-under of the week. So you got to love Alvin Kamara in DFS. Pollard or David Johnson? For me, it's definitely Tony Pollard over David Johnson. Hilton, Pollard, or Gallman? I would go Pollard over Gallman, but not over T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton just dominates the Houston Texans. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube right now, hit that like button. Let's get to 375 likes. If you're watching live on TikTok right now and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, come over to our YouTube live, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I possibly can. But yes, you can start Sony Michel. Cody Soley with Damian Harris out. You can trust Sony Michel. He's going to see at least 15 carries. The Dolphins offense could struggle. The Patriots defense could do very well. And Sony Michel is actually from the Miami area, so this is a coming home for him. I think Sony Michel could do very well. I think he's going to see at least 15 carries, and I won't be surprised when he scores a touchdown. Where's the 25 free comparisons? Let me add some more free comparisons for you all in case you ran out. I did add 30 start free comparisons. I just updated that to 45 free start sit comparisons. So you got another 15 if you ran out. If you need help with your start sit advice, guys, completely free on the WalterPicks app, on the iOS App Store. We got updated projections for everyone using artificial intelligence. We simulate each week 10,000 times to get accurate boom and bust probabilities. I've spent over 4 years on this app, so really appreciate you guys trying it out, letting me know how you like it. David Johnson, Bowden, or Fournette? I would probably lean towards Fournette over David Johnson and over Lynn Bowden. Just based off ceiling alone in that game, I'd lean Fournette. Wow, thanks. Yeah, I got you, man. I just gave some more free start sit comparisons for you all in the WalterPicks app. This is a big start sit week, so I want to help you guys out. Michel over Jeff Wilson. Yeah, I think I do like Sony Michel over Jeff Wilson this week. Guys, we're almost at 375 likes. Hit that like button if you're live on YouTube. And if you're live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, WalterPicks on YouTube, also linked in our TikTok account. You got to come join the YouTube live as well. Carson or Godwin? I would go Godwin over Carson. QT or Gage? I'd go QT. Connor, Pollard, or Lynn Bowden? I would go Pollard over James Conner 100%. James Conner's on our must bench list, guys. You gotta get James Conner out of your lineup. Now that Jimmy Graham is active, should I pick up a new tight end and drop Kmet? Yeah, Brett, Kmet is pretty risky with Jimmy Graham active, but he still has taken control of that starting tight end role, Brett. So I think you can trust Kmet, but he could be subbed out in the red zone. So you got to go see who's available. Pollard or Montgomery? I like Pollard more than Montgomery. The free player prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting positive value on that one today, plus 125 at least on most sports books, which means you're betting $100 to win 125. Lamar Jackson's been over 1.5 passing touchdowns in half of his games this season. All of those games coming against better defenses than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hit that like button, guys, if you're on YouTube. We're almost at 375. We're so close. Really do appreciate it. Pick one, Michel, Carson, or Bowden. I'd still go Carson over Sony Michel and Lynn Bowden. Thoughts on Deontay Johnson? Yeah, I think drops are one of the most overrated stats in the NFL. I think Deontay Johnson's going to be just fine. Hi, with no Zeke today, should I bench Miles Sanders and start Cooper at flex? I don't think Zeke being out changes Amari Cooper very much, but I still would be playing Amari Cooper over Miles Sanders. Yes, the free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns. And on DraftKings, guys, there's some fantastic value you can have if you put in Tony Pollard and Lynn Bowden as your value plays. You can squeeze in Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry into your lineups. Two guys with extremely high upside today. So look no further than Tony Pollard in your DFS lineups. They have tremendous upside. You can get Jonathan Taylor, you can get Tony Pollard and Alvin Kamara all in your lineups. I mean, there's a lot of different exciting things you can do with Tony Pollard in these lineups today. You got to go put him into your DFS lineups. He's a tremendous value with Ezekiel Elliott out. And I also really do think that Alvin Kamara needs to be considered in your DFS lineups today because he is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. He's averaging more receiving yards per game in games with Drew Brees and without Michael Thomas. He's averaging more receiving yards per game than guys like Adam Thielen, than guys like Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett. This is how good Alvin Kamara has been, guys. You got to go get him in your DFS lineups. Guys, we're 6 likes away from 375 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. Really do appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button too if you haven't. I would go Godwin over T.Y. Hilton. I do think Drake is a good start. Nick Chubb, I think, is the most talented running back in the NFL right now, the most efficient at least. So yeah, you can trust Nick Chubb. Guys, we're 3 likes away from 375. Who's going to be our 375th like on YouTube? Appreciate every single one of you that's tuned in right now. You got to go Chubb over Pollard, of course. Yeah, Derrick Henry's probably going to go over 20 fantasy points again, if not 30. I would go Tyler Lockett over Leonard Fournette. Top defenses. I love the Patriots defense with all the injuries to the Dolphins today. You got to like the Patriots defense, especially stacked with Sony Michel. There is a lot to like about Sony Michel and the Pats defense, but Tony Pollard should really be in almost every single one of your fantasy DFS lineups today at such a crazy value. You got to go get him into your lineups. And I'm subbing him in to a lot of my lineups as we speak because Tony Pollard just became the best value play on the DFS slate this week. I mean, he's less than Jeff Wilson, and Tony Pollard's going to see way more touches than Jeff Wilson, and he's going to allow you to he's actually 100 more than Jeff Wilson, but he's going to allow you to upgrade a lot of different positions throughout your lineup. So you got to go put Tony Pollard into your lineups with confidence today. And Sony Michel is another guy that you can really trust today to see at least 15 touches. I think he's going to get 15 plus carries. I think he's going to get at least 1 touchdown. I like stacking him with the Patriots defense as well. I really think that's a strong stack today. The Sony Michel Patriots stack is really strong. And you can even listen to this lineup I just made, guys. You got Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Chark stacked against Lamar Jackson. You got to go with Mark Andrews when you're playing Lamar Jackson as well. And then I went with Denzel Mims in this lineup. I think Denzel Mims is the most exciting piece of the Jets offense, and he's just a complete dart throw in tournaments for me on DFS today. Guys, we over 375 likes on YouTube. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see if we can get to 400. We got less than 50 minutes till football starts. Yeah, Tyreek Hill is always a good bet to go over 25 fantasy points. Kmet or Hayden Hurst, I would lean towards Kmet. I know Jimmy Graham is active, but Kmet is still a pretty good value play if you're not going with Andrews or Kelsey. Miles Sanders or Kareem Hunt. I would lean Kareem Hunt over Miles Sanders this week, guys. We're almost at 400 likes. Who's going to be our 400th like on YouTube, guys? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok, I'm going to try to get to every single one of your questions, guys. Do my best to do that. But if you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to go do that. And by the way, the free prop pick of the week. I know a lot of you guys are here for that because we've had over 80% accuracy giving away free prop picks each week on this live stream. 11 out of 14 this season. On to week 15, we're going with Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting plus odds on that one. Positive money. You're betting $100 to win at least 125 on your sportsbook with Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's done that in half of his games. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns, half of his games. All of those games against better defenses than what he's up against today. The Jacksonville Jaguars were secondary in the NFL. You got to go Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And if you want another free prop pick, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, completely free. We got another free prop pick for you in the player prop tool on the WalterPicks app. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, we're 19 likes away from 400 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate that. The app says Terry McLaurin over Tyler Lockett. What do you think? Yeah, I agree, Devin. I like McLaurin over Lockett today, but Lockett arguably has the higher ceiling. There's very few players with as high of a ceiling as Tyler Lockett. Hilton or Drake, I would go T.Y. Hilton. He's averaging over 100 yards per game in his last 7 games against the Houston Texans. He owns the Houston Texans, guys. He is the Houston Texans' father. No one can stop T.Y. Hilton. So, yeah, you got to trust T.Y. Hilton in your lineups today. There's a lot of must-start guys today, guys. You got to be trusting Cam Akers. I should see no questions about Cam Akers. Put him in your starting lineup. Figure it out after that. Cam Akers must be started. He's averaging 25 touches per game over his last 2 games, and he's a 17-point favorite against the Jets. So no questions about Cam Akers. Start Cam Akers. Right after Cam Akers, you got to be trusting Jonathan Taylor as well. There's a lot of rookies to trust today. You can trust Cam Akers. You can trust Jonathan Taylor. After that, you can trust J.K. Dobbins. Mark Ingram, a healthy scratch today, by the way. J.K. Dobbins can be trusted, as can DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, to me, has the lowest floor of all those guys, but he has just as high of a ceiling as everyone I just mentioned. DeAndre Swift is an absolute baller, and he does have a really, really high ceiling. At the wide receiver position, you got to be trusting Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Get these guys into your starting lineups. Allen Robinson, also a really, really safe option this week. If you're stacking the Vikings and Bears game, you got to love the Allen Robinson versus Justin Jefferson stack. I also think Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, fantastic options today against the Jets defense, allowing top 3 fantasy points per game to wide receivers this season. So get these guys into your starting lineups. At the back end, running back 2, running back 1 upside, guys, you got Tony Pollard, who Zeke Elliott is out. So Pollard is a running back 2 with running back 1 upside now. And Sony Michel is a running back 3 with running back 2 upside with no Damian Harris. He is a lock to see at least 15 carries. He has a pretty good chance at a touchdown today. Bro, I need help, brother. Dobbins or Pollard? That's a close one. Very close. I would lean towards Pollard. So, Sam, I'm going Lynn Bowden over Sony Michel. That's what Walter says, half PPR. I'm honestly excited Zeke's out and made my decision easier. Yeah, Ben, he was on our must-sit list, but he did make that decision easier. I do think in a PPR or half PPR league, Lynn Bowden's a little bit more exciting. Is a little bit more exciting than Sony Michel. But I do think they're both pretty similar options. Wilson over Michel. Jeff Wilson, I would not go over Sony Michel. And I just got a text. And by the way, really the core of where WalterPicks started is I was getting like 20 texts every morning from my friends for fantasy football advice. I just got a text from someone, Bowden Jr. or Sony Michel at running back 2. I would probably lean towards Bowden over Sony Michel in a PPR league, but in half PPR and non-PPR, you got to strongly consider Sony Michel, who I think has a higher chance at a touchdown. Samsung user, Lynn Bowden, Jeff Wilson, or Sony Michel. Yeah, I think I'd go Bowden over those guys in a PPR league. In a standard or half PPR league, though, Ben, I would strongly consider Sony Michel over both those guys. Hilton or Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is on our must-bench list, along with James Conner, along with Chase Edmonds this week. You got to be benching Emmanuel Sanders because Traquan Smith has out-targeted him and out-snapped him in the last couple of weeks. So I should see no questions about Emmanuel Sanders. Do not start Emmanuel Sanders. I would be starting Kendrick Bourne over Sammy Watkins, by the way. Watkins has really struggled to provide any sort of consistency this season outside of week 1, just like last year. Pretty ridiculous. Guys, we're 14 likes away from 400 likes on our YouTube stream. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. We got less than 45 minutes till football. And I just saw a question, Jonathan Taylor or Cam Akers? I like Cam Akers more, but both of them, you got to get both those guys in your lineup. I think we have them 1 spot away in our rankings this week. James Robinson or Dobbins? I would go James Robinson, another rookie that you can trust. So many rookies to trust this week, guys. We're so close to 400 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. We are so close to hitting it. Hey, Sam, pick 2. Corey Davis, Landry, Pollard, Lynn Bowden, Raheem Mostert. I would go Pollard and Raheem Mostert there. Raheem Mostert and Tony Pollard, fantastic options against each other. At least one of them is going to do very, very well this week. And guys, we're 10 likes away from 400 likes. Who's going to be our 400th like on YouTube? I know you can help us do it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got less than 45 minutes till football. You can tell I'm excited. This is the best day of the week. Does no one like Marvin Jones today? I like Marvin Jones today as a really good option. He's been top 5 in the NFL in air yards over the last month. And Matthew Stafford playing today. He's going to be playing through an injury, but I do like Marvin Jones today. Chark or QT? I would go Chark over QT, but it's definitely close. You got to be trusting A.J. Brown, guys, in your lineups. Hilton or Pollard? I would say Pollard is safer. Hilton has more upside. I would personally lean Tony Pollard, but I think if you're going for the upside, it is T.Y. Hilton. Gage or Davis? I would probably go Corey Davis over Gage. Guys, Corey Davis only has 2 games under 10 fantasy points this season. He's very, very trustworthy. So you can go with confidence. I think you can trust your gut with T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton has had over 100 receiving yards per game in his last 7 games against the Houston Texans. He just dominates them. I would go Cooper Kupp over Antonio Brown for sure. Even though Antonio Brown has upside, the Jets defense can't stop anyone. And guys, again, hit that like button on YouTube. We're very close to 400 likes. If you're watching live on TikTok, you can come help out our YouTube stream. We're live on YouTube as well. You can come subscribe on YouTube. We're posting weekly content on there about basketball, DraftKings, football, FanDuel, player props. This is all the stuff you can get on the WalterPicks app as well. Corey Davis or Cooks? I would go with Cooks over Corey Davis. The app says Evans over Komet. Oh, Evan over Komet. Yeah, I would go. You probably meant Ingram. I would go Ingram over Komet for sure. Pollard or Gurley? Guys, get Todd Gurley as far away from your lineup as you humanly possibly can. Get him on the waiver wire. His over under, if you wanted to bet on Todd Gurley today, is 23 rushing yards. Todd Gurley, the second he popped up with that knee injury, we were completely out on Todd Gurley. So get Todd Gurley as far away from your lineups as possible. Definitely Tony Pollard over Todd Gurley today. Komet or Irv Smith? I would go Irv Smith. McKissick or Mostert? I would go Mostert. Ayuk or Jefferson? I like both of them a lot, but I would go Jefferson over Ayuk. I think Jefferson's going to have a huge game, but you can definitely make the argument that Ayuk is safer. He's gone over 70 yards in 4 straight games. Guys, we're only 8 likes away from 400 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. It helps us out a ton. Hit that like button and subscribe button. It takes you 2 seconds. Yes, a lot of you here are here for the free prop pick of the week because we've had over 80% accuracy giving away free prop picks this season on this live stream. And the free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns today. You're getting positive odds on that one too, which is absolutely insane to me. They're overrating the rain. We know that only wind has a significant impact on offenses. The rain is not something to worry about in that Baltimore game. We're going Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting positive odds on that as well. And if you want another free player prop pick in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, we're giving one away completely free if you just tap on the player prop tool, different from that Lamar Jackson one. I'm also very confident in that one that's in the WalterPicks app showing for free. Guys, 8 likes away from 400 likes on this stream. Go hit that like button if you're tuned in on YouTube. Really, we're 8 likes away. Who's going to be that 400th like? Really does it help us out a ton. I would go with Tony Pollard over Kareem Hunt. I would go Tony Pollard over Kareem Hunt, but it's very close. Who would you start, Goff versus Jets or Hurts versus Cardinals? I'm heavily leaning towards Hurts. App says Goff. Yeah, Wayne, I would go Goff as well. I think Jalen Hurts has a really good floor, but the Jets cannot stop anyone, including Jared Goff. Gage or Sterling? I would go Gage over Sterling. Irv Smith or Ingram today? I would go with Irv Smith over Evan Ingram. I think Irv Smith has a pretty high ceiling today at the tight end position. I'd do Tony Pollard over Juju for sure. Guys, Tony Pollard, running back 2 with running back 1 upside today. You got to get Tony Pollard into your starting lineups. With Ezekiel Elliott out, there's a lot to like about Tony Pollard, and his projection is updated in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. So go check that out if you haven't checked it out yet. You can also get another free prop pick on top of the Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. QT or Ahmed? I would go QT. I don't trust Ahmed really at all today. Bowden or Sanders or Higgins? You got to go Miles Sanders there. I would not play, if that's Emmanuel Sanders though, I would go Bowden over Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is on our must bench list right next to James Conner and right next to Chase Edmonds with the injury Chase Edmonds has, with Emmanuel Sanders being out targeted by Traquan Smith and out snapped by him. And James Conner, lowest snap count he's had in this season last week. So you can't trust James Conner at all either. Guys, we're 6 likes away from 400 on YouTube. Hit that like button. Who's going to be our 400th like? We're so close. Do you start Marvin Jones over Mike Evans and Juju? No, I wouldn't start him over Mike Evans, but I would strongly consider starting him over Juju. Lamb or Chark? I like Chark's upside more than CeeDee Lamb's this week. Cooks or AB? I would go with Brandon Cooks. Hey, Sam. Hey, man, how's it going? Happy Sunday. Do I start Mostert or Pollard? I like Pollard more than Mostert. Mostert has the better matchup. I think Pollard's going to touch the ball more than Mostert, though. That's why I go Pollard over Mostert. It's very close, though. You got to make a gut call. And probably my biggest piece of advice, especially in the fantasy football playoffs, is that the end decision for your fantasy lineups, guys, has got to be you. I know I'm giving a lot of advice. You can get all the information you really need to in the WalterPicks app, accurate projections and boom and bust probabilities based on 10,000 simulations. But at the end of the day, this is the fantasy playoffs. This is going to make or break whether you win your championship or whether you lose and don't win your championship. And so at the end of the day, you got to trust your gut on your start sit decisions because you're going to have to make a decision in the next 40 minutes. And again, I give everyone 40 free start sit comparisons on the WalterPicks app. It gives you boom and bust probabilities based on 10,000 simulations, and it's completely free on the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. So start your start sit research there and then come to the stream and we'll talk about it. Hurts or Matty Ice? You can't trust Matty Ice without Julio Jones. Guys, we're 5 likes away from 400 likes on our YouTube stream. Really do appreciate everybody that is tuned in. Is Hurts worth trying to play? Yeah, Hurts has a high floor, but I don't love his ceiling. I didn't love what I saw out of him in his passing attack last week. So I'm kind of lower on Hurts than I think the general public is right now. Pollard or Mostert? I've seen this one a lot. I'm going Pollard over Raheem Mostert. I think it's very close, but I personally think Pollard's going to touch the ball more. And I think Sony Michel, by the way, available in 90% of fantasy leagues, also a pretty solid running back 3 with running back 2 upside as the lead running back for the Patriots today. Irv Smith or Logan Thomas? I would lean towards Irv Smith over Logan Thomas. I think Irv Smith has a lot of upside. I definitely go Ayuk over Chark, though I do like DJ Chark a lot today, too. Guys, we're 3 likes away from 400 likes. Who's going to be that 400th like on our YouTube stream? That's going to be an exciting benchmark to be passing. We got a little over 30 minutes till football starts. You can sense I'm starting to get excited. I've been live for almost 3.5 hours. I'm excited for this last 30 minutes. This is the best day of the week. Yeah, there's no need to spam your start sit decisions, especially when you can just go to the app and get all the information you need completely free on the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. Ayuk or Corey Davis? I would go Ayuk there. I like the YouTube stream. Thanks, man. Titans D or 49ers D? I like the 49ers D a little bit more than the Titans defense today. And there we go, over 400 likes. That is what I'm talking about, guys. I appreciate everyone who has tuned in and liked our YouTube stream. Really, I have a lot of appreciation for every single one of you listening today. I hope all of us dominate our fantasy today. Browns or Pats D? Do they both hit 10 points? I think they do both hit 10 points. I like the Pats defense, though, more than the Browns defense this week. Rashad Higgins or Gage, please help. I would probably lean towards Rashad Higgins over Gage with no Bradbury. You really can like Rashad Higgins. Pollard or Cooper? Guys, Pollard is a really, really good option this week. You can trust Pollard as a running back 2 with running back 1 upside. Without Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to see 20 touches. Swift or McLaren? I would lean towards Swift, but it's definitely close. Android, Ayuk or Cooper? I would go Ayuk over Cooper. Bowden or T. Higgins or Rashad Higgins? I would go Bowden. I think Bowden's going to lead the Dolphins in receiving for his 2nd straight week. Guys, he's the top receiving option for the Dolphins now, so you got to like him. I really need help. Zach, pick 2. Jeff Wilson, Nyheim Hines, Kiki QT, or Crowder? Definitely not Crowder. I would go Hines and QT there. Should I start Raheem Mostert, Lynn Bowden, or Wayne Gallman? I'd go Raheem Mostert over Lynn Bowden and over Wayne Gallman. Swift or Sanders? I would lean towards Swift over Sanders for the upside, but Sanders definitely has a safer floor. And to the moderators in the YouTube chat, I'd love if we could try to clean up the YouTube chat, spamming it just a little bit. Kyler Murray or Deshaun Watson? I would lean towards Kyler Murray. Again, these are the top 3 quarterbacks for me today. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. After that, at number 4, it is Tom Brady, who is in a fantastic spot against a Falcons defense, allowing the 2nd most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. They are without their 2nd best cornerback. I think Brady, he's leading the NFL in deep attempts per game in the NFL. I think that Tom Brady's going to go over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today. I think you can really trust him. I'm only starting Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson over him. I would go Juju over Lynn Bowden. I would go Dobbins over Mostert, but it's definitely close. Pollard over Deontay Johnson, guys. Pollard has a really high floor. Davis or Lockett? I think Corey Davis Caesar is the safer floor play, but Lockett definitely has the higher ceiling. Guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button too if you haven't subscribed yet. We're live on YouTube and TikTok. We got almost just 30 minutes till football starts. I'm getting excited. Here's some guys you absolutely have to start today. You got to start Cam Akers. You got to start Jonathan Taylor. You got to trust in Brandon Ayuk and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I think A.J. Brown's got to get into your starting lineup. I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a huge day. Lynn Bowden likely going to lead the Dolphins in receiving. Tony Pollard likely going to go over 15 fantasy points today with Ezekiel Elliott out. Sony Michel going to get at least 15 carries today as well. If you're just tuning in too, and I know a lot of you come here for the free prop pick of the week. The free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in. You're getting plus odds on that one too, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're tuned in on YouTube. Deontay Johnson or Cooper Kupp. I would definitely go Cooper Kupp over Deontay Johnson this week. I'd go Ayuk over Swift. Ayuk is extremely safe option. Godwin, Sanders, or Dobbins. I would probably go Godwin and Dobbins over Sanders. Mostert, Godwin, or Cooks. I would lean towards Godwin over Cooks and over Mostert. Guys, again, the Bucs offense is going to absolutely cook today. Bowden or Juju. I would probably lean Juju over Bowden. I'd probably go Bowden. I'd probably go AB over Bowden as well. Bowden's going to lead the Dolphins in receiving, but it could be a tough day for the whole Dolphins offense. So I really like the Patriots defense and Sony Michel today. Marvin Jones or Amari Cooper. I would lean towards Amari Cooper over Marvin Jones. Terry McLaurin with Haskins at QB or Chase Claypool. Definitely McLaurin. Mark Andrews, Hunt, Monty, or Ayuk. I would go with Mark Andrews and Ayuk there. Should I sit Miami kicker now with all the injuries, Craig? I think you can consider doing that, but it depends who you're starting over him. Of course, Jared Cook over Kmet for sure. Chris Carson or Cam Akers. You can't bench Cam Akers, guys. He's averaging 25 touches per game over his last 2 games, and he's up against a Jets team as a 17-point favorite. You can't bench Cam Akers. Yes, I'm still going Kyler Murray over Tom Brady. You definitely got to trust Kyler Murray this week. He looks fully healthy. He's one of the highest upside quarterbacks in the league and one of the highest floors. He ran 10 times last week, so his injury is fine. The only quarterbacks I'm starting over Tom Brady, it's Kyler Murray, it's Lamar Jackson, and it is Patrick Mahomes. Fournette or Michelle. I like Michelle a little bit more than Fournette this week. Koo or Hot Rod. Guys, you can never bench Younghoe Koo. He's going to lead you to that championship. Guys, I appreciate everyone that's tuned in right now. If you're tuned in on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. If you're tuned in on TikTok right now and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, don't know what you're waiting for. We're live on TikTok and YouTube right now. You guys can come over to the YouTube live. It's also a little less spammy in the chat, though I do answer questions from both chats. The YouTube chat is a little bit less spammy. So if you want to check us out live on YouTube, and if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet in the iOS App Store, guys, it can answer all of your start-sit questions. It is going to give you accurate projections, boom and bust probabilities for every single player based on 10,000 simulations. It's completely free to download. It's completely free to use for your start-sit comparisons. They give everyone 40 free start-sit comparisons. So you can definitely go download that app to help you with your start-sit decisions. Is it stupid to go Sanders over Godwin? Yes, I do think that's stupid. Hey, Sam, pick 3, Thielen, Sanders, Hilton, Wayne Gallman. Thanks. I would go with Thielen, Sanders, and Hilton there. And I know I'm sleeping on Wayne Gallman, but it's only a matter of time till he's a big-time bust, especially with Daniel Jones out. I like Sony Michel's floor more than Antonio Brown's floor, but Antonio Brown definitely has the higher ceiling. Ridley or Evans? I would lean towards Ridley over Evans. Ridley is very, very consistent, guys, and has an extremely high upside. Guys, let's see if we can get to 425 likes. Hit that like button in our YouTube stream. Really do appreciate everyone that's tuned in. Hit that subscribe button as well. I would like Michel more than Fournette today. I think Michel's going to touch the ball more than Fournette does. Good morning, man. You just woke up. I've been up since 4:30 in the morning finishing my fantasy football research to help all of you dominate in fantasy today. And if you're playing on DraftKings or FanDuel today, guys, you got to be playing Tony Pollard because he's the best value play of the week. And if you're just making your lineups, you got to go play Tony Pollard. He's a fantastic, fantastic option. Bowden Jr. or Lockett? I would go Lockett over Bowden. I live on the West Coast. Yeah, that's fair. Ridley or Lockett? I would go Ridley. Guys, you got to start Calvin Ridley. You got to start Calvin Ridley. You got to start A.J. Brown. You got to start Justin Jefferson. You got to start Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. You got to start Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor. All of these guys, you got to get into your starting lineup. You got to start Tom Brady as well. Tom Brady's upside is astronomical this week. He's leading the NFL in deep ball attempts per game. He's up against the Falcons secondary that has really struggled to stop the deep ball this season. So trust Tom Brady. And if you're tuning in for the free prop pick of the week, I see that in a lot of the comments. The free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Guys, we're almost at 415 likes. Hit that like button on the YouTube stream. We're almost past 415. Very exciting. The free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's done that in half of his games this season. And every single game that he's done that in has been against a defense that's better than what he's playing against today. The Jaguars are awful. They're the worst secondary in the NFL with all of their injuries. Lamar Jackson, they're giving you plus odds because they're scared about the rain. They're scared about Lamar Jackson's rushing ability, but it's his passing ability that's going to come through today. Lamar Jackson's going to throw over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You're getting over plus 125 odds on that on your sportsbook. So go lock that one in. And if you're looking for another free player prop pick, go download the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. We're giving a different free prop pick away in the player prop tool on the WalterPicks app, completely free on the iOS App Store. So if you haven't checked that out yet, definitely go check that out. Do you not like Monty this week? Johnny, not as much as I've liked him in past weeks, though I do think he could continue his hot streak. I don't think he's going to go over 25 points like he has been. I think he's going to be in the 10 to 20 range. Can you talk about which aspects of machine learning you used? Yeah, we started with a linear regression model, which has been the best, but we also combine that with a neural network and a random forest model. So there's a lot of machine learning that goes on with our app. It's honestly a lot to talk about right now, but I do think that the machine learning aspect of the WalterPicks app is what gives it the edge. And it's why it's been more accurate than ESPN and Yahoo, who are also using machine learning, but their data is not quite as clean as ours. I've spent hundreds of hours cleaning our data set. The data you put into your model is the most important thing. Carson, Michelle, or Bowden? I need a Hail Mary. Who has the biggest upside? The biggest upside there is Chris Carson. So I would go him for the upside. Pollard, Jarvis Landry, or JD McKissick. I'd go Pollard. I think Pollard is a fantastic option. Guys, we're almost at 425 likes on the YouTube stream. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you're tuned in on YouTube. Who's going to be the 425th like? We have a chance to break our likes record if we can get a few more. Ayuk or Montgomery? I would lean towards Ayuk over Montgomery. I would go Pollard over Rashad Higgins. I would go AB over Bowden. I would go Swift and Akers over Kareem Hunt. Swift has extremely high upside. Guys, we're only 8 likes away from 425 likes. Who's going to be that 425th like on YouTube? Really helps us out a ton. Takes you 2 seconds. Hit that like button down below if you're live on YouTube. And if you're live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, WalterPicks on YouTube, and it's linked in our TikTok bio. No excuses. Come subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pollard or Gallman? I like Pollard over Gallman this week, guys. Pollard is a very, very safe option. He's probably going to see 20 touches with no Zeke. Wilson or Hurts? I like Wilson over Hurts. We're 3 likes away from 425. Who's going to be that 425th like? Kiki, AB, or Sony? I'd argue Sony has the safest floor. Antonio Brown has the highest ceiling there. Do you like Terry McLaurin against Seattle more than Mike Evans against Atlanta? Yeah, I think I do like Terry McLaurin a little bit more than Mike Evans. I think McLaurin's going to have a big bounce back week against the Seahawks secondary that is allowing top 5 fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position. Swift or Drake? I like Swift's upside more than Kenyon Drake's upside, but don't get me wrong. Kenyon Drake has a safer floor than DeAndre Swift. Guys, we're 2 likes away from 425. Hit that like button. Be our 425th like. That would be super exciting. Really do appreciate it. Dobbins or Deontay Johnson at flex? I would go with Dobbins over Deontay Johnson. There we are, 425 likes. That's what I'm talking about. Sanders is only good when he gets an 80-yard TD. Yeah, Johnny, Sanders does still have some risk, but we've definitely seen that Jalen Hurts raises his floor and his ceiling. So you can't consider starting Miles Sanders. Yo, bro, Jared Cook or Irv Smith? Mike, bro, I would go Jared Cook over Irv Smith, man. I think Jared Cook is in a pretty good spot with Drew Brees back. Ayuk or McLaurin? I would go with Ayuk over Terry McLaurin, but it's definitely close. And I do think Terry McLaurin's going to have a big bounce back week. Taylor or Akers? You can't bench Cam Akers. And right behind Cam Akers is Jonathan Taylor. So you got to start Cam Akers. You got to try to find a spot for Jonathan Taylor too. Both of them in great matchups, both of them favorites, and both of them should go over 20 fantasy points today. You got to love the upside for both those guys. And guys, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get to 450 likes on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate everyone that's tuned in. James Robinson, AJ Brown, or Cam Akers? Choose one. It's Cam Akers. You can't bench Cam Akers. Just past 420 likes, guys. Let's go. Let's go. AB, Amari, or Sanders? I would go with Amari Cooper over Miles Sanders and over Antonio Brown. Guys, Amari Cooper has low-key been one of the most consistent wide receivers in fantasy football this season. He's very few weeks under 10 fantasy points. T. Higgins or Ahmed? I don't like either of those guys. I would go add Sony Michel, who's available in 90% of fantasy leagues, and start him over T. Higgins and over Ahmed. David Montgomery or Cam Akers? It's Cam Akers, and it's not even close. Guys, Cam Akers is averaging 25 touches per game over his last 2 games, and he's a 17-point favorite against the Jets this week. You got to get Cam Akers in your lineup. I don't care what it takes. Get him in your lineup. There should be no questions about Cam Akers. You got to start him. T.Y. or McLaurin? I like McLaurin a little bit more. Pollard over David Johnson for me. Pollard just got more juice than David Johnson. Guys, Tony Pollard's really good at football. You're going to see it today. He's extremely talented. He's got a tough matchup. But 20 touches for Tony Pollard is going to be very, very exciting. Jonah, thanks for tuning in, guys. And we're almost at 430 likes on YouTube. Who's going to be that 430th like? Hit that like button. Really do appreciate that. Lockett or Godwin? I would go Godwin. I think Tom Brady's going to cook today, guys. I think he's going over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's great news for Chris Godwin. We're very close to that 430 like mark, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Really do appreciate. Hey, Sam, I've been asking you this a lot in your post this week. Evans or Lockett? I would go Mike Evans over Tyler Lockett. I think they have similar upside, but Evans to me has a slightly safer floor. So I hope that helps, Michael. Guys, we're 2 likes away from 430. Who's going to be that 430th like? Chris Carson or Tyler Lockett at flex? I like Chris Carson a little bit more. Godwin or A.J. Brown? Get both of them in your lineup, man. I like A.J. Brown a little bit more than Godwin. Did you code it in Python? Yes, Jorge, we did code it in Python. We used a lot of R as well, and we also used Excel a little bit as well. But yeah, most of the coding was done in Python. DFS lineup. Guys, if you're doing DFS and you're building your lineups right now, you got to get Tony Pollard in your lineups. You got to get Alvin Kamara in your lineups as well. Start there. Start with Alvin Kamara. Start with Tony Pollard. Then you got to decide between either Jonathan Taylor or Cam Akers as your flex, because those 3 running backs just have astronomical upside. Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara, great value, and then either Jonathan Taylor or Cam Akers. At quarterback, I really like Lamar Jackson stacked with Mark Andrews, and then stacked against them DJ Chark, because I think DJ Chark's going to go over 100 yards today. I think he's going to bounce back. Guys, we're 1 like away from 430 likes. Who's going to be that 430th like? Ane, OG subscriber. Good to see you, man. Pick 1, wide receiver 2, or running back 2. Woods, Jefferson, Ayuk, Montgomery, and Miles Sanders. Pollard so close in the app. Yeah, I like Pollard more than Miles Sanders, and I like Jefferson more than Woods and Ayuk. So I'd go Jefferson and Pollard there. Both those guys really high upside. And there we go, over 430 likes. Let's see if we can get to 450 likes. I know we can do it. We got less than 20 minutes until football. Very exciting stuff. You can hear me starting to get more and more exciting as we get closer and closer to football again. If you're tuning in right now and you've missed the earlier parts of the stream, I've been live for almost 4 hours now. But the free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in. And if you're looking for another free player prop pick, completely free on the WalterPicks app, just tap on that player prop tool in the WalterPicks app, completely free on the iOS App Store. You'll get another different free player prop pick. So lock both those in. You're a math major. What was most useful in your machine learning class? Jorge, it was learning how to code, because as math majors, we do not learn how to code. So learn Python, learn R. It'll definitely help you out. Choose one. Sam, I love you. Thanks, man. Please answer this one question. Cooper, Mostert, Michelle, Hines, half PPR. I'd go Amari Cooper there. Amari Cooper has been extremely consistent. He has a really high upside as well. Pittman or Lockett? I'd definitely go Lockett over Pittman. I like Irv Smith more than Higbee, and I like him more than I like him more than the Falcons tight end as well. I'm blanking on his name right now for some reason. It's been a long stream. But yeah, Irv Smith has a lot of upside this week. I do like him a lot. Mike Evans or Chris Carson in the flex. I would lean towards Mike Evans over Chris Carson. Guys, we're almost at 440 likes at the YouTube channel. Hit that like button. I like Irv Smith over Kmet. Hayden Hurst, that's who he was. Yeah, I like Irv Smith more than Hayden Hurst this week. McLaren or Swift in flex. I like McLaren's upside, but Swift has similar upside, man. I would probably lean McLaren. But again, DeAndre Swift, you can trust him. Jonathan Taylor, you can trust him. Cam Akers is very, very trustworthy this week as a 17-point favorite, averaging 25 touches per game over the last couple of weeks. And guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, really do appreciate you hitting that subscribe and like button. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, you got to go find us. WalterPicks on YouTube. It's linked in our TikTok account. We're live on YouTube and TikTok right now, but the YouTube chat is a little less spammy, which is very nice. Jeff Wilson or Wayne Gallman? I would go Wayne Gallman over Jeff Wilson, but it's definitely close. Baker or Big Ben? I think you can't go wrong with Baker Mayfield, who's been on a really hot streak recently. Thoughts on J.K. Dobbins? Yeah, J.K. Dobbins is also pretty trustworthy this week. Mark Ingram, healthy scratch, by the way. We're only 15 likes away from 450 likes on our YouTube stream. If you're watching live on TikTok, come join the YouTube stream and toss us a like. Really would help us out a ton. That's all I ask for you. For my advice today is coming to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet on the iOS App Store, it's completely free to download and try out. You got to try that out as well, because it gives you all the information you need for your start sit decisions, accurate projections, accurate boom and bust probabilities, using 10,000 simulations of the week, completely free to help you with your start sit decisions. So if you need help, go download the WalterPicks app as well. And we're almost at 440 likes on our YouTube stream. Very much appreciate everyone who's tuned in. Hilton Hilton or Woods? I would go Woods over Hilton. Woods and Cooper Kupp, great options. I like Sony Michel a little bit more than Lynn Bowden in half PPR and non-PPR leagues. But in a PPR league, Lynn Bowden's probably going to lead the Dolphins in receiving. There we go. 440 likes on our YouTube stream, guys. I really do appreciate it. Let's see if we can get to 450. Got the WalterPicks app and helped me so much and led me to the fantasy semifinals. Thomas, that's what I am talking about, man. That is why I do this. I'm glad to hear you're in the semifinals. I'd go Sony Michel over Jacoby Myers. Guys, Sony Michel, the leading running back for the Pats. The Pats are the most run-heavy team in the NFL. And the Dolphins are without most of their offensive weapons. So you got to like what you see out of the Patriots running game today with Sony Michel. I think they're a great stack with the Miami Dolphins as well. With the Pats defense as well. Thanks for the fantasy help all season. Much appreciated. That's what I'm talking about, Taylor. Glad to hear you are in the fantasy playoffs. And we are 9 likes away on our YouTube live stream from 450 likes. Who's going to help us get there? Browns defense over Ravens defense for me. I think Godwin is definitely going to get over 10 non-PPR points. I think that the Bucs offense is going to absolutely cook. Guys, we're less than 5 likes away from 450 on our YouTube stream. Really do appreciate it. Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, I think both of them are going to do fantastic today. They're both top 3 options right up there with Alvin Kamara. Hey, man, you're doing good work. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in. We got about 200 people tuned in right now. Appreciate every single one of you. We're 2 likes away from on YouTube from 450 likes. Who wants to be our 450th like on our YouTube stream? You could do it right now. Just hit that like button. What's going on with the Wilson and Mostert situation? They're splitting carries, Andrew. Mostert's the better option, but both of them are pretty good options against a Dallas defense that's one of the worst run defenses over the last month. Guys, we're 1 like away from 450 likes on YouTube. Who's going to be that 450th like? Do not start Todd Gurley. Get Todd Gurley as far away from your starting lineup as you can. Same with James Conner. Both those guys must benches this week, along with Emmanuel Sanders, who could easily get outplayed by Traquan Smith. Traquan Smith has out-targeted and out-snapped Emmanuel Sanders over the last couple of weeks. But I would go Lynn Bowden over Todd Gurley and Ahmed. I think Lynn Bowden is a pretty good bet to lead the Dolphins in receiving again. And there we go, over 450 likes, guys. I really do appreciate everyone that's tuned in. We got almost 15 minutes till football starts. Very exciting stuff. Let me run through the guys you absolutely have to be playing. And again, if you're tuned in on YouTube right now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can break our record of 500 likes. You got to be starting Lamar Jackson. The free prop pick of the week, by the way, Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in with positive odds. The Lamar Jackson's going to go off. He's our number 1 ranked quarterback this week. After that, Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes, fantastic options as always. But after those top 3 guys, Tom Brady is going to go absolutely off today, guys, against a Falcons secondary that has not slowed many teams down this season. They're without their second best cornerback this year. And Tom Brady is leading the NFL in deep attempts per game. He's going to go absolutely off. I think he's going to go for 300 yards and 3 TDs. I also think you got to start Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans. I think you got to start Allen Robinson. I think you got to start Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp in a great matchup against the Jets. At the running back position, there's a lot of rookies you can trust today. You can really, really need to trust Cam Akers. You got to get him in your starting lineup. I don't care what it takes. He's averaging 25 touches per game over his last 2 games, and he is a 17-point favorite against the Jets. Start Cam Akers over everybody. Then Jonathan Taylor also should be started over almost everyone in a great matchup against the Texans. He's going to do very well. Yarjma, should I start the Vikings or Cardinals defense? I would lean towards the Cardinals defense there. At the running back position, you can also trust J.K. Dobbins. You can also trust DeAndre Swift's upside. He has a floor, a pretty low one, but DeAndre Swift's upside is just right up there with Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor. So you can trust him as well. I also think you can trust James Robinson. A lot of rookie running backs to trust this week, guys. A lot of them. And if you're on YouTube, guys, hit that like button. Let's get to 475 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Why Godwin over Sanders? The app says the opposite. The reason I think that, Johnny, is because Tom Brady leads the NFL and deep targets per game. The Falcons secondary is undermanned with injuries this week. I think Godwin is going to go over 100 yards and a touchdown. I really like the upside with Godwin, and that is why I'm going Godwin over Miles Sanders. Tony Pollard or Corey Davis. I like Pollard a lot, guys. Running back 2, he's probably going to see 20 touches. He's very, very talented. I like Pollard over Corey Davis. Lynn Bowden or Antonio Brown. I'd go Antonio Brown there. Tony Pollard or Corey Davis. Yeah, again, I'd go Pollard over Corey Davis. Ingram or Ebron. I like Evan Ingram a little bit more than Ebron. Bears football team or Bucks defense? I like the Bucks defense a little bit more. Why did I tell you to play Mike Davis? Yeah, I wanted the Mike Davis party to happen today, but it is not happening. But we're on to Sunday football. We're on from Mike Davis. There's no need to spam in the YouTube chat. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button. We're almost at 460 likes. Hit that like button. Help us get to 460 likes. If you're watching live on TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, WalterPicks on YouTube. You got to go subscribe. Ahmed or Mostert? I would go Mostert over Ahmed. Mostert's in a fantastic spot today against a very bad Dallas Cowboys run defense. Bourne, AB, or Cooper? I would probably go with Amari Cooper, Antonio Brown, but Bourne is safer than Antonio Brown. He's got a better floor than Antonio Brown, but you got to go Amari Cooper or Cooper Kupp, depending on which one that is, Sean. Then I would go Antonio Brown over Bourne just for the upside. Woods or Ayuk? I'd go Ayuk. Taylor or Montgomery? You can't bench Jonathan Taylor for David Montgomery today. You got to go with Jonathan Taylor. Pick 2, Bowden, Claypool, or Landry. I would go with Landry and Bowden. I like Bowden a little bit more than Claypool this week. Emmanuel Sanders or T.Y. Hilton. Bench Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is on our must bench list along with James Conner. He has to be benched. You got to bench Emmanuel Sanders, guys. Traquan Smith has out-targeted and out-snapped him over the last couple of weeks. You can't have any confidence that Emmanuel Sanders is going to be ahead of Traquan Smith this week, guys. So you got to go away from Emmanuel Sanders. I'd definitely go T.Y. Hilton. I like the Bucs defense, Yarshma, over Cardinals defense. I like Akers a lot. You got to get him into your lineup. I don't care what it takes. He's averaging 25 touches per game over the last 2 games. He's a 17-point favorite. Get in Cam Akers, guys. I can't express it enough. I don't care who it's over. You got to start Cam Akers. Guys, we're almost at 460 likes on this YouTube live stream. Hit that like button. We're very, very close to our goal of 500. I've been live for almost 4 hours. We have less than 15 minutes till football. These are the desperate times for our start-sit decisions. This is what I like to call the witching hour, when you got to make your final start-sit decisions in fantasy football. And if you need help with your start-sit decisions, you can get all the info you need completely free on the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. Boom and bust probabilities based on 10,000 simulations. Accurate projections using artificial intelligence, completely free. So if I can't get to your question in time, go download the WalterPicks app. That will help you with your start-sit decision. I like Sony Michel more than J.D. McKissick. I do like Sony Michel to see 15 carries and probably at least 1 touchdown today. Akers, A.J. Brown, or Swift. You can't bench Cam Akers. You can't bench Cam Akers. I can't say it enough. QT or Jeff Wilson. I would go QT over Jeff Wilson. I hope you have a great Sunday as well, Andrew. Thanks for saying that, man. Sunday's the best day of the week, and we're almost at 475 likes on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok, come hop on our YouTube stream. Hit that like button. Let's see if we get to 475 likes over on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button as well when you come over to the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat's nice because it's a little less spammy than the TikTok chat. So I'm going to try to answer your questions both on YouTube and TikTok, but you can join our YouTube stream. Help us get to 475 likes. I like the Ravens defense against the Jaguars. Yes, I do like Lamar Jackson. By the way, the free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in, guys. Lock that one in. They're giving you plus odds on that one too. It's fantastic odds they're giving you on Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And if you want another free player prop pick, you can find one in the WalterPicks app on the player prop tool. Deontay Johnson or Tyler Lockett? I'd definitely go Lockett. T.Y. or Lockett? I'd lean towards T.Y., but it's definitely close. I like Tony Pollard more than Lynn Bowden, man. Pollard can really, really help you today, guys. Pollard is very, very exciting. Goff, Breeze, or Hurts? I would rank them in that order. I definitely trust Goff against this Jets defense that has not stopped a single person this entire season. Pollard or Bowden? Yeah, again, I'd go Pollard. Pollard over Gallman and Dobbins for me as well. Guys, Tony Pollard's going to see 20 touches. He's extremely talented. He's a good receiver. He's extremely athletic. I do like Tony Pollard. Fournette or Mostert? I would lean Mostert over Fournette. Love the YouTube. Thanks, man. Yeah, hit that love button if you're watching live on YouTube. Engram or Kmet? I would lean towards Engram over Kmet. Corey Davis or Lockett? I'd say Corey Davis is much safer, but Tyler Lockett has the higher ceiling. And if you're watching live on TikTok, guys, and you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app, I've spent over 3 years and 400 hours building this app. Go check it out. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you got to go subscribe to YouTube. We're live on TikTok and on YouTube right now. And the YouTube is nice because the chat is a little less spammy. So if you're looking for a less spammy chat, come hop on over to YouTube. I've answered questions on both, though. Cousins, Breeze, or Hurts? I'm up 35. Yeah, if you're up 35, Hurts has an extremely high floor, so go with Hurts there. Lockett or Jefferson? Don't bench Justin Jefferson. Don't bench Cam Akers. Do not bench A.J. Brown. Don't bench Jonathan Taylor. You got to get these guys into your starting lineups, guys. We're almost at 470 likes. Hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. We got 10 minutes until football. And if you're trusting Tony Pollard today like I am and all my DFS lineups and all my fantasy playoff matchups, hit that like button, guys, because Tony Pollard's going to carry us to the championship. Thoughts on McLaren? I think McLaren's going to bounce back big time today. Emmanuel or Amari? Emmanuel Sanders, along with James Conner, is on a must bench list. Get Emmanuel Sanders out of your starting lineup. Don't be overthinking this. Emmanuel Sanders has been out-targeted and out-snapped, if you look closely, by Traquan Smith over the last couple of weeks. Emmanuel Sanders must be on your bench. Get him on your bench. Get James Conner on your bench. Ezekiel Elliott, by the way, out today, making Tony Pollard a running back too. Get Tony Pollard into your starting lineups. Even in a tough matchup, he's going to see 20-plus touches. Another guy who's available on most waiver wires, 90% of leagues, is Sony Michel. As of this morning, he's the leading running back for the Patriots, the most run-heavy team in the NFL, and they are up against a Dolphins team really undermanned on the offensive side of the ball. I like the Sony Michel Patriots stack a lot in DFS today. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Who's going to be our 470th like? Really do appreciate everyone that's tuned in. Hit that subscribe button as well. DK Metcalf or Terry McLaurin? I would lean towards DK Metcalf over Terry McLaurin. I would go, if you're deciding between Kiki QT, Marvin Jones, and Sony Michel, this is not an easy decision. I would argue that Sony Michel has the safest floor. So for you, as you're projected to win, I think you can go Sony Michel over Marvin Jones and Kiki QT. But if you're projected to lose, then I would probably go Kiki over Sony Michel and over Marvin Jones. This is one where you really got to think, am I projected to win right now? If you are, start Sony Michel. He is the leading running back for the most run-heavy team in the NFL against a Dolphins team that could struggle on the offensive side of the ball with no Devontae Parker, no Mike Gesicki, no Jakeem Grant. So I think he can trust Sony Michel as a running back 3 with running back 2 upside. Thoughts on King Henry this week? Yep, he's going to continue to be a king. He's going to be the first running back since Barry Sanders in the late 1990s to average over 100 rushing yards per game. Absolutely witnessing history. Enjoy Derrick Henry on your television screen today, guys. We're 4 likes away from 475 likes on YouTube. Who's going to be that 475th like? Appreciate everybody that's hit that like button. And if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet on the iOS App Store, guys, you got to go check it out. I've spent over 4 years building this app. It uses artificial intelligence and machine learning. The algorithm's name is Walter. That's why it's called WalterPicks. It gives you exploitable player prop picks, accurate DFS advice, and helps you with your start-sit decisions, giving you boom and bust probabilities for every player and accurate projections using artificial intelligence. So go download the WalterPicks app for free today on the iOS App Store. 475 likes. That's what I'm talking about, guys. We're going to get to 500 in the next 5 minutes. I can feel it. Hit that like button if you want to help us get to 500 likes, a new record for us. If you hit that like button on our YouTube stream, that would be super, super exciting. That would make my day, honestly. The only thing that would make my day more than that is when we watch Tony Pollard win us our fantasy football playoff matchups, because that's exactly what's going to happen this week. I'm excited to watch that as well. We're almost at 480 likes. Who's going to be that 480th like, guys? In the free prop pick of the week, I know a lot of you are here for the free prop pick of the week because we've had 80% accuracy giving away free prop picks this season. The free prop pick of the week is Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lock that one in. And if you want another free prop pick, there's one in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store, completely free on our player prop tool. Guys, we're 2 likes away from 480 likes. Hit that like button if you're on the YouTube stream. Just gave 5 stars. AC Storm, thank you, man. Really do appreciate that. We're over 1,400 5-star reviews on the iOS App Store, which is super exciting. Mostert or Swift? I would go with Swift. Thoughts on Dalvin Cook? You got to start him. He's going to go off. Kupp or Godwin? I say Kupp has the safer floor. Godwin has the higher ceiling. And guys, we are in the witching hour. 6 minutes till football. I'm going to be logging off on TikTok. If you want to join the stream, come over to YouTube. I always spend the last 5 minutes on YouTube Live, just focusing on that. You can also help us get to 500 likes and set a new record for likes on our live streams on YouTube. So have a great Sunday. If you don't join us on YouTube, TikTok people, I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. And if you need last minute start sit advice, go download the WalterPicks app. Have a great Sunday, everyone. And now we are only live on YouTube, guys. We are 17 likes away. 17 likes away from passing 500 likes. I know we can do it, guys. I know we can do it. Chubb or AJ Brown? You can't bench Chubb. You can't bench Chubb. I go Pollard over Fournette. I would go Hunt over Mostert, but it's definitely close. I think Evan Ingram has upside. And once I answer your question, guys, please stop spamming so I can try to get to everyone's question. I like Pollard more than Fournette. I do think Tyler Lockett has extremely high ceiling. Chubb or AJ Brown? You can't bench Nick Chubb, guys. You just can't do it. We're almost at 485 likes, guys. Hit that like button to get us to 485 likes. We are so close to the 500 mark. Start Sanders, Pollard, or Dobbins? I like Pollard more than Sanders, more than Dobbins. Guys, Tony Pollard's going to see 20 touches. He's extremely athletic. Remove the situation in terms of his matchup. And Tony Pollard's a running back 2 with running back 1 upside. So you got to start Tony Pollard. Pollard or Lockett just gave 5 stars. Thanks, man. Walter said Pollard, but it's close. Yeah, I would go Pollard over Lockett. Lockett has more upside, absolutely, man. But Pollard definitely has the safer floor over Tyler Lockett. Guys, we're 10 likes away. 10 likes away from 500 likes. Hit that like button and help us hit a new record. Jonathan Taylor over 30 points. Yeah, Brody. Not going to surprise me at all when Jonathan Taylor goes off. We're only a couple minutes away from football, guys. Who's going to help us get to the 500 mark? I don't want to fall just short of the record. Carson or Sanders, 500 likes. Yeah, Damien, that's what I'm talking about, man. I would go Sanders over Chris Carson, but it's definitely close. Pollard or Godwin. I also had Brady. I'd go with that Brady-Godwin stack. It's going to be absolutely lethal today, Johnny. Go with that Brady and Godwin stack, man. Guys, we're 8 likes away from 500. Who's going to be the 500th like and help us hit a new record of likes on this live stream? Week 15, I would go Pollard over Clyde. But Clyde, you got to know, he's been seeing more and more work over the last few weeks than he has this entire season. Guys, we got 1 minute left. We got to get 8 likes in the next 60 seconds. I know we can do it. Hit that like button. Really do appreciate everyone that's done that. Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson or both. I would go Mark Andrews over TJ Hawkinson 100%. Deontay Johnson or Ayuk. I'd go Ayuk there. Do you think Bears offense is going to do good? I think Allen Robinson's going to do well. I don't know about that whole rest of the offense. Guys, we're 7 likes away. I think we're going to fall just a little bit short, which is disappointing. I sat Robbie Anderson for Cole Beasley. Yikes. And today I feel like a hero. That's good. Devontae and Robbie definitely failed you. Lockett or Davis? I would go Tyler Lockett over Davis. Fournette or Bowden? I would lean Fournette over Bowden, but it's close. I like Pollard a lot, but not more than Chris Godwin. Guys, we're 6 likes away. Who's going to be our 500th like? I think we're going to fall just a few short, which is fine. This is why you set high goals. If you fall, you land on the clouds. It's totally fine. Guys, have a fantastic Sunday. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you have a fantastic Sunday and your matchups go well. We fell just a few short of 500 likes. Maybe we'll pass it after the stream ends. But guys, have a fantastic Sunday. Good luck. Start Tony Pollard, and we'll be celebrating. I'll be live Monday nights leading up to the Monday Night Football game, the hour before. Definitely tune in for that. Have a fantastic Sunday. I hope everyone enjoys Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns.